Chapter 921 Big Fish Eats Small Fish. The one-finger flow shark shot forward. Blazing Heaven Demoness cultivated fire path, not strength path. She knew it would be hard to resist it head-on. However, she had extremely rich experience, and the sacrifice of the small fire bird had huge value. Fang Yuan and the rest had been able to get some information from it. Blazing Heaven Demoness naturally was not an exception. Fire path killer move, 5 fingers blazing chains. At that instant, Blazing Heaven Demoness had already made the most sensible decision. She quickly retreated, while spreading open her right hand. Her 5 fingers turned into 5 thin flames. They were like whips or chains as they moved to tie up the one-finger flow shark. The 5 fire chains were just about to coil around the one-finger flow shark when the previous scene occurred. The time in the area around the one-finger flow shark suddenly slowed down to an extreme. However, as a time path desolate beast, this had lesser restriction on the one-finger flow shark with its adapted traits and huge numbers of time path Dao marks. The 5 fire chains coiled around, but one-finger flow shark swayed nimbly, moving through the tiny gaps in an inconceivable way before successfully getting past them. It then charged towards Blazing Heaven Demoness, directly piercing through her forehead. The exquisite shark was like a silver arrow as it pierced out of the back of Blazing Heaven Demoness' head. Success! Su Bai Man was shocked as well as happy. Shark Demon's eyes shined with a ferocious and restless light. An immortal zombie's body did not have fatal points like normal GU immortals, but the head was one of them. The thought processes of immortal zombies was slow, so they had to rely on wisdom path GU worms to create thoughts and help them in their thinking. Blazing Heaven Demoness' head was pierced, although not fatal, it was a serious injury. If the 4 of us can take this chance to attack. The moment this thought appeared in Shark Demon's mind, the one-finger flow shark changed its direction, shooting backwards as it pierced through Blazing Heaven Demoness' chest. A dark fire burned and in the blink of an eye, the holes in Blazing Heaven Demoness' head and chest had been restored to their former states. Even Fang Yuan was left speechless at this sight. Such a formidable killer move, it can actually make the recovery so fast. Blazing Heaven Demoness covered her chest as she stared fixedly at the one-finger flow shark. In spite of having been heavily injured, she was smiling. Interesting. This has 3 time path immortal GU, one can slow down time, one can speed up time and the last can change the perception of time. Although she did not know what time path immortal GU they were and what were the limits of their power, Blazing Heaven Demoness was able to make some rough conjectures. When the one-finger flow shark collided with the small fire bird and dodged the 5 fire chains, it had used the first time path immortal GU to slow down time. As for accelerating time, it used it when it poked the fire bird. The fire bird could not be maintained for long, and a part of it had reached its limits after the one-finger flow shark had hit it. The explosion of this part subsequently caused the explosions of the other parts, finally destroying the stable structure of the fire bird, causing the fire bird to explode, which almost dried up the surrounding parts of the sea area. Finally, when the one-finger flow shark pierced through Blazing Heaven Demoness' forehead and chest, it used the last time path immortal GU to influence Blazing Heaven Demoness' perception of time, causing her to not be able to dodge and take the attack directly. Shark Demon's frown not only became deeper, he also felt the situation had turned bad. The one-finger flow shark indeed clearly had the auras of 3 immortal GU. In just a few moves, Blazing Heaven Demoness had already probed the details of the one-finger flow shark. This was a clear display of this rank 8 GU immortal's extremely formidable proficiency in fighting. At the same time, it also showed the superiority of immortal killer moves to immortal GU. GU worms had one ability, others could often find the details of the immortal GU after it was used just once. However, immortal killer moves were different. They were a combination of countless GU worms. Not only did this conceal the core immortal GU, enemies would also find it harder to counter the effect. Just like Shark Demon expected, as the fight continued, Blazing Heaven Demoness changed her battle tactics. She split into 5 or 6 clones, each was lifelike. The one-finger flow shark was tired out rushing this way and that. Its offensive was seemingly impressive, but it was actually being played by these clones to move around in circles. Wild beast or wild beasts in the end, they don't have enough wisdom. If it had an investigative immortal GU, maybe it could see through these clones, a pity. It looks like the battle situation is set. Blazing Heaven Demoness has already obtained the advantage. Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng secretly conversed, analyzing the battle situation. It could be said that at this stage, the battle had already lost any suspense. Regarding the one-finger flow shark, its real chance had been during the initial stages. If it could have used this opportunity when Blazing Heaven Demoness was still unaware of its trump cards, it perhaps could have killed her. But now that Blazing Heaven Demoness had probed out its cards, she had changed her tactics and immediately took over the battle situation. Unless there was an outside interference, this battle would have only one possible outcome. The only outside forces at present are Shark Demon and Subai Man. But did they truly have the courage to go against a rank 8 expert? Fang Yuan glanced at the immortal zombie couple and inwardly shook his head as he saw their hesitant looks. The true chance had been the instant Blazing Heaven Demoness head was pierced. But Shark Demon already lost this chance. Although his name included the word demon, he lacked the mentality of taking risk in spite of danger. It could be because he had been part of Zombie Alliance for too long and lost the enthusiasm to fight by himself. It could also be that he had misgivings about dragging down Subai Man. Even Shark Demon and Subai Man, as the people involved, were like this. Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng, who were just external aid, would be even more unlikely to take this risk. After secretly communicating for a while, Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng made the decision to act according to the circumstances and look to retreat when there was a chance. Sirs, please make your moves. We are unable to distinguish the clones of Blazing Heaven Demoness. Sirs, if you have a method, please break this deception for the one-finger flow shark and point out the location of the true body of Blazing Heaven Demoness. This will make the situation turn for the better. At this moment, Subai Man suddenly transmitted her voice, requesting earnestly. At the same time, Shark Demon also added, if you can succeed, we will reward you heavily, you won't regret it. Without any consideration, Fang Yuan refused with a bitter smile. Lady Subai Man overestimates us, you two have been rank 7 GU immortals for many years with plenty of methods and deep foundation, we are unable to match you. Even you two don't have a way to solve this, how can the two of us be of any help? Tai Bai Yunsheng, similarly, shook his head. I only specialize in healing, this matter regarding investigation is beyond my ability. Subai Man did not say anything more while Shark Demon gave a gloomy look at Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng, his expression clearly not pleased. Fang Yuan snorted inwardly, feeling disdain towards Shark Demon and Subai Man. Honestly speaking, it was not that Blazing Heaven Demoness method could not be resolved. But Shark Demon and Subai Man did not make a move. It was because the other party was a rank 8 great expert. Once they moved to help the one-finger flow shark, it definitely meant they would attract Blazing Heaven Demoness, Fury and her counterattack. Shark Demon and Subai Man feared Blazing Heaven Demoness and did not want to make a move, wanting to preserve some leeway, thus they wanted to make Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng cannon fodder. How could Fang Yuan be stupid enough to be used by others like this? Thus, his reply had deep intentions. Both sides were astute. Shark Demon and Subai Man realized Fang Yuan had seen through their plot, so they did not attempt to persuade any further. Now it seems the truly terrifying one is still Blazing Heaven Demoness. Fang Yuan gazed at the distant battlefield, not concealing his fearful expression. It was rumored that Blazing Heaven Demoness had a great killer move called Blazing Heaven. In the past, she had fought with the rank 8 Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu in Northern Plains over possession of a certain fragment world of the immemorial 9 heavens, but in the end she failed, despite being on the verge of success. Blazing Heaven Demoness was so furious, she used the killer move Blazing Heaven to directly burn down the whole fragment world, annihilating countless living beings. If I can't have it, you can also stop dreaming about it. Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu's hard work and plans all turned to dust at the last moment. Northern Plains Zombie Alliance belonged to the righteous path. Blazing Heaven Demoness, however, blatantly had taken a demonic path action. Thus, after burning down the fragment world, she incited public outrage. Blazing Heaven Demoness withstood the pressure without any fear, even proclaiming that if anyone continued to make a fuss, she would burn down that person's blessed land. Since she could even burn down a fragment world of the immemorial 9 heavens, burning down a blessed land was clearly a simple matter. The righteous path choked on their words, as they unexpectedly discovered they could do nothing to this brazen Blazing Heaven Demoness. At rank 8, one could be an overlord. If they truly shed off all pretenses and started sneak attacking and harassing, any force would feel an incomparable headache. Helpless. Even if the other party was an immortal zombie, she was a rank 8 great expert after all. Although her battle strength could not match a normal rank 8, it could not be looked down upon and was not someone they could force. If they went beyond the limit, and Blazing Heaven Demoness decided to attack, these righteous path forces with many assets to take care of would be the ones to suffer. Those with a bottom line are afraid of those with no bottom line, those who follow the rules are afraid of those who don't. After this matter, Blazing Heaven Demoness, name spread throughout Northern Plains Zombie Alliance was able to hold their heads high and no one could bully them. It was only after Blazing Heaven Demoness left Northern Plains to look for fortuitous encounters in Eastern Sea that Northern Plains Zombie Alliance fell back into a predicament. It could be said that Blazing Heaven Demoness had single-handedly brought Northern Plains Zombie Alliance to power and glory. Now, Blazing Heaven Demoness was fighting against the one-finger flow shark without even using her signature killer moves. She clearly had a lot of spare strength left. Fang Yuan even had a slight suspicion that Blazing Heaven Demoness had intentionally used the clone technique to try to lure Shark Demon and the rest to attack, thus finding another excuse to make trouble. Although Shark Demon was not duped, Blazing Heaven Demoness' move had created a rift between Fang Yuan and Shark Demon. The one-finger flow shark, an immemorial desolate beast with 3-time path immortal GU, Blazing Heaven Demoness was not only dealing with it easily, but she had successfully plotted against Shark Demon, Fang Yuan and the rest who were observing the battle. It was clear that Blazing Heaven Demoness had outstanding battle strength along with skill in strategy. This type of enemy was extremely hard to deal with. To put it in other words, GU immortals who could slowly climb up from rank 1 to rank 8 were certain to not be idiots, each of them were true experts rich in both wisdom and battle strength. As the battle progressed, Shark Demon and Su Bai Man's expressions became even more gloomy. They had already secretly sent requests for reinforcements to Zombie Alliance's headquarters at the start of the battle. The battle had lasted for so long that those who should have come would have already arrived, but no reinforcements had arrived. Blazing Heaven Demoness had not arrived rashly, she had already bribed those in charge and made sufficient preparations, which was why Shark Demon and Su Bai Man's requests for reinforcements were ineffective. Shark Demon even guessed that Blazing Heaven Demoness had already reached an agreement of sharing profits with the highest-ranking members of Zombie Alliance. In an instant, Shark Demon and Su Bai Man's hearts sank to rock bottom, their intent to battle kept lowering and the anger in them gradually dissipated, leaving behind extreme bleakness. Big fish eat small fish eat shrimps, this was the normal course of behavior in this world of GU. This couple, who had been big fish since the beginning, now became small fish in front of Blazing Heaven Demoness. Rank 8, how could they match her? Let alone when Blazing Heaven Demoness not only had such strength, she also had matching intelligence. Shark Demon and Su Bai Man simply did not have any hope no matter how hard they struggled. Sigh, Shark Demon heaved a long sigh before he suddenly lowered his head. Enough, Lady Blazing Heaven Demoness, please stop. We are not capable enough. In consideration of Zombie Alliance's situation, it would be better if you lead us to take down Yulu Blessed Land. He, Shark Demon, you know when to advance or retreat, very good. Blazing Heaven Demoness, laughter came from above the battlefield. Her laughter stopped, and the fake bodies in the battlefield burned until there was nothing remaining. Without a target to attack, the one-finger flow shark stayed dazedly in place, seemingly at a loss on what to do. Shark Demon heaved another sigh, as he pursed his lips and let out hooting sounds. The one-finger flow shark was pacified, it lightly swung its tail as it dived into the sea again and soon disappeared. Clearly, it had gone back to the river of time. Shark Demon's method gave a shock to outsiders like Fang Yuan. Shark Demon's influence over the one-finger flow shark was already quite remarkable. Given some time, he might truly be able to control this immemorial desolate beast. At that time, the 3-time path immortal GU on the one-finger flow shark would naturally fall into Shark Demon's hands. Blazing Heaven Demoness revealed her true body, she gave a deep look at Shark Demon before turning her gaze towards Fang Yuan. You are Xing Shangzi. I am. Blazing Heaven Demoness announced with a forceful tone that allowed no refusal, from now onwards, I have enlisted you. In the following invasion of Yulu Blessed Land, you must use your full capabilities, I won't allow any slacking. Chapter 922, Conclusion of the 100 Days Battle. Hearing Blazing Heaven Demoness command him so overbearingly, Fang Yuan was not angry at all. On the contrary, he was somewhat pleased. Shark Demon and Su Bai Man, this couple had put in a lot of effort to attack Yulu Blessed Land. In the end, right before they obtained the fruits of their labor, Blazing Heaven Demoness forcefully took them for herself, they were really pitiful. Shark Demon and Su Bai Man had put in so much, almost all of their life savings had been invested into it. After getting robbed by Blazing Heaven Demoness, they were heavily crippled, they lost a great deal. In Fang Yuan's previous life, Shark Demon and Su Bai Man died while Shark Sea was invaded by others, was this part of the cause? But Fang Yuan did not feel distaste for Blazing Heaven Demoness actions, he also did not feel pity towards the predicament of Shark Demon and Su Bai Man. If he had Blazing Heaven Demoness Cultivation level, he might have been more overbearing in his actions. Big fish eat small fish, this was the rule of the cultivation world, it was bloodthirsty and cruel. But any person who was older and had more experience would understand, this was the norm, it extended to all parts of nature. Even before Fang Yuan transmigrated, the human society on Earth was the same. When benefits were involved, friends would betray each other, brothers would become enemies, this was all too common. The only difference was, they used excuses to make their actions seem grand and righteous. The truth was, there were people who, on the surface, were virtuous, but in the dark, they were dirty and despicable. But this was not wrong. To survive and reproduce was the nature of all living beings. But Blazing Heaven Demoness, interference created a huge impact that would influence Fang Yuan's plans. Blazing Heaven Demoness has high cultivation level, she is also astute and calculative, more difficult to deal with than Shark Demon and Su Bai Man by 100-fold. But she has quite a lot of wealth, maybe she can subsidize me in refining Star Thought Immortal GU. There is also another advantage. Getting close to her would give me a greater chance of returning to Northern Plains Zombie Alliance and entering Earth Trench, in order to get that treasure. In a breath of time, Fang Yuan had already thought matters through. The moment Blazing Heaven Demoness finished her words, Fang Yuan cupped his fists, smiling bitterly, I would not dare to defy Lady Blazing Heaven Demoness, orders. But I have my difficulties. I had just mentioned this to Lord Shark Demon earlier, in order to unravel the final battlefield killer move, I will need to refine a rank 6 Wisdom Path Immortal GU first. Shark Demon snorted coldly. Fang Yuan had changed sides rather too quickly. Su Bai Man thought to herself. This Xing Shangzi seemed to be a gentleman ordinarily, but to think that he was without a backbone, he could fawn and bend over to others to curry favor, he had no integrity at all. Fang Yuan did not care about their thoughts. They were already out of this game. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan, who joined partway, managed to stay. Seeing Fang Yuan's straightforward gaze, Blazing Heaven Demoness rubbed her chin, she smiled with deep meaning. You want to refine Immortal GU he, this is easy, I will fund you. Northern Plains, Luopo Valley. Another earth-shaking intense battle had just reached its end. As the battlefield, Luopo Valley was in bad shape, crushed rocks were everywhere, it was as if this was the aftermath of both an earthquake and a hurricane. The GU Immortals from Central Continent had various injuries, they were focusing their attentions on Feng Juzhe right now. Admiration, trepidation, confusion, heaviness, fear, complexity, they had a number of different emotions. Feng Juzhe won again. His opponent is Qin Bai Sheng, but even with his strength, he could not resist Feng Juzhe's powerful attacks. He has already won 7 battles in a row, Qin Bai Sheng is completely at a disadvantage against Feng Juzhe. The 100 Days battle, only after 100 days did we see its results. Honestly speaking, Qin Bai Sheng is immensely strong, but he actually faced off against an even stronger opponent, Feng Juzhe. Looking at the time, Central Continent's gang had reached Luopo Valley and attacked it for over 3 months, met with the stubborn resistance of Shadow Sect's Qin Bai Sheng and others. 100 Days battle. This was a true 100 Days battle. Under normal circumstances, GU Immortals would not fight for such a long time. In terms of scale, there were more than 10 GU Immortals from Central Continent and Northern Plains involved, they were all shining experts. One could say, for the last 1,000 years in the 5 regions, there had not been a battle of such scale. If this was announced, the world would be shaken, commotions would arise, the attentions of innumerable observers would gather on them. But it was a pity, be it the Central Continent GU Immortals who were investigating secretly, or the hidden Shadow Sect which sought to remain in the dark, they did not want this battle to be exposed. Thus, this battle that should have shaken the whole of the 5 regions remained a secret from start to finish. Regarding this, the two sides had a sort of tacit understanding. Ever since the 100 Days battle started, the crucial members had always been Feng Juzhe and Qin Bai Sheng. Initially, they were equally matched, it was a stalemate. Qin Bai Sheng, who had the territorial advantage and the battlefield killer move 100 million Slaughterfield, showed a slight edge. But after that, Feng Juzhe got stronger as he fought, he displayed his immense talent and ability. The two sides gradually became even, then Feng Juzhe expanded his advantage little by little. Eventually, in the last few days, Feng Juzhe's battle strength had risen after a long period of intense fighting, and finally defeated Qin Bai Sheng. 1 or 2 wins was nothing. But winning 7 fights consecutively, it proved that Feng Juzhe firmly had obtained the advantage. The Shadow Sect members slowly retreated to the deepest part of Luopo Valley. A desperate foe should not be pursued. Feng Juzhe stood proudly at the front, Seeing that their enemies had hidden into the valley, he spoke calmly. His expression was pale, he had over a dozen injuries on him, blood was dripping from the corners of his mouth and his eyebrows. His originally brimming Gu Immortal aura had weakened to an all-time low. But all these could not obscure the brilliance in his eyes. Every time he fought Qin Bai Sheng, it was a difficult and dangerous fight. But it was because of these tough fights that Feng Zhuzhe could be polished, like a rock polishing a jade and turning it brighter. Ever since Feng Zhuzhe joined Spirit Affinity House, he rarely had the chance to engage in such intense fights. Spirit Affinity House was one of the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent. Feng Zhuzhe had a high status and reputation, nobody wanted to find trouble with him. This battle that went on for 100 days would make other Gu Immortals feel pain and anguish, but Feng Zhuzhe felt a nostalgic euphoria. This made him think about the splendid times when he was still in the demonic path. But there was a slight regret in his heart. Demonic path, using all of my strength to fight it is a pity, I can no longer return to such an exciting time. Right now, Feng Zhuzhe had a family, he could not take risks easily. Furthermore, these Gu Immortals behind him were from the other 9 sects, their intentions were hard to decipher. If Feng Zhuzhe really got heavily injured after fighting, who knew what actions they would take? Feng Zhuzhe remembered what his wife, Bai Qing, had instructed him. After all, back then, Feng Zhuzhe had challenged all 10 sects and made them lose their faces. After joining Spirit Affinity House, he had been suppressing the other 9 sects without giving them any chance to overturn the situation. Whenever Feng Zhuzhe spoke, the other immortals had to listen. After the 100 days battle, Feng Zhuzhe's reputation was already deeply ingrained into everyone's hearts. Cough cough cough. After Qin Bai Sheng retreated into the valley, he started to cough uncontrollably. His expression was pale as paper, each time he coughed, there was blood. Your injuries are getting more severe. Fairy Zhang Yu, who was holding him, said in worry, she was frowning tightly. Feng Zhuzhe is too despicable. He Lang Zi, who had lost an arm, growled angrily, even though he is fighting you alone on the surface, he is actually getting his people to act like they are charging ahead, threatening our defenses and forcing you to be distracted. If not for that, why would you lose consecutively? Qin Bai Sheng said grimly, say no more. Winner takes all, a loss is a loss, there is no need for excuses. This Feng Zhuzhe truly has immense talent, using his own understanding, he created his personal sound path killer move and got to this stage. Even as an enemy, I am truly in admiration. Using his own advantages to scheme, plot, and gather superiority, that is the way of fighting. If he did not use these methods, I would have looked down on him. Saying this, Qin Bai Sheng coughed again, spitting out a huge pool of warm blood. He gasped weakly, looking around him. After the 100 days battle, only 5 were left, Wei Fengzi, He Cheng, Zhang Yu, He Lang Zi, and the mysterious black-robed Gu Immortal. Originally, they had Shui Songzi, but when they attacked Langya Blessed Land, he was killed by Fang Yuan. After leaving Langya Blessed Land, 2 hairy man Gu Immortals joined them, but both of them were killed by the Central Continent Gu Immortals in the 100 days battle. However, the Central Continent Gu Immortals suffered greater losses. Old Oracle from Ancient Soul Sect, as well as 2 Gu Immortals from Spirit Butterfly Valley and Combat Immortal Sect had died. Trying to take advantage of Qin Bai Sheng, how could that be possible? Even Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects had suffered heavy losses. But at this point, the most crucial member, the pillar of support, Qin Bai Sheng, was heavily injured. Luopo Valley's territorial advantage had been overcome, the remaining 5 Gu Immortals knew, the 100 days battle had ended, they were the losers. Qin Bai Sheng tried to improve their mindsets. Even though we lost the battle, it is not over yet. Feng Zhuzhe's group is not united, they cannot fight us wholeheartedly, I successfully stalled for enough time. We just need to wait for one more night, when that immortal Gu matures in the valley, we would have achieved our goal. Tomorrow, all 5 of you will charge out, I will stall these people from Central Continent. Lord Qin Bai Sheng, everyone was shocked. Qin Bai Sheng's decision was simply courting death. This was hard to understand. From their perspectives, if it was Wei Fengzi, He Cheng or He Lang Zi, they would definitely only care about their own lives when they were in this state. Why would they care about others? Or, was this a trap? Wei Fengzi, He Cheng, and He Lang Zi kept their thoughts to themselves, they looked at the 3 people from Shadow Sect secretly. Qin Bai Sheng, Zhang Yu, and the mysterious black-robed Gu Immortal, they were the core of Shadow Sect, the others were just outside reinforcements. Silence ensued. Everyone walked to their resting places. This will be it. Use this time to rest. Tomorrow, your performances will decide whether you succeed in breaking out or not. Qin Bai Sheng waved his hand weakly, dismissing them. He Cheng, Wei Fengzi, and He Langzi felt very heavy, their gazes was uncertain. The three wordlessly decided to rest together, they were guarding against the possible betrayal of Shadow Sect. But late into the night, the three were summoned by Qin Bai Sheng. Chapter 923, Breaking Out. Late at night, in Luopo Valley. Qin Bai Sheng and the other 5 immortals gathered. Qin Bai Sheng handed an immortal GU to the mysterious black-robed GU immortal openly. This immortal GU is very important, I am entrusting it to you now. The black-robed GU immortal nodded. He was wrapped in a shroud of obscurity, even up until this point, none of the GU immortals outside of Shadow Sect had seen his appearance. They only knew that he had outstanding battle strength, around the upper tier of rank 7. Qin Bai Sheng turned around, instructing Zhang Yu seriously, I can die, you can also die. But he is needed for the plan, we cannot lose him. Fairy Zhang Yu nodded solemnly in return, I can only guarantee that before I die, he will not perish. He Cheng and the others listened in astonishment. What sort of organization was Shadow Sect? It could make these GU immortal disregard losses to themselves, even if they had to sacrifice their lives, they had to complete the mission. To make GU immortals so loyal, it was difficult for even super forces to achieve. This was an unimaginable matter. A moment later, the silent Luopo Valley erupted into thunderous explosions. An intensely loud sound filled the whole valley. At the same time, there was a shrill warning, enemy attack. Fairy Ling Mei, who was warning them, retreated continuously. In front of her, Zhang Yu, Wei Fengzi, He Langzi, He Cheng, and the mysterious black-robed GU immortal attacked jointly. The enemy was attacking with such force, how could Fairy Ling Mei defend against them? She only had one thought, that was to escape. Fairy Ling Mei came from Heaven's Envy Manor, she and Fairy Ao Shui had control over the rank 7 Crescent Moon GU, they could unleash the killer move Peerless Crescent Moon Slash if they cooperated. Peerless Crescent Moon Slash was extremely powerful, it was one of the signature famous killer moves of Heaven's Envy Manor. Fairy Ao Shui and Fairy Ling Mei had always been together constantly, they were hardly ever separated. But now, because there were limited people in Central Continent's group, they had to encircle the huge area of Luopo Valley, thus, Ling Mei and Ao Shui had no choice but to split up. Once Shadow Sect's group burst out, Fairy Ling Mei was caught off guard, she fought alone and fell into an extremely dangerous situation. Kill her. Fairy Zhang Yu, who was at the lead of the 5 GU immortals, was bursting with killing intent, her eyes were red and her attacks were fierce. Even though Fairy Ling Mei was a peerless beauty with grand elegance, none of the 5 GU immortals showed her any mercy because of it. Their killer moves were used in succession, they would only stop after Fairy Ling Mei was dead. At the moment between life and death, Fairy Ling Mei resolutely chose to destroy an immortal GU, stalling 3 breaths of time for her. During this period, Fairy Ling Mei activated a GU formation, her body vanished amidst the wind and rain, at the next moment, she appeared far away. Huff, huff, huff. Fairy Ling Mei breathed roughly, her face was pale. She had escaped with her life, her face showed lingering fear, her back was covered in cold sweat. So close, so close. I was at the moment between life and death, it is all thanks to this GU formation. Fairy Ling Mei felt gratitude inside. This GU formation was set up by GU Immortal Hong Kai-ming after putting in a lot of effort. Hong Kai-ming came from Wind Cloud Manor, one of the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent, he was skilled in GU formations and was famous in Central Continent. GU formations had a point of inferiority to killer moves in that they could not be activated instantly. They took a long time to activate, and were not flexible enough to be used for a wide range of applications in intense battles. However, once they were activated, they would provide a huge advantage, they were often faster than immortal killer moves and expended less resources. Precisely because of this, Fairy Ling Mei survived. Seeing that Fairy Ling Mei had escaped, Fairy Zhang Yu sighed internally. The other 4 GU immortals also showed regretful looks. Earlier, during the 100 Days battle, Ling Mei and Ao Shui had collaborated to unleash Peerless Crescent Moon Slash, they were a huge threat to Shadow Sect, almost all the GU immortals were injured by this move to varying degrees. Unfortunately, Shadow Sect initially had the territorial advantage. However, Central Continent took down their GU formations one by one, and now, the Central Continent GU Immortals created their own GU formations, the outer area of Luopo Valley was now their territory. Since we can't kill her, we will continue charging out. Fairy Zhang Yu shouted. She moved with determination and resolution. Ling Mei retreated. Central Continent's side immediately had a gap in their defenses. They needed to break out of this encirclement quickly, the chance was slipping. Ling Mei, are you all right? Fairy Ao Shui wore a white blouse. She came over quickly, showing shock and anger on her face. We won't let you go, die here. Chen Zhenkai shouted. Isn't it too late now to want to leave? Bu Fei Yan sneered. Even though Fairy Ao Shui and Fairy Ling Mei were separated, they were situated quite closely, thus, she could arrive first. As for Chen Zhenkai and Bu Fei Yan, they could reach at the same time as Fairy Ao Shui because they had incredible speed. Zhenkai of the 9 heavens, followed by Fei Yan, damn it. He Cheng gritted his teeth, feeling great pressure. Chen Zhenkai and Bu Fei Yan were 2 famous flying grandmasters in the current Central Continent GU Immortal world. Zhenkai of the 9 heavens referred to myriad dragon dogs Chen Zhenkai, while, followed by Fei Yan, was speaking about Heavenly Lotus Sect's Bu Fei Yan. Zhang Yu and the other immortals wanted to break out of this place, their biggest concern were the pursuers excelling in speed like these 2. Seeing the 3 of them get close, the 5 immortals on Shadow Sect's side did not even say a thing, they only focused on breaking out. At this moment, a wall of light appeared, blocking the 5 immortals. It was the activation of a GU formation. This was the work of Wind Cloud Manor's Hong Kai Ming. Although Hong Kai Ming was not inside, his voice was heard from within the GU formation. Lord Feng Juzhe had already predicted that you would break out. Surrender now and we might spare your lives. Once he said this, an immensely powerful aura got closer to them like a rushing dragon. This aura was so grand and magnificent, Shadow Sect's members were familiar with it. It was Feng Juzhe. They felt cold sweat breaking out as they showed panic on their faces. After the 100 days battle, the 5 immortals knew clearly, even if they worked together, they were not Feng Juzhe's match. Was their attempt at escaping going to fail? When the 5 immortals were close to despair, a golden arrow shot over, piercing the wall of light that obstructed them. Far away, Hong Kai Ming's body shook and jolted, as if he was shocked by electricity. He spat out a mouthful of blood, suffering a heavy injury. The one who shot the golden arrow was Qin Bai Sheng. How could he watch as the 5 immortals failed? Thus, he forcefully moved his wounded body, blocking Ling Mei, Ao Shui, Chen Zhenkai, and Bu Fei Yan. The 4 Central Continent GU immortals arrived quickly but also lost quickly. They did not just lose, they failed completely. Like Feng Juzhe, Qin Bai Sheng was not someone the other Central Continent GU immortals could stop. Qin Bai Sheng did not kill the 4 immortals from Central Continent, he allowed them to retreat. His attention was primarily focused on Feng Juzhe. Feng Juzhe's gaze was shining, he had already understood Qin Bai Sheng's injury. He smiled with much elegance, saying, "You are all rushing about, it is inappropriate to leave without saying goodbye. If you want to leave, you should at least listen to my parting song, right?" Immortal Killer Move, Green Jade Song. The 5 immortals on Shadow Sect's side retreated, someone cried out in pain while another grunted. Green Jade Song's mysterious power affected the 5 immortals to an extent. After being hit, their bodies slowly turned into jade, and the area was spreading continuously. The 5 immortals were resolute figures, they knew this was a problem and immediately shattered or dug out their contaminated flesh. At once, blood flowed like a river. Immortal Killer Move, Soul Suppression. At the next moment, Qin Bai Sheng struck, his powerful soul path technique was aimed at Feng Juzhe's face, pressuring him. Feng Juzhe's expression changed, he quickly defended himself. Qin Bai Sheng had 2 major trump cards, one was the Soul Path Killer Move Soul Suppression, the other was the Sword Path Killer Move 5-Finger Fist Heart Sword. Once used, ordinary GU immortals could not even endure one hit from him. Feng Juzhe had 3 trump cards, the first was Heaven and Earth Song, second was Green Jade Song, and third was Submission Song. Not only were they powerful and grand, they were also profound and mystical. Feng Juzhe's attention was drawn, Green Jade Song halted as the 5 immortals felt their pressure decreasing, they quickly rushed away for a distance. Qin Bai Sheng used a Metal Path Killer Move again. Golden chains coiled around Feng Juzhe's limbs, tying him up tightly. Feng Juzhe was not frightened. During the 100 Days battle, the 2 had learned a lot about each other. Qin Bai Sheng's Metal Path Killer Move had little effect on Feng Juzhe. The golden chains were much more effective against Chen Zhenkai and others. Against Feng Juzhe, he only needed a breath of time before shattering them. But at this moment, Qin Bai Sheng showed a wry smile on his face. "I'll let you see the true secret within Luopo Valley now." Saying this, he used his method and activated something. Countless mystical lights shot out from the valley, one of them hit Feng Juzhe. This is. Feng Juzhe shattered the golden chains, but because this used up his time, he could not dodge the mystical light and was immobilized. The power of space path. How can this be so strong? Not far away, the two fairies, Ling Mei and Ao Shui, were also hit by the mystical light. Their expressions changed as they gasped. As for Chen Zhenkai and Bu Fei Yan, they were extremely fast, they dodged the mystical light. Qin Baisheng did not care about them, his main goal was to restrict Feng Juzhe. Right now, half of his goal had been achieved. Don't struggle, this light is harmless. Feng Juzhe understood at once, he shouted as he reminded them. Ao Shui and Ling Mei were uncertain, but at the next moment, they saw that Feng Juzhe stopped resisting and was dragged into a deep part of Luokou Valley by the mystical light. Qin Baisheng's smile became wider, he approached a mystical light and was dragged into the valley as well. Ao Shui and Ling Mei looked at each other, they gritted their teeth, deciding to believe Feng Juzhe. They stopped resisting as they entered the valley as well. This change of events was out of everyone's expectations. They were only stunned for a moment before Chen Zhenkai reacted and shouted at the Shadow Sect Immortals, "Take them down first." This was a wise decision. Seeing that they were about to break out, the 5 Shadow Sect Immortals were held back by Chen Zhenkai and Bu Fei Yan. Next, Hong Kai Ming, Old Lord Kenyang, and Old Man Tian Long arrived, engaging in fierce combat. One side fought desperately to leave, while the other side desperately prevented their escape. "Ah, someone save me!" He Cheng shouted, he was the weakest here, he was hit by a move and had been detached from the main party. "Ignore him, protect our main target, continue to break out." Fairy Zhongyu shouted, she heartlessly abandoned He Cheng, protecting the mysterious black-robed Gu Immortal with all her effort. At the same time, deep within Luokou Valley, in a mysterious place. Where is this? Ao Shui and Ling Mei looked around in shock and suspicion. So this was it. Feng Juzhe, who had entered before them, had already retracted his gaze. This is actually a hidden thieving heaven demon Venerable true inheritance. Chapter 924. Discarding this ruined body to exchange for a clear breeze. In the mystical area, light shined warmly, there were no mountains or rivers, neither wind nor land, it was completely blank. That is true. Once Feng Juzhe spoke, Qin Baisheng appeared in front of him, looking at the 3 immortals from Central Continent, he smiled deeply. If not for thieving heaven demon Venerable's arrangement, how could I lure Brother Feng here? Indeed, even though Qin Baisheng was very powerful, he was still at a loss against a 1-in-1,000 years monster like Feng Juzhe. Especially when Qin Baisheng's 2 trump cards were not for trapping enemies, they were for killing. To temporarily trap Feng Juzhe, he had to activate the arrangements that thieving heaven demon Venerable had personally set up in the past. This really is thieving heaven demon Venerable's inheritance? Fairy Ling Mei asked in a heated tone. Since ancient times, in the long history of Gu cultivators, there were countless geniuses and heroes. But if these people were akin to shining stars in the sky, then the 10 rank 9 Gu immortals were each like the sun, they were bright and dazzling, spreading their radiance over the whole world. Every generation's Venerable, be it an immortal Venerable or a demon Venerable, was at the peak of that era, they dominated the world and were invincible, unparalleled in their time. Among them, thieving heaven demon Venerable was also a legend. He excelled in space path and had unparalleled stealing abilities. He even cultivated transformation paths simultaneously and was skilled at disguises. Before he was rank 9, he could transform into all sorts of people and use their identities to achieve his unspeakable motives. He even caused huge commotions over the world, sending it into chaos. Thieving heaven demon Venerable also had a close relationship with long-hair ancestor. The failure to refine space escape Gu became long-hair ancestor's obsession after death, it had become a legend. Such a person, his inheritance, was actually before them. Be it Ling Mei or Ao Shui, these 2 fairies who had icy hearts felt excited, their hearts were burning with ambition. But Feng Juzhe quickly discouraged them, don't even think about it. Thieving heaven demon Venerable's inheritance is not something you can obtain. Ling Mei and Ao Shui's expressions changed. That's right, there was still Feng Juzhe and Qin Baisheng here. With these 2 experts around, how could thieving heaven demon Venerable's inheritance become theirs? At once, Ling Mei and Ao Shui felt great disappointment. Feng Juzhe's back was facing them, he stood in front of them but understood their emotions. He continued, you misunderstand my words. Thieving heaven demon Venerable's inheritance has a strict requirement, both of you do not fulfill it, I do not fulfill it, and even Brother Qin also has no chance of inheriting it. Ling Mei and Ao Shui were shocked. One of them asked, there is such a thing? Qin Baisheng laughed loudly. Brother Feng really knows a lot about thieving heaven's true inheritance. It seems the rumors are true. Spirit Affinity House indeed possesses one of the true inheritances of thieving heaven demon Venerable. They have been researching it for a long time, a pity there have been no gains. Feng Juji's eyes shined with brilliance. He stared at Qin Bai Sheng, admitting, to think that Brother Qin knows so much about Central Continent's details despite living in Northern Plains. That is true, my sect controls a true inheritance of thieving heaven and have been researching it for many years. We have learned some things after these years. Ling Mei and Ao Shui looked at each other. They were unwilling to give up. Fairy Ling Mei asked, "May I ask Lord Feng Juzhe, what is the criteria to inherit it? Maybe we can achieve it, who knows?" Feng Juji's gaze had been fixed on Qin Bai Sheng. He did not dare to be careless. He said, "Do you know thieving heaven demon Venerable's origin? He is not a person of the 5 regions, he is from the outside world, an otherworldly demon. Thus, the inheritances that he left behind only have one requirement towards the inheritor, they have to be an otherworldly demon. I am obviously not one. Brother Qin cannot be one, otherwise he would have inherited it long ago. Why would he wait until now? Are you 2 otherworldly demons?" Before Ling Mei and Ao Shui replied, Qin Bai Sheng flicked his sleeves and laughed. He denied the possibility. Impossible. All the GU immortals in the 100 Days battle are not otherworldly demons. If not, why would I let any of you in here? Otherworldly demons, they really exist. Since the start of my life, I have never seen one. Thieving heaven demon Venerable was actually an otherworldly demon. Ling Mei and Ao Shui were taken aback. Feng Juzhe nodded. Even though otherworldly demons are rare, they exist. Since they come from beyond our world, then outside of the 5 regions and 9 heavens, there are bound to be other worlds. Unfortunately, no one has ever ventured out of the GU world. Ling Mei and Ao Shui looked at each other. They asked again. Other than the 5 regions, there are really other worlds outside. Even if we cannot achieve this condition, the inheritance is fixed in place, while we humans are alive. Don't tell me that even with Lord Feng Juji's power, you cannot take it forcefully. They were unwilling to give up. This was a thieving heaven true inheritance. The experts could take the meat while they could have some soup. The 2 female immortals were not greedy for more, they just wanted to have a share of the loot. Qin Bai Sheng sneered. Wishful thinking. Back then, even after Giant Sun Immortal Venerable became rank 9, he still returned empty-handed after encountering a thieving heaven true inheritance. Not only did he get nothing, he even suffered a loss and ended up in a pathetic state. If not for that, why would Giant Sun Immortal Venerable hate otherworldly demons to this extent? The 2 of you think you can obtain this true inheritance? There was such a thing. This is too absurd. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable is also a rank 9 GU immortal. He could not even take one of thieving heaven demon Venerable's true inheritances even after he died. Ling Mei and Ao Shui stared with their beautiful eyes wide open. They half believed and half doubted this. Feng Juzhe did not refute it. He said solemnly, thieving heaven demon Venerable's space path attainment was unfathomably deep. It surpasses the imagination of people. There is a theory. Because he was an otherworldly demon, when he became a space path GU immortal, a special type of space path Dao mark was produced. These Dao marks originate from another world. They are 4 into the 5 regions and 9 heavens. The space we are in now, it seems ordinary, but it had already transcended the GU world. It is not within the 5 regions and 9 heavens. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable wanted to obtain the true inheritance, but he was afraid of the implications, thus he failed and suffered a loss, unable to do anything about it. Ling Mei and Ao Shui gasped in shock. The 2 of them were too inexperienced compared to Feng Juzhe and Qin Bai Sheng. This was the first time they had heard about such secrets regarding the Venerables. At once, Ling Mei and Ao Shui felt their horizons expanding. But soon, they became worried and anxious. Not even Giant Sun Immortal Venerable could do anything to this mystical space. How can we get out? Don't worry, as long as we do not move, in 15 minutes, we will be teleported out. Feng Juzhe replied confidently. If it were other GU immortals who landed here, they would use their methods to investigate. In that case, they would be in trouble. The time that they were trapped would be extended. But Spirit Affinity House possessed one of thieving heaven's true inheritances, and Feng Juzhe was a higher up in Spirit Affinity House. He knew the proper way to leave this true inheritance. But at this moment, Qin Bai Sheng raised his head and laughed. Feng Juzhe. Since I took great pains to lure you in here, how can I let you leave? Stay here for good. Saying this, Qin Bai Sheng struck. His powerful aura burst into the air. Ling Mei and Ao Shui acted like they were facing a strong foe. Feng Juzhe quickly said, "Don't move. In this place, it might seem like we are close to each other, but we are actually very far away from each other. He is trying to lure you to attack. Once you do, this place will change and target whoever attacks. The stronger the attack, the greater the backlash from this place, and the longer you will be trapped. Do not fall into his trap. Feng Juzhe was very aware regarding this thieving heaven true inheritance. He was clear about the terrifying power of this mystical space. Even though he was proud and powerful, he did not dare to act rashly. Ling Mei and Ao Shui chose to believe Feng Juzhe. They held in their impulse and did not attack. But Qin Bai Sheng showed a weird smile. Brother Feng is very confident, but it is a pity that your sect has not researched deeply enough into thieving heaven's true inheritances. I wonder what you will do against my next action. He spoke calmly as he activated the GU worms in his body. His aura burst out and reached its peak. What is he trying to do? Feng Juzhe felt something amiss. He focused himself. His gaze was like lightning, looking at Qin Bai Sheng fixedly. But at the next moment, Qin Bai Sheng's action was something out of the Central Continent Immortals' expectations. They only heard Qin Bai Sheng recite. Even after experiencing 54 tribulations, the sky is still filled with tribulation clouds. The soul light in my chest pressures everyone, the sword chi in my fist dominates northern plains. 400 years passed rapidly, how can there be life without death? Discarding this ruined body to exchange for a clear breeze, I will sweep the heavens for countless light years. His voice was clear and loud, he spoke with a calm expression, his gaze showed a sign of expectation towards the future. After finishing this poem, he smiled lightly at Feng Juzhe. Next, he shut his eyes, all signs of life leaving his body. Feng Juzhe frowned tightly. Even during the 100 Days battle, he did not show such an expression. At this moment, Qin Bai Sheng had actually ended his own life. At the next moment, a clear breeze started from within Qin Bai Sheng's body. Behind Feng Juzhe, Ling Mei and Ao Shui's expressions changed, their voices were trembling from fear, they screamed, winds of assimilation. As it turned out, in order to stop Feng Juzhe, Qin Bai Sheng had given up his own life, making the ultimate sacrifice. His method was ruthless, he directly destroyed his own immortal aperture. Once the immortal aperture was destroyed, without other immortal apertures to hold it, winds of assimilation started blowing. Winds of assimilation were extraordinary, they assimilated everything, even rank 8 GU immortals had to avoid them at all costs. And in this mystical true inheritance space, if 5-finger fist heart sword or heaven and earth song were used, it would only be like a pebble tossed into a lake. At this moment, winds of assimilation blew, even though it was a clear breeze, the entire mystical space started shaking, it was as if water on a lake was boiled, there were ripples forming in the space unceasingly. Feng Juzhe had a solemn expression. Against Qin Bai Sheng's resolute attack, he had to face it with all of his ability, if he was careless, he would die. Behind him, Ling Mei and Ao Shui had activated their GU worms, protecting their bodies. Even Feng Juzhe had to activate his immortal GU, of course they had to do the same. Leaving the mystical space was another issue now. They had to survive this crisis first. Otherwise, it would be a pointless thing to worry about. Chapter 925, Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance. 2 flowers blossomed, each branching in different directions. Ignoring the situation of Qin Bai Sheng sacrificing himself to create the winds of assimilation and trap Feng Juzhe, Ling Mei, and Ao Shui in a dangerous situation for now. Looking instead at Zhang Yu and the other immortals breaking out. They were about to escape, but He Cheng was hit by a killer move and fell. His face was pale as he shouted for help. However, they were all escaping for their lives, every second was important, at the crucial moment, any hesitation would mean the difference between life and death. The immortals ignored him, they only raised their own speeds to the limits. Fairy Zhang Yu was even more heartless, she directly told them to abandon him, disregarding He Cheng's life or death. They were so close to escaping, freedom was right in front of them. He Cheng was lagging behind, couldn't he be useful in stalling the Central Continent GU immortals? However, he controlled the immortal GU House Dark Prison. After He Cheng died, it might end up in the Central Continent GU immortals' hands. That was a slight pity to Zhang Yu and the others. But it was only slightly regretful, compared to the immortal GU House, their own lives were more important. He, you can all continue playing around. I'm out of here. While they were breaking out, Wei Fengzi laughed loudly. Immortal killer move, wind escape. His speed rose sharply, in a few breaths of time, he was way ahead of Zhang Yu and the others. Seeing Zhang Yu and the others' fiery gazes, Wei Fengzi flew even faster. Cooperate with me, Hong Kaiming shouted. GU formations at the outer area activated, giving off bright light. After the 100 Days battle, the central continent GU Immortals had gained some coordination. Where are you going? Chen Zhenkai and Bu Fei Yan moved out, using a GU formation at the periphery to chase and block Wei Fengzi. Wei Fengzi was known as the fastest in northern plains, he came and went like the wind, central continent GU Immortals had to admit that. Just Chen Zhenkai or Bu Fei Yan alone could not stop Wei Fengzi. But now, they were cooperating with much coordination. At once, no matter how Wei Fengzi maneuvered, he could not shake off Chen and Bu, his speed gradually fell as he failed his escape. He deserves it. Zhang Yu and the others felt gratified, they turned towards another direction and tried to escape from the side. Go down, Old Lord Kenyang snorted in anger, using his signature life-chasing fire. Hong Kaiming followed up with another attack, beating the dog while it was down. He Cheng's body was burning in flames, he screamed in pain as he fell from the sky. With a loud crash, he landed on the ground, he spat out a mouthful of blood as countless vines grew from the ground, tying him up firmly. At once, He Cheng was trapped, while Wei Fengzi was obstructed, Hong Kaiming left He Cheng as he chased He Langzi. He activated his killer move, mercilessly attacking He Langzi. He Langzi had to use his transformation path killer move, turning into the lightning flash giant wolf to resist it. Fairy Zhang Yu and the mysterious black-robed GU Immortal were not far away, they were obstructed by Old Man Tianlong and Old Lord Kenyang. They did not waste time in trash-talking, the four immortals engaged in fierce combat. At once, winds surged and thunderous explosions occurred. The four immortals displayed their might, they shook the surroundings as intense air currents were created, mountains rocks crumbled and broke. Old Lord Kenyang was a famous rank 7 GU Immortal, when Dong Fang Chongfan had been pretending to be dead. He had fought unfettered scholar, Fang Yuan, Pai Shui Han alone, he had excellent battle strength. Old Man Tianlong's strength was similar to Old Lord Kenyang. The former was a supreme elder of Black Heaven Temple. He was sent here by Black Heaven Temple for the secret purpose of countering the Sound Path GU Immortal Feng Juzhe. Looking at Shadow Sect, the mysterious black-robed GU Immortal was indeed powerful, but Fairy Zhang Yu was weaker. After more than 10 rounds of fighting, Old Man Tianlong and Old Lord Kenyang had the upper hand, they obtained a good chance to strike. Immortal killer move, life-chasing fire. Oh no, Fairy Zhang Yu was shocked, she wanted to dodge but it was too late. Stand back, let me deal with it. At the crucial moment, the mysterious black-robed GU Immortal used his method, replacing Fairy Zhang Yu and using his body to block the life-chasing fire. Oh, strange, Old Lord Kenyang was slightly shocked. The mysterious black-robed GU Immortal was hit by the life-chasing fire, but he was completely intact. It was as if nothing had happened. Sneaky fellow, show us your true appearance. Old Man Tianlong shouted, his hands clapped together as blades flew out from the sky. The mysterious black-robed GU Immortal blocked them as his robe was torn, his appearance was exposed to everyone. Old Lord Kenyang was stunned, you have the Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance physique. One of the 10 extreme physiques, Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance. Why are you afraid? He is merely an immortal zombie. Old Man Tianlong howled repeatedly, his attacks becoming fiercer. The mysterious black-robed GU Immortal's true identity was a rank 7 immortal zombie. Different from other immortal zombies, he had a special identity, he had one of the 10 extreme physiques, Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance, and had turned into an immortal zombie. HMPH. Since you found out, there is no point in hiding this anymore. The mysterious black-robed GU Immortal tore off his black robe, pouncing at Old Lord Kenyang. Old Lord Kenyang was a Fire Path GU Immortal, he was countered by the Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance physique, he had the disadvantage. Old Man Tianlong wanted to help, but Fairy Zhang Yu risked her life to block him. Quickly go, Fairy Zhang Yu screamed. Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance Immortal Zombie angrily snorted, forcing back Old Lord Kenyang. He did not look back, he flew out of Luopo Valley, successfully escaping. Where are you going? Old Lord Kenyang roared, wanting to chase him, but Fairy Zhang Yu, who was bathed in blood, managed to block him miraculously. It seems that you have given up on living. Is this immortal zombie your lover? Is he worth your sacrifice? Old Man Tianlong's expression was cold, he descended from the sky and his hand hit Fairy Zhang Yu's back firmly. Boom! Fairy Zhang Yu was at her wit's end, she could not defend herself, her chest was shattered as a huge hole appeared, one could see through it. Her beautiful eyes turned hollow, her purple dress fluttered in the sky, like a butterfly slowly landing on the ground. 10 breaths of time later, Fairy Zhang Yu's corpse landed on the ground, her bones and tendons were broken, her flesh turned into pulp. Fairy Zhang Yu died. At this point, Shadow Sect no longer had a chance. Old Lord Kenyang and Old Man Tianlong were free now, they could deal with Yilangzi and Wei Fengzi. Hong Kaiming's focus was on restricting He Chang. A moment later, Yilangzi screamed in a deafening tone, the giant wolf that he had turned into was cut into two. His corpse turned into a human body, blood flowed as his internal organs were torn, he died a terrible death. He Chang was left without a choice, he reluctantly activated the Immortal Gu House Dark Prison. Even though the Immortal Gu House was powerful, it needed to expend a huge amount of immortal essence. After the 100 Days battle, He Chang was already bankrupt, he did not have much immortal essence left. There was insufficient immortal essence to activate the Immortal Gu House Dark Prison, it had less than 1% of its full power, Hong Kaiming used his Gu formation to trap it. 15 minutes later, Wei Fengzi lost as well. He was extremely fast and slippery, but after the 100 Days battle, everyone knew each other's abilities, he did not have any special techniques left, and the Central Continent Gu Immortals had an extremely tight defensive ring, like an impenetrable net. Wei Fengzi was like a fish that was caught in a net, even though he struggled intensely, he was bound to lose. Don't kill me, I surrender. At the moment before death, Wei Fengzi surrendered with a pale expression. The Central Continent Gu Immortals looked at each other, expressing their joy. Death was truly a terrifying thing. A wise man submits to circumstances, the Central Continent Gu Immortals understood why Wei Fengzi surrendered. Don't play tricks, hand over your Immortal Gu. The Central Continent Gu Immortals did not relax, they surrounded Wei Fengzi tightly. Wei Fengzi did not have any chances left, he sighed deeply as he handed over his Immortal Gu. Without his Immortal Gu, he was like a tiger without its claws and teeth, his threat level dropped. Only until he was completely under control and his life and death was at their whim did the Central Continent Gu Immortals breathe out deeply in relief. Focusing their minds, they started to deal with the Immortal Gu House Dark Prison. Wei Fengzi's surrender gave the Central Continent Gu Immortals hope. The 100 Days battle expended a huge amount of their immortal essence, the Central Continent Gu Immortals suffered great losses, their pressure was immense. After capturing Wei Fengzi, the Immortal Gu they obtained were enough to recoup their losses. If they could obtain the Immortal Gu House Dark Prison as well, they would earn a huge profit from this. 7 minutes later, Dark Prison was taken down by the Central Continent Immortals. But unexpectedly, where is He Chang, so decisive, he abandoned this Immortal Gu House immediately and escaped. While we were capturing Wei Fengzi, he secretly dug underground and escaped, he really managed to deceive us. HMPH, a coward who is afraid of death, a person who is barely surviving, he is not worth considering. At this point, the escape attempt of Shadow Sect's side had ended, the battle was over and the dust had settled. Qin Bai Sheng, Fairy Zhongyu were sacrificed, Yilangzi died, Wei Fengzi surrendered, the Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance Immortal Zombie had escaped with the crucial Immortal Gu. He Chang, who had the lowest battle strength, abandoned the Immortal Gu House Dark Prison and escaped. A few months ago, these people attacked Langya Blessed Land with overwhelming might. Over 100 days later, they were either dead, injured, had surrendered, or escaped. Even the powerful Qin Bai Sheng was sacrificed inside Luokou Valley. This showed the cruelty of the Gu cultivation world. Even at Gu Immortal level, they were not free from danger, one could still die easily. More than 10 days later, a figure emerged in Earth Trench. Earth Trench was under the control of Northern Plains Zombie Alliance, it was guarded by Dark Flow Giant City. But this mysterious figure could enter and leave easily, he did not attract any suspicion. After entering Earth Trench, the mysterious figure was familiar with Earth Trench's terrain as he moved rapidly, taking a shortcut and entering deep into it. A few days later, a giant graveyard appeared before the mysterious figure's vision. I am finally here, the mysterious figure finally showed his appearance. It was the Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance Immortal Zombie who had escaped from Luokou Valley. As it turned out, Shadow Sect's backup plan was hidden here. Back then when Central Continent's group attacked Luokou Valley, Qin Bai Sheng and Zhang Yu had thought of breaking out and coming here to use their trump card and resolve the crisis in Luokou Valley. But this trump card was extremely important, if it was used abruptly, it could disrupt Shadow Sect's plan. Qin Bai Sheng and the others were hesitant. When they had resolved to use it, the battle had already become very intense, they had no chance to do it anymore. They tried it forcefully, but only sacrificed the hairy man Gu Immortals in vain. Now, Luokou Valley was taken over by Central Continent's group, the Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance Immortal Zombie did not come here thinking of revenge, and activating Shadow Sect's backup plan. He wanted to hide himself, and place the crucial Immortal GU here for safekeeping. This Immortal GU was related to Shadow Sect's crucial plan, it could not be lost. For this, Qin Baisheng and Zhang Yu had sacrificed their lives. Just a bit more time, we just need a bit more time. The blazing glory lightning brilliance Immortal zombie felt anger and melancholy, he carried the Immortal GU and entered deep into the graveyard. This was the graveyard of Immortal zombies. He was an Immortal zombie, it was too easy to disguise as a member. However, just when the blazing glory lightning brilliance Immortal zombie thought that his ordeal was over, and that he was safe, a figure appeared. Interesting to think that I would meet a 10 extreme physique Immortal zombie here. The person looked at the blazing glory lightning brilliance Immortal zombie, evaluating with an interested tone, his rank 8 aura was emanating. At this moment, the blazing glory lightning brilliance Immortal zombie felt like he had fallen into an icy abyss, his heart was filled with despair. Old ancestor Shui Hu, why is he here? Chapter 926 Refining Star Thought Immortal GU. Hu Immortal Blessed Land, Underground Cave. The Blood G Forest had already spread out to an area of over 30,000 square meters. At the center of the Blood G Forest, the Blood Lingzi shined with a dark red light, but currently the light of wisdom had already overpowered it. At this moment, Fang Yuan was bathed in the wisdom light halo as he sat and concentrated. His expression was calm, he was like a statue, but his mind was working rapidly, countless thoughts were created and destroyed, they crashed into one another like a meteor shower, or the eruption of a volcano. He grunted. Fang Yuan's body shook, he slowly opened his eyes. His mind which was undergoing a storm made of thoughts had returned to a peaceful state. He frowned, thinking deeply. 2 streams of blood slowly flowed down from his nose. The Immortal zombie body's blood was pale green, there was no warmth at all, it was icy cold. Fang Yuan indifferently cleaned up his nosebleed, he evaluated, it seems that the GU formation that I newly created still has many flaws. Ever since he had become a Wisdom Path Grand Master, he had obtained countless inspirations. As for how to use Wisdom GU more efficiently, he had many new ideas. This GU formation was created by him not too long ago. Not long ago, he had a low wisdom path attainment level and could only use the light of wisdom directly. Now, with this GU formation, he could intensify the rate at which his thoughts collided. Even though it could not raise the effect of his deductions, it could save him a lot of time. Wisdom GU was rank 9, while Fang Yuan was merely a rank 6 Immortal zombie, it was already very difficult for him to use the light of wisdom. This GU formation could be considered a significant breakthrough. Furthermore, this GU formation was not in its original state, it had been modified several times. The first few versions had all sorts of flaws, once, the GU formation even exploded inside Fang Yuan's body. When he used it this time, Fang Yuan withstood the backlash of the GU formation and suffered a minor injury. The GU formation still needs to be modified but, that is not key. Now, the difficult problem is the modification of the Star Thought Immortal GU recipe. Fang Yuan frowned even deeper. A few days ago, Blazing Heaven Demoness had recruited Fang Yuan, he used this chance to request the refinement of Star Thought Immortal GU to her. Both sides came to an agreement, Blazing Heaven Demoness was very generous about funding Fang Yuan. She provided the materials to refine Star Thought Immortal GU for him, dispatching Bo Dan to send them over. These immortal materials were very precious. Not only were they expensive, if Fang Yuan had to collect them himself, he would need to expend a lot of time. Only Blazing Heaven Demoness, using her rank 8 cultivation level, her zombie alliance status, and her deep foundations could gather 3 sets of these immortal materials in such a small amount of time. Fang Yuan was well prepared, he naturally got to refining GU. But he had tried 3 times consecutively and failed them all. Fang Yuan was mentally prepared in regards to failing. After all, he did not have the success Dao mark from the Refinement Path Convention this time, he could only rely on his own skills and luck. Relying on skill was easily understood, but why did he have to rely on luck? Looking at the example of Star Thought Immortal GU, during the refinement process, there was a step that needed 2 immortal materials. He needed a portion of pale flame white bones, and a portion of green beetle water lotuses. The former was a fire path immortal material, the latter was a water path immortal material. At this step, the 2 immortal materials have to be processed at the same time, fusing water and fire, to create a clear liquid. But this step was very difficult. There were fire path Dao marks on the pale flame white bone, and water path Dao marks on the green beetle water lotus. To process them and form the clear liquid, the fire path Dao marks and the water path Dao marks have to be equal in number. Even if they were not equal, the difference had to be very small. That was the only way the fire and water could cancel out each other. If one side was higher, more than the range allowed, the liquid would be extremely murky. This sort of murky liquid could not be used. But the liquid could not be stored for long, it needed to be refined right before use. Fang Yuan did not have a time path Immortal Gu to seal the state of the liquid. Thus, Fang Yuan had to create the liquid while refining Immortal Gu. And the difference in Dao marks was extremely subtle. Even if Fang Yuan focused all his attention and used his best methods, he could not inspect all of them, he could only estimate. Fang Yuan was not a fire path or water path Gu Immortal, he was already reaching the limits of his investigative abilities. Thus, the Immortal Gu recipe strictly stated the age of the green beetle water lotuses, as well as the amount of pale flame white bones. But even so, even among green beetle water lotuses of the same age, they would have different water path Dao marks on them due to the environment that they were in. If the pale flame white bones were damaged, there would also be fewer Dao marks on them. All of the Gu refinement materials met the Immortal Gu recipe's requirements after Fang Yuan checked them meticulously. But when they were used in practice, there was bound to be failure. To refine the clear liquid, there was luck involved in it. The entire Immortal Gu refinement process had many such examples like the fusing of water and fire. Succeeding once or twice was not difficult. The difficult thing was to succeed every single time. Thus, the success rate of refining Immortal Gu was extremely low. Many Gu Immortal went bankrupt trying to refine an Immortal Gu without success. Immortal Gu were a huge boost to the Gu Immortal in all aspects. Because of the existence of heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities, Gu Immortals had an even more intense desire in regards to Immortal Gu. But in the history of Gu cultivation, there were countless instances of Immortal Gu refinement failing. These painful experiences landed countless people in terrible straits. At present, many rank 6 Gu Immortals did not even have a single Immortal Gu. Gu Immortals would rather attempt to capture wild Immortal Gu than take a risk and refine Immortal Gu themselves. Of course, there was another reason: refinement path attainment levels differed between Gu Immortals. Many Gu Immortals did not have the confidence to refine Immortal Gu themselves. Especially when it came to Immortal Gu with higher ranks, Gu Immortals would have even less confidence in refining them. In the past, even two Venerables, Giant Sun and Thieving Heaven, had to ask Long Hair Ancestor to help them refine Immortal Gu and Immortal Gu houses. Fang Yuan was modifying the Immortal Gu recipe in this aspect. When he became a Wisdom Path Grandmaster, his Star Path attainment also rose to Grandmaster level. This gave him the ability to modify the Immortal Gu recipe of Star Thought. Including this current deduction, he had already modified many aspects of the original Immortal Gu recipe. 11 processes that were similar to this water and fire fusion had been taken out, they were replaced with more stable steps with higher success rates. Looking at the time, Blazing Heaven Demoness is about to send me the 4th set of Gu refinement immortal materials. With Blazing Heaven Demoness funding, Fang Yuan's financial difficulties had been alleviated. Blazing Heaven Demoness had been wanting to attack Yulu Blessed Land. She was generous in allowing Fang Yuan to refine Star Thought Immortal Gu. She would not stop until he succeeded. But she was not easy to fool. If Fang Yuan wanted to use the excuse of failure to cheat Blazing Heaven Demoness and get the Gu refinement immortal materials, he would not succeed. Even though Blazing Heaven Demoness agreed to fund Fang Yuan, they had made an agreement: all of the funded immortal materials would become Fang Yuan's debt towards her. Whether he succeeded or not in refining the immortal Gu, he would need to pay her back later. The longer he dragged this on, the more interest Blazing Heaven Demoness would receive. If Fang Yuan successfully refines the immortal Gu but fails to return her the sum in 100 years, then Blazing Heaven Demoness would be allowed to take an immortal Gu from Fang Yuan as compensation. If it were Shark Demon who gave this condition, Fang Yuan would not agree to it, he would propose one that suited his interests more. But this was the demanding and domineering Blazing Heaven Demoness. Fang Yuan also needed to refine Star Thought Immortal Gu as soon as possible, he could only agree to it. Thus, it was in no way suitable to cheat Blazing Heaven Demoness funding. Fang Yuan failed 3 times, the losses were all on him, he already owed Blazing Heaven Demoness a huge debt. Fang Yuan could clearly discern some of Blazing Heaven Demoness' plans. Even if Fang Yuan could not repay his debt, with the wisdom path attainment that he displayed, Blazing Heaven Demoness could make use of it and force Fang Yuan to work for her. After all, wisdom path Gu immortals were very rare. Those with Fang Yuan's level of attainment were extremely useful subordinates. If Fang Yuan succeeded in refining Star-Thought Immortal GU, Blazing Heaven Demoness would be even happier. Because this would allow her to take down Yulu Blessed Land. The conclusion was that Blazing Heaven Demoness would only earn from this regardless of what happens. After failing 3 times, the pressure was all on Fang Yuan. According to my current situation, I can only do 7 refinement attempts. Now, I have already failed 3 times, I have 4 chances left. In terms of refining GU, I have already reached the limits. I can only work harder in terms of luck. Fang Yuan thought it over. He had Connect Luck Immortal GU, he could forcefully link to other people's luck and boost his own luck. But there was a drawback with this. Even though Fang Yuan had Connect Luck, he did not have Break Luck along with it. He could only connect, but not break. If the target of his luck connection became unlucky, Fang Yuan would be implicated. Thus, Fang Yuan had chosen several targets earlier. These people had extremely powerful luck, they were moreover unceasing and would not fade or become bad over time. But these people were very rare. In the entirety of the 5 regions, looking over his previous life, there were only so many of them. Fang Yuan calculated, the remaining ones have not been born yet. Among them, Song Yishi had already killed the ancestor of Li Xiaoyao on the Nameless Island, there is no way he can be born now. The soonest and best target can only be Fairy Black Moon. Fairy Black Moon was very incredible. In Fang Yuan's previous life, she was the current generation fairy of Spirit Affinity House. She was one of the most outstanding characters in Spirit Affinity House. Her status was similar to Mo Yao in the past, or even higher. This was because in the 500 years of Fang Yuan's previous life, there was a great era of turmoil. The 5 regions were in unprecedented chaos, the appearance of dream realms broke the balance of the different forces, a new GU cultivation path, Dream Path, was produced, everything hinted towards the emergence of Great Dream Immortal Venerable. In this great era, heroes emerged, conquerors surfaced, capable people were everywhere, dragons and snakes rampaged all while Fairy Black Moon remained as the representative of Spirit Affinity House, one of the 10 great ancient sects. She had incredible talent, it was surely first-rate in the 5 regions. Furthermore, Fairy Black Moon led the Central Continent GU Immortals to attack Imperial Court Blessed Land. She had outstanding achievements and incredible battle strength, her methods were also profound. Ever since Fairy Black Moon emerged, she grew stronger with each battle, turning disaster into fortune. Her luck had been very strong. She was indeed an ideal target for Fang Yuan's luck connection. Chapter 927, Fang Yuan's Opportunity. Unfortunately, Fairy Black Moon wore a mask and had a mysterious status. I do not know her true identity. In my previous life, she was like a rising sun, she was dazzling and bright, there was no biography on her. Maybe she is still an ordinary disciple in Spirit Affinity House, or maybe she is the descendant of a GU Immortal. In short, I have too little information, there is nothing I can search for about her. Since he could not find Fairy Black Moon, he could only look for other, inferior targets. These people were also very famous characters. But they only had strong luck for a period of time, it was not long-lasting. Several of them had large fluctuations, some even had great misfortune after a period of good luck, dying in the process. If I use Connect Luck on them, my luck can become very strong in the short run, I can surely refine Star-Thought Immortal GU successfully. But I do not have Break Luck, when they become unlucky, so will I. Sacrificing the long-term prospects for such small temporary gains, is it really worth it? Fang Yuan was hesitant. If he had Break Luck Immortal GU, this was not a problem for him. But whether he could obtain Break Luck in the future, Fang Yuan had no confidence in that. He was never a person who would do something in which he had no assurance of the outcome. Placing his hopes of success on pure chance, Fang Yuan would not do that. He was indeed willing to gamble and take risks, but he was actually very careful and meticulous at the same time. If not for that, he would not have gotten so far. Several days later, Blazing Heaven Demoness sent over sufficient immortal materials for him to refine GU again. But Fang Yuan was no longer in the mood to refine GU. He had just heard some shocking news. Not long ago, Northern Plains Zombie Alliance was infiltrated by old ancestor Shuihu. The latter went deep into Earth Trench and secretly ransacked many precious immortal GU and immortal materials. If old ancestor Shuihu was not exposed, Zombie Alliance could only let this matter go. But the problem was, an intense battle caused old ancestor Shuihu's tracks to be exposed. Zombie Alliance had to make a response to this. Zombie Alliance was huge, it spanned across 5 regions, their territory had just been infiltrated and looted casually, how could they allow it? If they did not punish such wrongdoers, Zombie Alliance's reputation would suffer, their authority would be undermined and many forces would look down on them. How could they hold their ground in the GU Immortal world and compete with other forces? Any organization's face represented a certain extent of benefits. Moreover, just now, old ancestor Shui Hu was found in the Immortal zombie graveyard. This greatly provoked all the Zombie Alliance Immortal zombies. They burst into anger. Immortal zombies had a lot of Dao marks in their bodies, they were excellent GU refinement materials. But an Immortal zombie's immortal aperture was dead, thus, they held their own bodies in high regard, this was the last bit of pride they had. Therefore, Immortal zombies placed much more importance on their bodies than ordinary GU Immortals. The Immortal zombie graveyard was a place in Zombie Alliance that could not be defiled. But their sanctuary was ravaged by old ancestor Shui Hu, could they ignore this? Old ancestor Shui Hu went overboard. This violates the bottom line of Zombie Alliance, it seems that he is taking a risk to refine Immortal GU fortune rivaling heaven. He actually became a thief and personally stole Immortal zombie bodies. Fang Yuan assessed. He thought about his previous life. In those 500 years, this did not happen. In my past life, Ma Hongyun was alive and well, old ancestor Shui Hu did not obtain him, of course he could not refine Immortal GU fortune rivaling heaven. It seems that now, because of my rebirth, everything is changing as my influence grows. Old ancestor Shui Hu was implicated by me. Old ancestor Shui Hu's plight was a good thing to Fang Yuan. In Dark Flow Giant City, Yin Lu Gong, Dragon Commander Yi Cha, and Huang Quan Wang, these 3 rank 7 immortal zombies were standing guard. How could they be old ancestor Shui Hu's match? After it happened, they could only watch as he flew away. This matter could not be ignored, the 3 immortal zombies could only seek help from Zombie Alliance's headquarters. Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance flew into a rage, they sent 3 rank 8 immortal zombies, along with 10 rank 7 immortal zombies out to punish old ancestor Shui Hu and protect their reputation. Among these 3 immortal zombies, one was Blazing Heaven Demoness, it was necessary for her to go. Why? Because Blazing Heaven Demoness was the leader of the Northern Plains Zombie Alliance branch. She was supposed to be guarding Dark Flow Giant City. Once this happened, Blazing Heaven Demoness who was in Eastern Sea had to bear responsibility. When a mishap happened to Northern Plains Zombie Alliance, she had to return and fulfill her duty. Once Blazing Heaven Demoness leaves, the mission of taking down Yulu Blessed Land returns to Shark Demon and Subai Man. Fate worked in mysterious ways, it really caught people off guard and went beyond anyone's expectations. Originally, Shark Demon and Subai Man had no more hope, but because of old ancestor Shui Hu, Zombie Alliance had to focus on protecting its reputation. Thus, Blazing Heaven Demoness had to return to Northern Plains, and the ones left that were most suited to invade Yulu Blessed Land were Shark Demon and Subai Man. Ever since Blazing Heaven Demoness forcefully took over the mission of Yulu Blessed Land, Shark Demon and Subai Man had been having a hard time, everyone avoided them like the plague. But now, the situation was reversed. After all, there was only one final round in Yulu Blessed Land, Shark Demon and Subai Man would prosper soon. With this change in circumstances, many GU Immortals came over to befriend them, to repair the cracks in their relationships that was created earlier. Shark Demon and Subai Man were sighing over the mysterious twists and turns in life. Fang Yuan had no time to care about their feelings. Shark Demon was angry at Fang Yuan for turning to Blazing Heaven Demoness so quickly. In this invasion, he did not even invite Tai Bai Yun Shang. Fang Yuan did not give a hoot. Invading Yulu Blessed Land would give him only a small portion of the rewards, it was far less important than refining Star Thought Immortal GU. And refining Star Thought Immortal GU was only the icing on the cake, it was less important than getting into Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. After all, since long ago, Fang Yuan had been wanting the inheritance in Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. That was the inheritance of an immortal zombie great expert, it would be extremely helpful to Fang Yuan in reviving from his zombie state. In his previous life, Northern Plains Zombie Alliance obtained this inheritance and gained a huge boost in strength, surpassing Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance for a period of time. Fang Yuan tried to disguise as immortal zombie Sha Huang, in an attempt to make his way into Earth Trench and obtain the inheritance. It was a pity he failed. Feng Juzhe and the others ruined his plans. Left with no choice, Fang Yuan had to give up on it. There were many twists and turns along the way. He joined the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention, he invaded Yulu Blessed Land, and even obtained 2 or 3 ways to revive from his immortal zombie body. However, his initial goal was still not achieved. Now, it was the best chance for him to make his way into Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. Before Fang Yuan had even made any request, Blazing Heaven Demoness had already requested Fang Yuan to go back to Northern Plains with her. In the letter, Blazing Heaven Demoness' attitude was still domineering as ever, and the reason she gave was also valid and enticing. Northern Plains Zombie Alliance was the base of Blazing Heaven Demoness. She had many immortal materials kept there. She could give Fang Yuan more attempts at refining Star Thought Immortal GU over there. Or perhaps she was worried about letting Fang Yuan stay in Eastern Sea. After all, the 5 regions' regional walls were hard to pass. The higher the cultivation level, the harder it is to pass, the difficulty multiplied by several times. 100 years ago, Blazing Heaven Demoness came to Eastern Sea from Northern Plains. Most of her wealth was expended as she even got heavily injured. She only recovered after recuperating for 8 years. Now, facing a strong foe like old ancestor Shui Hu, Blazing Heaven Demoness was uncertain of how much time it would take to settle. Keeping Fang Yuan by her side was more assuring. At the same time, the Wisdom Path GU Immortal Xing Shangzi might provide Blazing Heaven Demoness some help when dealing with old ancestor Shui Hu. All in all, the chance that Fang Yuan had been trying to create and was waiting for had arrived. It was all thanks to old ancestor Shui Hu getting discovered. Towards old ancestor Shui Hu, Fang Yuan even felt a hint of gratitude. Several days later, Northern Plains, in the deepest parts of Luokou Valley. The atmosphere was tense. The 5 GU immortals from Central Continent had solemn expressions as they looked at this inconspicuous place. After the battle had ended, only 2 people from Shadow Sect escaped. The Central Continent GU immortals who had come to Northern Plains in secret and were very confident had suffered heavy losses. Only 5 were left now. To think that a thieving heaven demon Venerable true inheritance was hidden deep within Luokou Valley. Bu Fei Yan sighed. These last days, they had taken control of Luokou Valley, and while being vigilant, they made every attempt to save Feng Juzhe, Ling Mei, and Ao Shui. In the end, they confirmed the existence of the thieving heaven true inheritance, but they could not enter. It is a pity that my sect has no understanding regarding the thieving heaven true inheritances. It is too difficult to enter. We cannot break in for at least 2 to 3 years. Hong Kaiming said. He was the most skilled in GU formations among the 5 here. Now that Ancient Soul Sect's old oracle had died, Hong Kaiming was most suited to speak in this situation. Not mentioning 3 years, the Central Continent Immortals could not even wait for 3 months. In fact, it had been very risky to stay in Luokou Valley these last days. After all, 2 GU Immortals had escaped. What if they lured over other people and attacked again? Actually, even if we know how to get in, we might not be able to save them. This is the arrangement of thieving heaven demon Venerable after all. Lord Feng Juzhe is so strong, yet he is still trapped inside without any commotion. It seems that it is very dangerous inside. If we go in, we might not survive. Qin Baisheng had planned meticulously to trap Feng Juzhe in there. If we go to save him rashly, perhaps. The Central Continent GU Immortals spoke. Their words contained deep meaning. Their gazes were flickering uncertainly. The 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent were all under Heavenly Court, but they did not coexist in harmony. They had incessant conflicts. If Feng Juzhe, a 1 in 1,000 years genius, were to die here, the other 9 sects would heave sighs of relief. As for Ao Shui and Ling Mei, they had immortal GU. If they died here, Heaven's Envy Manor would lose its signature killer move, Peerless Crescent Moon Slash. This was no small loss even to Heaven's Envy Manor, which had a deep foundation. The enemy had left. The age-old inner conflicts between the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent had finally started to vaguely show themselves in these 5 immortals. We infiltrated Northern Plains to investigate the truth behind the collapse of 88 Truyong Building. Even though we took down Luokou Valley, Old Oracle has died and Feng Juzhe is trapped. We can only stop here now. That's right, after this battle, we have all suffered huge losses. We need to rest and recuperate now. In my opinion, we should hand over the information of what happened, and the fruits of our investigation over to our sects. That is the most important thing. That makes sense. Don't forget, we have captured Wei Fengzi and the Immortal GU House Dark Prison. These gains are all extremely valuable. We need to handle them appropriately. As they conversed, the Central Continent 5 immortals silently smiled internally. Why would they save Feng Juzhe? Save him so that he could suppress them. Save him so that he could get a share of the loot. But they were in the righteous path. They needed to act on the surface, and not give others excuses to target them. Now that they had made enough excuses for themselves, the 5 Central Continent immortals agreed on one thing: to return to Central Continent as soon as possible. Chapter 928, Luck Path Backlash. After passing the regional wall, the group from Eastern Sea finally reached Northern Plains. I am finally back, Fang Yuan sighed. He was disguised as Xing Shangzi. As he stepped on the grassland, his wistful sigh was not just an act. In front of him, blazing heaven demoness, gaze flickered as she muttered softly, "Yes, I'm finally back." She was more deeply moved than Fang Yuan. Even though Fang Yuan was a Northern Plains GU immortal, he only became an immortal in Northern Plains. He was born in Southern Border. But blazing heaven demoness was born and bred a person of Northern Plains. After 100 years, she was finally back. The 5 regions had varying terrains. Eastern Sea had endless mystical sea areas, Northern Plains was mostly flat and had countless grasslands, plains, and mounds. Right now, blazing heaven demoness had stepped into an infertile grassland. The yellow-brown soil only had a trace of greenery. But blazing heaven demoness felt a strong sense of familiarity inside her. Apart from Fang Yuan and blazing heaven demoness, the other GU immortals frowned slightly. They were Eastern Sea GU immortals. They felt curiosity yet unfamiliarity towards Northern Plains. Going from their homeland to another region, they felt a sense of ostracism inside them. They felt out of place from the environment that they were in. Among them, there were 2 immortal zombies with the strongest auras. They were both rank 8. These GU immortals from Eastern Sea were almost all immortal zombies. There were barely any living GU immortals. Including Fang Yuan and blazing heaven demoness, there was a total of 3 rank 8s, 6 rank 7s, and 4 rank 6s. They were a powerful group. They had strength in numbers. Old ancestor Shui, whose actions had truly angered Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance, it sent out such a huge group to Northern Plains just to take revenge. However, all of the GU immortals were injured now. The rank 6 GU immortals were lightly injured, the rank 7s had more severe injuries and were in pathetic states, while the 3 rank 8 GU immortals were weak and had damaged bodies. Some were missing arms while others were missing legs. Their bodies were swaying in the breeze, as if about to fall over at any time. The edges of the 5 regions had regional walls. The one surrounding Northern Plains was the Licorice Regional Wall, and the one around Eastern Sea was the Blue Water Regional Wall. Because of the existence of regional walls, the 5 regions were isolated. Furthermore, the regional walls were bigger obstructions against stronger life forms. The difficulty of a rank 8 GU immortal passing a regional wall was innumerable times as hard as a rank 6 GU immortal. The Eastern Sea immortal zombies had to go from Eastern Sea to Northern Plains. They had to pass 2 regional walls. The 3 rank 8s were heavily injured, while 4 of the rank 7 immortal zombies died in the regional walls. In contrast, the rank 6 GU immortals faced less pressure. Among all of them, Fang Yuan had the easiest time. He had the lowest cultivation level, at the bottom of rank 6, at the same time, he was also a Northern Plains GU immortal. When he entered Northern Plains from Eastern Sea, the Eastern Sea Regional Wall rejected him and pushed him out, while the Northern Plains Regional Wall welcomed him and drew him in. Using the same logic, among the 3 rank 8 immortal zombies, blazing heaven demoness had the lightest injuries. Like travelers from afar returning home, Fang Yuan and blazing heaven demoness received the warm welcome of Northern Plains. If not for the giant GU formation in Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance's headquarters, we would have to sacrifice at least 1 rank 8 immortal zombie and half of the rank 7s. Fang Yuan observed silently. At the same time, he inwardly praised Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance's deep foundations. Before they left, dozens of immortal zombies in the Zombie Alliance headquarters activated a GU formation, causing an earth tide. Once in a while, an earth tide would generate in Eastern Sea. Drawing the force of the earth from deep within the sea trenches, a grand force would move the seawater and create an earth tide. An earth tide was extremely powerful, it could easily whip up giant tsunamis. When an earth tide rushes at the regional wall would become thinner as a result. Thus, every year during the earth tides, many GU immortals from other regions would enter Eastern Sea. When Fang Yuan and the others set off, the earth tides were over already. To think that in Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance's headquarters, there was a method to create an artificial earth tide, weakening a portion of the Eastern Sea regional wall for a short period of time. If not for this, Fang Yuan and the others would have suffered greater injuries. What do we do now? After resting for a while, a rank 8 immortal zombie broke the silence. The other GU immortals were focusing their gazes on blazing heaven demoness. Blazing Heaven Demoness was the leader of Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. Among the 3 rank 8 immortal zombies, she was the strongest in terms of battle strength, thus, she was primarily directing the group in this mission. Blazing Heaven Demoness did not hesitate, she smiled. According to a reliable source, old ancestor Shui, who has already returned to snowy mountain blessed land. We should not rush there, we should rest and recuperate, and recover our battle strength, that is the best course of action. The immortal zombies nodded in agreement, there were no objections. They had just passed the regional walls, their battle strength had dropped to the lowest point, they needed to recover now. Blazing Heaven Demoness did not even go back to Dark Flow Giant City, she chose a hidden and secluded spot. The Eastern CGU Immortals went into hiding as they recuperated. This was the same course of action as taken by the Central Continent GU Immortals when they came. There was no other choice, the cost of passing the regional walls was too high. In snowy mountain blessed land, snow was falling. 3 main peaks with countless branch peaks were situated, like a colossal frost giant that was standing straight. Among them, the first main peak was tall and big, it was the residence of old ancestor Shuihu. Right now, in a certain room on the first main peak, a giant GU formation was flickering with golden lights. Outside the GU formation, there was an old man. It was old ancestor Shuihu. But at this moment, it was not him controlling the GU formation, it was a female immortal. This female immortal looked like she was in her late 20s, she had a beautiful appearance and elegant disposition, it was the second leader of Snowy Mountain, Lady Wan Shou. Lady Wan Shou was old ancestor Shuihu's wife, she looked much younger than old ancestor Shuihu, but she was in fact much older than him. Lady Wan Shou once had a fortuitous encounter and obtained the inheritance of GU immortal Wang Ju. Not only did she obtain a few lifespan GU, she also obtained many lifespan extension methods. These lifespan extension methods all had drawbacks compared to lifespan GU. But lifespan GU were extremely hard to find, Lady Wan Shou's lifespan extension methods were very popular with other GU immortals. During Lady Wan Shou's early days, many GU immortals had approached her, paying a huge price for her to extend their lifespans. In time, Lady Wan Shou helped more and more GU immortals, she had extended more than 1,000 years worth of lifespan. Not only did she receive countless cultivation resources, her strength also rose drastically, she built a strong network and was very popular. Many GU immortals needed her services, they naturally did not dare to offend her, they promoted her as her reputation soared far and wide. Lady Wan Shou was not only skilled at extending lifespan, she was also a refinement path quasi-great-grand master, she was known in Northern Plains GU immortal world as one of the 4 refinement path experts. Quasi-Great-Grand Master, she was only a step away from Great-Grand Master level. In terms of refinement path, Fang Yuan could not compare to Lady Wan Shou at all. As for old ancestor Shuihu, he was an ice and snow path expert, he was also inferior in refinement path. Thus, whenever old ancestor Shuihu wanted to refine GU, he would ask Lady Wan Shou to do it. But now, Lady Wan Shou was using this refinement path GU formation not to refine GU, but to temper an immortal material. This immortal material was dug out by old ancestor Shuihu from deep in Earth Trench, inside the deepest part of the Zombie Alliance Immortal Zombie Graveyard. It was palm-sized and was shining in purple gold light, it was like a rock. The refinement path GU formation shined brightly and made great rumbling noises. A while later, the GU formation settled down, and the light also dissipated. The mysterious purple gold rock that had turned completely red now cooled down quickly, it went back to its previous state. Old ancestor Shuihu looked at Lady Wan Shou with an expectant gaze, he was asking her wordlessly. Lady Wan Shou frowned slightly, she shook her head. Even you cannot tell what this mysterious purple gold rock is. Old ancestor Shuihu was surprised. This immortal material is truly extraordinary, I have already used my GU formation to its limits but I could not refine it. This is the first time I've seen such a situation, I need to research it carefully. After saying this, Lady Wan Shou changed the topic. Dear, you were too careless. It would have been fine if you were not exposed when stealing immortal zombies. But now that you have exceeded Zombie Alliance's bottom line, they are sure to take revenge, you need to be careful. Old ancestor Shuihu nodded, he said heavily, this time, I was overconfident. My original plan was progressing smoothly, I almost looted the entire immortal zombie graveyard, but suddenly, a blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie appeared. This is a superb immortal material for refining fortune rivaling heaven GU, I got too excited and tried to capture him. To think he had already set up a GU formation in the graveyard, I was careless and could not conceal the sound of the battle, thus Northern Plains Zombie Alliance was alerted. Oh, old ancestor Shuihu sighed deeply, now that I think about it, it was likely the interference of fortune rivaling heaven immortal. Lady Wan Shou said in a heavy tone, fortune rivaling heaven immortal GU is rank 8, it is to be expected that you were influenced. This is the core immortal GU of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. When I was refining GU recently, I have been failing a lot too. It is likely the effect of fortune rivaling heaven GU. But dear, just now, you have obtained a large number of immortal zombie bodies, the rate of immortal material collection was raised drastically. As long as we can refine fortune rivaling heaven immortal GU, all of this would be worth it. Ever since old ancestor Shui Hu bought Ma Hong Yun, he had been using the latter as the main material to refine the rank 8 fortune rivaling heaven immortal GU. This matter was not advantageous to Ma Hong Yun, thus, old ancestor Shui Hu and Lady Wan Shou faced the backlash of fortune rivaling heaven immortal GU. Not only them, many GU immortals of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land had received old ancestor Shui Hu's orders to collect immortal materials, but they constantly faced bad luck and many mishaps happened to them. Actually, previously, old ancestor Shui Hu had already experienced a backlash from luck path. That was when Fairy Li Shan had just obtained Minuscule Mountain, it attracted the attack of Yao Huang and Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu. But fighting both of them alone, old ancestor Shui Hu forced them to retreat. Luck path was not invincible by any means, old ancestor Shui Hu used his immense strength to resist the backlash of luck path. Just now, it was a near guaranteed success that he would steal the immortal zombie bodies, but due to the luck path backlash, he became careless and the matter was blown up. The more difficulties we face in refining fortune rivaling heaven GU, the more we can see the power of this immortal GU, and the more determined I am to refine it. Don't worry, I have already placed Dark Flow Giant City under close supervision. If anything happens, I will know immediately. We will resist whoever comes here. I want to see if Zombie Alliance can really invest so much into this. Old ancestor Shui Hu laughed. He displayed the dominance and ambition of a demonic path overlord. Chapter 929, Plotting against old ancestor Shui Hu. The huge Dark Flow Giant City was situated in a desolate land. Darkness loomed over it. The giant city was like a slumbering beast, quietly lurking. Ever since old ancestor Shui Hu had ransacked the immortal zombie graveyard, Dragon Commander Yi Cha and the other two leaders had closed the entirety of Dark Flow Giant City, showing a defensive stance. Dark Flow Giant City was focusing on defense. No matter how other forces tried to probe it, they could only obtain a bit of information. When night came, Blazing Heaven Demoness led the other Eastern Sea immortal zombies and secretly returned to Dark Flow Giant City. Subordinates Yin Lu Gong, Dragon Commander Yi Cha and Huang Quan Wang welcome leader and both lords, greetings to everyone. The three currently in charge of Northern Plains Zombie Alliance paid respects. They could not conceal the uneasiness and agitation in their expressions. Get up, you were facing old ancestor Shui Hu, it was not your fault. Blazing Heaven Demoness said first. Yin Lu Gong and the others sighed in relief, their worries were eased. Their lives had been very difficult these last few days. On one hand, they were waiting for the reinforcements from Zombie Alliance's headquarters, but at the same time, they were worried about their responsibility towards this matter in terms of negligence. Old ancestor Shui Hu was too arrogant, he has to pay the price. We of Zombie Alliance are not to be trifled with. Another rank 8 immortal zombie said. The surrounding immortal zombies looked at him in admiration, they quickly voiced out their agreement. This rank 8 immortal zombie was known as Corpse Detonation King. He was most skilled at using the smallest cost to ignite immortal zombie bodies and cause terrifying explosions. He had a bad temper and was ruthless. When he passed the regional wall, he wantonly attacked allies who disagreed with him and killed them. Among the 4 rank 7 immortal zombies that died, 3 were dead because of him. Their corpses were blown to bits, completely shattered. They created a huge explosion in the regional wall which allowed Corpse Detonation King to advance forward. Leader, when are we counterattacking? When we attack, please let me be the vanguard. Yin Lu Gong and Huang Quan Wang saw the reinforcements from Eastern Sea and felt a strong sense of enthusiasm. They requested to help. Blazing Heaven Demoness was not anxious. She said leisurely, this matter is very important. Let's go look at the crime scene first. We need to collect evidence there. That's right, looking at these traces, we might be able to estimate some of old ancestor Shui Hu's methods. Another rank 8 immortal zombie, Pu Wandao, nodded in agreement. Even though they were greater in numbers, they were all immortal zombies. Compared to living GU immortals, they had many drawbacks. Most importantly, the other party was not an ordinary person, they could not pressure him easily. This was someone who could fight both Yao Huang and Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu alone and force them back. He was a fearsome character, the publicly recognized #1 demonic path GU immortal in Northern Plains GU immortal world. Next, the immortal zombies moved without pause, secretly going to Earth Trench and analyzing the battlefield. The battlefield was well preserved by Yin Lugong and the others. The immortal zombie graveyard was a mess, the surface was covered in large amounts of frost, some crevices even had some fire burning in them. Everyone displayed their abilities as they investigated. Fang Yuan was among them, but his mind was wandering. He gazed around, but his mind was elsewhere. He was looking for the treasure, but this treasure was not inside the immortal zombie graveyard, it was far deeper in Earth Trench. How can I obtain this treasure without anyone else knowing? I have a feeling this inheritance will surely be of huge help to me. Perhaps I will have to rely on it to get rid of my immortal zombie body and revive. Fang Yuan was becoming more excited about it. But currently it was a pity that he was unable to leave the group, he could only follow them as they left Earth Trench, returning to Dark Flow Giant City. After observing the battlefield, the immortal zombies' expressions turned very ugly. Even Corpse Detonation King and Pu Wandao had grim expressions. Even though they did not engage in battle personally, just looking at the traces left behind, they could estimate old ancestor Shuihu's immense power. But this made everyone feel that there was something strange, it was the person who could fight old ancestor Shuihu to this extent. Who was this person? With rank 7 cultivation level, he had outstanding battle strength, even already having set up a GU formation in the graveyard itself. They seem to be an immortal zombie as well, but why do I not have their details in my list of names? Blazing Heaven Demoness frowned deeply, she asked Yin Lugong and the others. Yin Lugong, Dragon Commander Yi Cha, and Huang Quan Wang smiled bitterly, they admitted blame in unison, we have failed our duties, we were kept in the dark and did not know that there was such a person hiding in Earth Trench. Blazing Heaven Demoness snorted coldly, her expression turned cold, investigate thoroughly. I feel that this is not so simple. Old ancestor Shuihu's appearance here can be explained. He needs to refine fortune rivaling Heaven GU but is lacking in immortal materials. But why did that mysterious immortal zombie appear in our Northern Plains Zombie Alliance graveyard? Looking at this situation, he had been here for a long time already. No need to investigate. At this time, the rank 8 GU Immortal Corpse Detonation King interjected, this person is a member of Zombie Alliance. We are here now to rescue him. Beside him, Pu Wandao added, Lady Blazing Heaven Demoness, and everyone from Northern Plains Zombie Alliance, do forgive us. This person is not ordinary, he is a 10 extreme immortal zombie with outstanding battle strength. Because he is on a secret mission from Zombie Alliance, for his safety, he was kept hidden. Zombie Alliance's headquarters has sent down a top priority order, we have to work together to rescue this blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie. It was like this, the immortal zombies showed looks of shock. Yin Lugong and the other two were slightly taken aback before their expressions turned grim. Dragon Commander Yi Cha cupped his fists at the people from Eastern Sea. I wonder what secret mission this blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie was on, that he had to come to the highly important immortal zombie graveyard in our Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. Corpse Detonation King replied coldly, this is not something you are qualified to know. Alright, Blazing Heaven Demoness stood up, she tried to ease the situation, our enemy now is old ancestor Shuihu. Since that immortal zombie is one of us, we will save him as well. Yin Lugong and the others nodded in agreement. Fang Yuan watched coldly from the side. This secret was kept from even Blazing Heaven Demoness. She was, after all, a Northern Plains immortal zombie, even though she had been in Eastern Sea for a long time, she was still isolated from the true core of Zombie Alliance. At the same time, Fang Yuan realized something. Zombie Alliance sent out so many people not only to teach old ancestor Shuihu a lesson, but they most importantly wanted to save this blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie. Fang Yuan saw this interesting situation as he laughed internally. Hee, if this blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie was sent by Zombie Alliance's headquarters secretly as a spy to check on the Northern Plains branch, that would be amusing. Earlier, Dragon Commander Yi Cha was probably trying to ask about this. Lady Blazing Heaven Demoness, you are indeed a valuable member of our Zombie Alliance. If everyone else had your awareness and understanding, why would we have to worry about Zombie Alliance's goal of becoming the overlord of the 5 regions? Ha ha ha, Corpse Detonation King laughed loudly. Blazing Heaven Demoness was kept in the dark, she only learned about the true mission now. But she was a shrewd person, she did not show any displeasure, instead she said, next, let us talk about how we will teach old ancestor Shuihu a lesson and also save the blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie. Corpse Detonation King immediately said, the blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie's body has an abundance of fire path and lightning path Dao marks, he is extremely suited to be used to refine GU. We should not waste time, we should just approach him directly. Going right at him is just an act of a boor. Blazing Heaven Demoness rebuked, not giving Corpse Detonation King any face. Corpse Detonation King stared as he was about to say something, but Pu Wan Dao also supported Blazing Heaven Demoness. That is right, the other party captured the Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance Immortal Zombie, he has a hostage. If we go there openly, even if we suppress old ancestor Shui Hu, he will use the hostage to threaten us, we will be restricted and all our advantages would be lost. Then we will sneak into Snowy Mountain Blessed Land and save the Blazing Glory Lightning Brilliance Immortal Zombie. Corpse Detonation King said again. Blazing Heaven Demoness snorted. Outside Dark Flow Giant City, there are countless hidden investigators, some must come from Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. With just this, we can see how alert old ancestor Shui Hu is. Snowy Mountain Blessed Land is sure to be heavily guarded. It is not realistic to sneak in, it is like surrendering ourselves to them. Of course, Corpse Detonation King, you are incredibly powerful and have amazing skills, if you want to, you can go yourself. I am sure that with your strength, you will succeed. You, Corpse Detonation King was lost for words, he showed an ashamed and angry expression. Then, in your opinion, what shall we do? Pu Wan Dao placed his hand on Corpse Detonation King's shoulder as he asked Blazing Heaven Demoness with a sharp gaze. Blazing Heaven Demoness smiled proudly. Even though old ancestor Shui Hu is strong, and Snowy Mountain Blessed Land is heavily guarded, it cannot conceal his greatest weakness. Someone asked, oh, what weakness? Blazing Heaven Demoness looked around as she said, fortune rivaling Heaven Immortal Gu. Fang Yuan had no interest in dealing with old ancestor Shui Hu. When the immortal zombies were discussing about schemes excitedly, he was thinking about how to get to the treasure deep inside Earth Trench. After an exchange of words, Blazing Heaven Demoness regained control as the first in command. The immortal zombies planned and arranged their roles. Blazing Heaven Demoness did not let Fang Yuan go with them, she gave him one mission only, that was to continue refining Star Thought Immortal Gu. She even gave Fang Yuan a token, it provided him the highest representation of her authority. With this token, Fang Yuan could freely enter or exit Dark Flow Giant City, as well as the resource points that were controlled by Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. He could even enter the storage and use the precious immortal materials that were accumulated inside. As long as they were used to refine Immortal Gu, he just had to register what he took. The terms were relaxed and in his favor. Fang Yuan could not help but be surprised by this. Does Blazing Heaven Demoness still want to take down Yulu Blessed Land? That is not possible, not mentioning how long it would take to solve this issue with old ancestor Shui Hu. Now that Shark Demon and Subai Man have started invading it again, they are sure to make use of their time and invite Wisdom Path Gu Immortals to help regardless of the cost. But once I have Star Thought Immortal Gu, together with my Wisdom Path attainment level, I can deduce many things. Maybe Blazing Heaven Demoness wants to make use of my ability in this regard to deal with old ancestor Shui Hu. Chapter 930, Creating a Chance to Enter Earth Trench. Boom, there was a loud sound, but the power of the explosion, on the contrary, was not big. The endless starlight flickered leisurely in the secret room, like fluttering butterflies. Looking at such a beautiful scene, Fang Yuan's expression was very unsightly. Failed again. This time, the refinement of Star Thought Immortal Gu did not even progress to 1/3. Fang Yuan exhaled and waved his sleeve. Immediately, everything was cleared, the starlight disappeared without a trace and the large secret room once again recovered its tranquility. This was a secret room in Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. Fang Yuan had obtained enough immortal materials here, thus, he made another attempt at refinement, but tasted the bitterness of failure once again. Despite using Immortal Killer Move Time Assist Luck before refining every time, the effect is not much. In terms of Connect Luck, there are no suitable targets. Forget it, I have already showed enough efforts on the surface, now I should try to enter deep into Earth Trench and get that inheritance. Fang Yuan naturally wanted to get the inheritance as soon as possible, but in many matters, haste was waste. If he did not refine Star Thought Immortal Gu and just tried to go into Earth Trench hurriedly, it would no doubt be exposing his intentions. It would be easily seen through, this naturally could not be allowed. Although Fang Yuan entered Northern Plains Zombie Alliance, the current problem was he did not have freedom and was strictly guarded by 2 immortal zombies. Fang Yuan understood that he was being monitored. After all, he had failed many times in refining the Immortal Gu and owed Blazing Heaven Demoness a huge amount. If he was not monitored and ran away, what would she do? Even though when they had set the agreement, Blazing Heaven Demoness had used information path methods and both sides were restricted by Immortal Killer moves. But at Blazing Heaven Demoness level, as the saying goes, the more aged and experienced a person is, the less recklessness they have, the more knowledge they have, the more careful they are. Who could be certain if Fang Yuan did not have a way to break the restrictions? And Fang Yuan indeed did. His previous life's memories gave him knowledge of many methods that could break immortal level restrictions of information path. But he did not have relevant immortal GU, so at present, he did not have the ability to break the restrictions. Moreover, he sincerely wanted to refine Star Thought Immortal GU, thus he was cooperating with Blazing Heaven Demoness. But now, his even more wanted to secretly take that inheritance. During these last days in Dark Flow Giant City, Fang Yuan tried refining Star Thought Immortal GU to make Blazing Heaven Demoness feel at ease, while secretly gathering information and making preparations for when he made a move. Compared to previously, Dark Flow Giant City had already opened its city gates, resuming its dealings with the outside world. The immortal zombies' morale gradually started rising and they were in high spirits. Blazing Heaven Demoness led the experts to deal with old ancestor Shui Hu, using a rather intelligent strategy. She did not attack directly, instead exploiting old ancestor Shui Hu's greatest weakness. What was old ancestor Shui Hu's greatest weakness? Almost all Northern Plains GU immortals knew. That was fortune rivaling heaven GU. Old ancestor Shui Hu was wholeheartedly trying to refine fortune rivaling heaven GU, but he severely lacked immortal materials, even though he already had Ma Hong Yun, the main material. This concerned rank 8 immortal GU. He needed to prepare many sets of materials and do everything to maximize the possibility of success. Thus, his requirements towards immortal materials were extremely huge. Those demonic path GU immortals of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land were already endlessly at work from old ancestor Shui Hu. They were in constant torment in order to find the materials. Even old ancestor Shui Hu let go of his status, and personally sneaked into the immortal zombie graveyard in Earth Trench, like a two-bit thief. This showed old ancestor Shui Hu's extreme desire towards immortal materials. Blazing Heaven Demoness used this point to actively deploy and transfer experts to deal with those demonic path GU immortals of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land in particular, using ambushes, plots, wrecking plans and various other strategies. These demonic path GU immortals already had enough pain as it was when gathering immortal materials. Now that they suffered the backlash of luck path, the immortal zombies had a high success rate every time they moved against them. As these attempts continued to succeed many times, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land's morale unavoidably fell, while Zombie Alliance's morale gradually rose, sweeping away the previous dejectedness. Fang Yuan opened the door to the secret room with an ashen expression. 2 rank 6 immortal zombies were standing guard at the entrance. Seeing Fang Yuan, an immortal zombie called Dr. Yin Zan immediately bowed. "Sir, you have come out. I wonder if this refinement." Fang Yuan gave a grunt, waving his hand in irritation. "Don't bother me." Saying this, he walked away. HMPH, who does he thinks he is, to be so arrogant in our base? The other immortal zombie, Landlord Lei Yu's eyes flickered with ominous light as he looked at Fang Yuan's receding figure. However, Dr. Yin Zan did not care about being ignored, brightly smiling as he followed closely behind Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan walked ahead, taking a left turn and then a right, arriving in front of a hall. This was the biggest immortal material warehouse in Dark Flow Giant City, and was personally watched by an immortal zombie. Seeing Fang Yuan as well as Dr. Yin Zan and Landlord Lei Yu, the immortal zombie in charge familiarly nodded towards them. Knowing Fang Yuan was here to get immortal materials, he handed an information path GU worm to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan held the GU worm, and pretended to inspect the immortal material list inside, while plotting inwardly. Blazing Heaven Demoness, Corpse Detonation King and Pu Wan Dao have already left Dark Flow Giant City 2 days ago to target the demonic path GU immortals of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, and have not returned until now. This is an opportunity, I need to take advantage of it. Right at this time, the immortal zombie managing the warehouse enthusiastically spoke. "Sir Xingshangzi, you can take any immortal materials you want. Leader has already informed us, and you only need to register the items. You don't need to have any worries." Who knew that? Right as he finished speaking, Fang Yuan stared at him with a fierce look. "What worries would I have? Why would I have any worries? I am good." Fang Yuan looked like a mess with his hair and clothes in disorder, and also very agitated. One look at this appearance, and the managing immortal zombie knew Fang Yuan must have failed the refinement. This immortal zombie was dazed for a moment before thinking. "Serves me right, why do I have to shoot my mouth off? Whether his refinement succeeds or fails, what has it got to do with me?" At once, he kept quiet to prevent any further issues. However, Fang Yuan was not willing to let go. He crushed the information path GU worm, and walked away with his head low and hands behind his back. He was grumbling. Damn it, why is it still not working, why is it always a failure? I have already failed 4 times, why is it like this, why? Dr. Yinzan and landlord Lei Yu looked at each other, and both sensibly stayed away from Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan, however, became more restless and started swearing while clenching his fists. His words were extremely vulgar and occasionally, he mumbled incomprehensible words. Dr. Yinzan tried his best to differentiate them but he could only make out some fragmented contents. Do I really have to use that method? No, the price is too high. Damn it, this damned immortal GU, why am I not succeeding? Fang Yuan revealed hesitation, seemingly having to make an extremely difficult decision. His eyes were very red, giving the impression of a gambler who had already lost most of his assets but decided to go all in to win back the losses. Screw it, I will stake it all. This time, it will definitely succeed, definitely. Right, it will succeed. The 3 immortal zombies watched on indifferently, and as they looked on at Fang Yuan's restlessness, the disdain and hate in their heart disappeared slightly, replaced by a trace of pity. Many GU immortals had faced such a situation. To refine an immortal GU, they paid a huge price, but they end up making no gains and might even lose all their wealth. It was like stepping on a road of no return. Looking at the dozens of years of accumulation and even hundreds of years of resources go to waste, it was unavoidable for them to become irrational and chase after success, unable to turn back, walking further and further on the road of failure. Fang Yuan suddenly stopped and turned around, looking at Dr. Yinzan and landlord Lei Yu. I have decided, you 2 pack up and follow me into Earth Trench. Fang Yuan's words gave a huge shock to the 3 immortal zombies. Entering Earth Trench, Dr. Yinzan's expression changed. Earth Trench was a dangerous place with ferocious beasts roaming around in perilous terrain. Who knew how many lives have been buried there? Blazing Heaven Demoness had ordered them to monitor Fang Yuan, naturally it also meant they had to guard him. Hearing Fang Yuan suddenly speak of entering Earth Trench, how could Dr. Yinzan agree? Landlord Lei Yu also did not agree, saying firmly, we will gather any immortal materials you require, sir, you don't need to take the risk. What do you understand, huh? Fang Yuan raised his voice, his gaze revealing an arrogant look. Both of us have received leader's command to ensure your safety, sir. Sir, if you enter Earth Trench and something happens, how can we explain it to leader? Please don't make it difficult for us. Dr. Yinzan gave a bitter smile, requesting earnestly. Why would Fang Yuan care about his sincerity? He raised his arm and roared, what does your difficulty have to do with me? I only care about refining GU. I only know I need Earth Shell Snail Star Night Mucus. Earth Shell Snail Star Night Mucus. Sir, please hold on, I will check. Dr. Yinzan immediately said. He also had information path GU worms on him which contained the records of most of the immortal materials in Zombie Alliance. Soon, Dr. Yinzan showed a joyous look as he retracted his consciousness. Earth Shell Snail Mucus is the fluid left behind by the desolate beast Earth Shell Snail as it slowly crawls on the ground. We have it, we have it. Currently, in warehouse number 6, there are 2 to 3 in stock. Will they be enough? If they are not, we will immediately issue a task and summon immortal zombies to gather them. Fang Yuan bellowed furiously, scolding while pointing at Dr. Yinzan's nose. Have you become deaf or is there a hole in your brain? Didn't you hear what I said? Earth Shell Snail Star Night Mucus. Star, Night, Mucus. Not ordinary mucus, do you understand? He then hurriedly continued. Earth Shell Snail Mucus needs to be sealed and stored within 10 breaths of time, otherwise the fluid will dry up and lose its effect. Star Night Mucus is produced by using my special methods to process the ordinary mucus on the spot. The processing requires 7 breaths of time, and even if the processing is complete and Star Night Mucus is produced, its sealing process is complicated and needs to be finished within 3 breaths. So I need to enter Earth Trench, can you do it without me? If you can do it, I will eat my hat. For a moment, Dr. Yinzan and the others choked on their words, unable to retort to Fang Yuan's scolding. Chapter 931, Finally entering Earth Trench. Earth Shell Snails lived in the depths of Earth Trench, or rather, they could only live there. According to what Fang Yuan said, to collect the Star Night Mucus, he would need to enter deep into Earth Trench and find an Earth Shell Snail, trailing behind it as the snail moves, processing the mucus on the spot. After processing it, he had to collect the Star Night Mucus in a very short amount of time. There was great difficulty in this, and it was very dangerous. Earth shell snails had mild temperaments, it was not hard to get near them, one could even stand on their backs and attack them lightly, this desolate beast would not get angry. The danger came from the fact that Earth Trench did not only contain earth shell snails. The deeper one went into Earth Trench, the more fierce beasts, mysterious plants and wild GU worms would show up. Earth Trench was unfathomably deep, the place where the earth shell snails lived was a huge distance from the surface. Around the earth shell snail, there were many powerful beasts that formed into groups of desolate beasts, even ancient desolate beasts were not rare. These fierce beasts and plants were the biggest threat. I definitely have to go into Earth Trench. Since Lady Blazing Heaven Demoness wants you two to protect me, then I will rely on you. Even if you die, I must live, do you understand? Fang Yuan ordered them in a matter-of-fact tone. Landlord Lei Yu and Dr. Yin Zhan gritted their teeth in anger, but they could do nothing to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan used Blazing Heaven Demoness, name, these two immortal zombies had no choice. The two discussed for a while before Dr. Yin Zhan said with a gloomy face to Fang Yuan, "This is very important, I have to report to Lady Blazing Heaven Demoness first, we cannot decide this ourselves." In the end, the key obstacle was still Blazing Heaven Demoness. But this was something Fang Yuan had expected. Thus, he waved his sleeves, urging them, then go. He was not afraid of Blazing Heaven Demoness, investigation. The truth was, Star Night mucus was a real thing. This was one of the gains that Fang Yuan had recently when modifying the Star Thought Immortal GU recipe. Star Night mucus was a personal innovation by Fang Yuan, it had a lot of potential and had a variety of uses. Not only could it be used for Star Thought Immortal GU, it could also be used for the refinement of other Star Path Immortal GU, it was an easy-to-gather rank 6 immortal material that also had a lot of use. If I can find a suitable habitat for earth shell snails, I can make use of it to produce Star Night mucus continuously. This immortal material would be a monopoly if I sold it in Treasure Yellow Heaven, I can definitely sell it for a good price. In the short run, its value and profit would rival Guts GU. Fang Yuan evaluated, but in the long run, the Star Night mucus method of production would be deciphered by others, they would even mimic him. After all, processing immortal materials was not like producing Guts GU, in the hands of Refinement Path and Wisdom Path GU immortals, it could be easily deciphered. He could not keep a monopoly for long. Dr. Yin Zhan stayed and accompanied Fang Yuan. The unlucky fellow, Landlord Lei Yu, carried a sense of heaviness and uneasiness as he went to a certain GU formation in Dark Flow Giant City, using an Information Path GU formation to transmit the information to Blazing Heaven Demoness. Fang Yuan was not worried that Blazing Heaven Demoness would stop him. In fact, Fang Yuan was rather confident that she would agree to it. After all, refining Star Thought Immortal GU would be of great help to Blazing Heaven Demoness as well. Fang Yuan still owed her a huge debt, if she did not want him to die, she might even send other immortal zombies to protect him. Of course, there would not be many immortal zombies protecting him. Right now, Northern Plains Zombie Alliance's attention was on the demonic path GU immortals of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, to assault them and prevent them from obtaining GU refinement immortal materials so that old ancestor Shuihu would suffer. If Blazing Heaven Demoness really did that, it would be in my favor. Entering deep into Earth Trench, the more people there are, the safer it is. By the time I get to the inheritance, I can shrug them off. If there are few people, I can shrug them off more easily. As Fang Yuan had expected, in the end, Blazing Heaven Demoness agreed with his idea and arranged for 5 immortal zombies to accompany him. Among them, 2 were rank 7, and 3 were rank 6. This was slightly beyond Fang Yuan's expectations, he could see Blazing Heaven Demoness' sincerity from this. 3 days later, the 5 immortal zombies gathered. They waited for 2 more days, as the immortal zombies borrowed some immortal GU for this mission. As the locals, no one was more familiar with Earth Trench than them. After making ample preparations, the group set off. What was worth noting was, not only did Northern Plains have an Earth Trench, in fact, the 5 regions all had an Earth Trench. The ground was split open into giant ravines, some earth trenches stretched on for millions of li, some were tens of thousands of kilometers deep, some were immeasurably deep. In the GU Master World, it was one of the most magnificent wonders of nature. The Earth Trench in Zombie Alliance was closely guarded by them. When Blazing Heaven Demoness was not in Northern Plains, Yin Lu Gong, Dragon Commander Yi Cha, and Huang Quan Wang, the 3 rank 7 immortal zombies, would send at least one person to guard the entrance of Earth Trench. Earth Trench was full of resources, there were many desolate beasts. In the past, when Dark Flow Giant City was built here, it was to occupy this rich resource point. Everyone knew that Northern Plains has the least amount of cultivation resources compared to the other 4 regions. But in Earth Trench, there was a huge area of rich resources. The only drawback was, there were powerful desolate plants and desolate beasts inside, they were numerous. Normally, only super forces could occupy the Earth Trench resource point. Northern Plains Zombie Alliance was like this, the Demon Expelling Sect in Central Continent was the same. Demon Expelling Sect was a super force, having 3 GU Immortals standing guard in it. It controlled the Earth Trench known as Anzu Earth Trench. It was very famous in Central Continent. By night time, Fang Yuan and the others went through the entrance of Earth Trench. Fang Yuan had planned for a long time, he was not going to sneak in stealthily. He was surrounded by 5 immortal zombies, he was going in boldly and openly. The giant trench was like a giant beast with a bloodthirsty mouth, it slowly opened its mouth in the deep darkness. Fang Yuan and the others went inside, as their view of the trench gradually enlarged, dozens of times, hundreds of times. After they flew down for several minutes, the interior of the Earth Trench was already wide enough to fit 70 or 80 dark flow giant cities. The eerie darkness shined with twinkling glimmers of light. The cliffs on the 2 sides were smooth and bare, there was only a sparse amount of needle-shaped plants that were stuck there like sesame seeds. Nobody knew how deep this Earth Trench was. Even the immortal zombies who were in control of this place for many years had never explored to the bottom of the Earth Trench. Even though the Earth Trench was full of resources, there was also an unbelievable number of desolate beasts and ancient desolate beasts. Northern Plains Zombie Alliance did not have the strength, even though they exerted all their efforts, they only controlled the territory up to about 160 kilometers from the surface. In this current world, even though humans had been the overlords for a long time, they were not able to gain control over every area in nature. Compared to the majesty of nature, humans were very insignificant and small. The profound mysteries of heaven and earth were endless, they were deeply hidden. Even immortal venerables and demon venerables were merely at the peaks of 1 or 2 paths, being able to observe the rules of the world. Humans were far from understanding the mysteries of heaven and earth, there was a long road ahead of them. As the group moved deeper, Earth Trench became wider and it showed just how small Fang Yuan and the rest were. Here, they were already around 100 kilometers from the surface. Mountains could not fill up this Earth Trench, it was shrouded in boundless darkness, devouring everything. Everyone was very quiet. Fang Yuan looked around without making a sound, he observed the immortal zombies secretly using his peripheral vision. 5 immortal zombie guards, 2 rank 7, 3 rank 6. Among them, the rank 7 immortal zombies were Dragon Commander Yi Cha and Granny Yuan. Among the 3 rank 6s, there was Dr. Yin Zan and Landlord Lei Yu, as well as an enslavement path immortal zombie, called Lin Danao. In the last 5 days, Fang Yuan had obtained some of their information, he was not clueless about them. Among the 2 rank 7 immortal zombies, the leader was Dragon Commander Yi Cha. He was one of the 3 vice leaders of Dark Flow Giant City, and also the strongest person in this trip. What was worth mentioning was that he used his own immortal aperture to raise large numbers of yaksha octopuses, gaining a reputation because of them. Immortal zombies had dead apertures, but Dragon Commander Yi Cha was able to raise large amounts of yaksha octopuses, this was something others found puzzling, and many immortal zombies were curious. The other rank 7 immortal zombie was Granny Yuan, skilled in defense. Dr. Yin Zan, as his title suggested, was a healing GU immortal. He could not compare to Tai Bai Yun Sheng, but in regards to healing immortal zombies, he had quite the skill. Landlord Lei Yu was skilled in attacking, his attacks were grand and powerful. The final person, the immortal zombie Lin Danao, he was skilled in controlling birds, he was an enslavement path immortal zombie. From this, one could see that Blazing Heaven Demoness had put in some effort in arranging these people to protect Fang Yuan. Granny Yuan could provide him defense, while Dr. Yin Zan could help Fang Yuan recover from injuries at a crucial moment, saving his life. If they were attacked by desolate beasts and were unable to win, Lin Danao could sacrifice the bird groups that he had, providing enough time to allow the immortals to make an escape. The deeper they went, the wider Earth Trench became. There was a lot of space between the 2 cliffs on the sides, birds could move very freely here. At this moment, birds were flying out of Lin Danao's immortal aperture, flying around the place. Enslavement Path had its conveniences, ever since they entered Earth Trench, Lin Danao was in charge of the investigation aspect. The inheritance is that way, but I cannot go there directly, it would seem like I have an objective and they would be suspicious. Fang Yuan did not do anything suspicious, he was very patient. After some traveling, Lin Danao suddenly said, There is a Yaksha octopus in front and towards the left, it is injured. Dragon Commander Yi Cha's expression did not change. Ignore it, we will detour around it. Fang Yuan's group of 6 was very powerful, a rank 6 Yaksha octopus was surely inferior to them. But this trip was to find earth shell snails and gather immortal materials, that was their objective. By that point, they were sure to go through many battles, they should save their immortal essence for now. Earth shell snails live deep in earth trench, they moved very slowly and did not have fixed locations, they were very hard to trace. The stronger the beast, the more they would have a sense of territory. In an extremely deep part of earth trench, all sorts of fierce beasts and plants owned their respective territories. But earth shell snails were a rare species that could move between territories without attracting the animosity of the desolate beasts. Maybe it was because of the earth shell snail's gentle nature, it let the other strong living beings know that it was harmless. But Fang Yuan and the others would not receive treatment like the earth shell snail. Thus, there were bound to be battles. Chapter 932, Yaksha Octopuses, Mouth Earthworm. Without speaking, Fang Yuan and the other immortal zombies had already traveled more than 130 kilometers down into Earth Trench. Even though they avoided battles, they still engaged in 16 fights, both big and small. The immortal zombies were more or less injured to an extent. We can't go any deeper. Dragon Commander Yi Cha said. At this depth, we are already at the range of the Earth Shell Snail's habitat, let's look around. Northern Plains Zombie Alliance only managed to explore 160 kilometers into Earth Trench. Right now, they were still around 30 kilometers from that limit, but the lower they went, the more dangerous it became, desolate beasts were everywhere, and Fang Yuan's group would face even more difficulties than now. No immortal zombie objected to Dragon Commander Yi Cha's suggestion. After choosing a direction, everyone flew quietly. Maybe it was because Fang Yuan had used time assist luck before this trip and raised his luck for a period of time. But in any case, not long after, he encountered an earth shell snail. Great. Fang Yuan showed an overjoyed expression. Don't be anxious, check the surroundings first, make sure there are no dangers lurking around. Dragon Commander Yi Cha was very patient. The immortals used their methods to thoroughly investigate. In this area, there was a sizable group of Yaksha octopuses guarding their territory. To process the snail mucus, I will need to use starlight, it will definitely alert these Yaksha octopuses. Fang Yuan showed a difficult expression as he looked at Dragon Commander Yi Cha. Everyone's expression sank. Why didn't you say that earlier? Landlord Lei Yu asked unhappily. Maybe there is a way to conceal this disturbance, Dr. Yin Zan said. Fang Yuan shook his head. That is not possible, I also want to conceal our disturbance, but that is beyond my ability. I cannot reveal my actual method, but in short, we should get rid of these Yaksha octopuses first. Fang Yuan's attitude was firm and his reason was valid. The other immortal zombies looked at each other. In the end, Dragon Commander Yi Cha relented. Then we will fight this group of Yaksha octopuses before Xingshangzi starts. This time, Dragon Commander Yi Cha did the scouting personally. There were 8 desolate beast octopuses in this group, among them was an octopus king, having rank 7 GU immortal battle strength. Lin Da now will be in charge of the surroundings, mobilizing the bird groups to encircle the octopus group. Granny Yuan will draw their attention and distract them. Landlord Lei Yu and I will attack these octopuses. As for Dr. Yin Zan, you will stand guard outside in case of emergencies. Dragon Commander Yi Cha quickly arranged matters. Fang Yuan did not have to do anything. The Yaksha octopuses were truly unfortunate, the immortal zombies stealthily approached them, scheming against this unknowing group. Thus, once they fought, the Yaksha octopus group suffered a huge blow and fell into panic. The immortal zombies quickly gained an advantage as they built upon their superiority. Soon, the battle reached its end as the octopuses were killed, only 2 were left. At this time, Dragon Commander Yi Cha said to Fang Yuan, Xingshangzi, go ahead and attack. Fang Yuan's gaze shone, he slowly went into battle. Immortal killer move, Star Snake Rope. He first trapped the Yaksha octopus that was in better condition, before using 6 illusion star bodies to encircle the other one. Swish swish swish, starlight shone brightly, Fang Yuan attacked non-stop. He quickly killed this Yaksha octopus which was already close to dying. Next, he turned around and targeted the final one remaining. The Yaksha octopus was half man and half beast. Its upper body was a muscular man with bulging muscles and dark skin that was tough as steel. Its lower body was made of dozens of tentacles, in place of legs. This final Yaksha octopus was in a good condition, it fought valiantly, engaging in a fierce battle with Fang Yuan, as it slowly fell into a deadlock with him. Fang Yuan used Star Cloud Grindstone to defend himself while waiting for a chance to attack time and time again, until he finally cut off all of the Yaksha octopus tentacles. When he was fighting, the other immortal zombies watched without doing anything. At most, Lin Da now manipulated the bird groups to prevent the Yaksha octopus which was trying to escape from leaving, allowing Fang Yuan to catch up and continue fighting it. Fang Yuan had a lot of patience. He slowly injured the Yaksha octopus, dark and cold blood flowed out from its injuries. Alright, you can stop. Eventually, Dragon Commander Yi Cha did not want to wait anymore. He personally struck and captured this Yaksha octopus himself. The first few were all killed because they could not afford to go easy on the group initially. This octopus was captured by Dragon Commander Yi Cha. He was preparing to raise it inside his immortal aperture. Now, all the immortal zombies understood Fang Yuan's battle strength. Fang Yuan only showed his Star Path battle strength, but even so, he was an expert among rank 6s. Landlord Lei Yu, who was unhappy towards Fang Yuan, became silent. He estimated that if he fought Fang Yuan alone, he might not be able to win. In the GU immortal world, strength ruled above all. Even if Landlord Lei Yu was unhappy, he could not show it on the surface. Next, Fang Yuan started collecting Star Knight mucus. He requested the immortal zombies to stay back and not use any investigative methods to steal his personal technique. The immortal zombies were naturally unhappy. They scolded Fang Yuan internally for being so small-minded, but they had to agree to his request. When processing the mucus, the starlight caused quite a disturbance. Soon, the earth shell snail stopped moving, its entire body curled into its shell. The moment it sensed danger, the earth shell snail would react like this. Its shell was very thick. Even though it was only a desolate beast, most rank 6 GU immortals could do nothing to it. Even rank 7 GU immortals would need to exert a lot of effort to break its shell. Furthermore, the earth shell snail was large like a whale, and heavy like a mountain. Once it entered its shell, it could be for a year or two. If there was a huge commotion outside, it would stay inside for even longer. If it was moved away from the habitat of earth shell snails, even if it was still in earth trench, even if it was outside of it by a few kilometers, the earth shell snail would die immediately. Thus, the immortal zombies could only give up on this one and find others. In earth trench, there were more than Yaksha octopuses. There were bat desolate beasts, wall-climbing demon apes, and desolate plants like earth milk grass. On their later journey, they met with 3 earth shell snails. Among which, Fang Yuan made good use of 2 of them and collected a lot of Star Knight mucus. The final one, however, moved towards the territory of an ancient desolate beast red flame snake. This monster had dark path, fire path, and earth path Dao marks on it. It was hard to deal with and was an expert in digging holes. It could move quickly between the walls of earth trench. Once they fought, the commotion would be unconcealable. Thus, Fang Yuan and the others had to give up. Under Fang Yuan's intentional guidance, the immortal zombies got closer to his destination. We've discovered a large number of Yaksha octopuses ahead. Stop moving forward, there are a lot of them. The initial estimation is 30. Lin Da now suddenly reported anxiously. Then we will leave this place and go in another direction. Dragon Commander Yi Cha immediately ordered. 30 desolate beasts, that was the battle strength of 30 rank 6 GU immortals. Such a massive group would surely have at least 3 ancient desolate beast Yaksha octopuses commanding it. Even though Fang Yuan was unwilling, he could not object to it publicly. He could only memorize this place for now. The immortal zombies took a detour towards the southeast direction. Soon, they found a 4th earth shell snail. This snail looked quite old. It was carrying a yellow shell. Its white body moved slowly on the walls of earth trench, at an extremely slow pace. We're finally lucky. After investigating, Lin Da now laughed. This area has little danger. Sir Xingshangzi can go ahead and collect the mucus. Fang Yuan nodded without speaking, observing intently. Suddenly, his eyes shined. He saw the danger in this place. This place seemed safe, but it was full of earth path Dao marks. Once someone got close, they would be pulled towards the wall. The heavier the body, the stronger the force of attraction. Desolate beasts have huge bodies and incredible mass. Once they come here, they would be unable to move and would starve to death. The earth shell snail is heavy like a mountain, but this earth shell snail can still move slowly. It seems that this snail is not old. It is an ancient desolate beast earth shell snail. Realizing this, Fang Yuan had an idea. He flew over, purposely acting like he was sucked over, as he screamed. Oh no, it is the gravity soil zone. This should only appear after 160 kilometers in depth. It is actually here as well. Be careful, this gravity soil zone often has mouth earthworms hidden in ambush. At once, the immortal zombies shouted in shock. The closer he was to the gravity soil zone, the more Fang Yuan felt the suction force getting stronger and his speed increased. With a loud thud, Fang Yuan crashed into the wall. His legs were deeply stuck in the wall as he showed a terrified expression. Immortal killer move, Starfire escape. Fang Yuan used his movement killer move. Immediately, his body was covered in starfire as he flew. Don't fly, Dragon Commander Yi Cha roared. But it was too late. With a loud bang, a huge mouth earthworm emerged from the soil. The earth shell snail immediately shrunk into its shell, turning motionless. Huge amounts of rocks were pushed away. The mouth earthworm opened its mouth. It could swallow 4 or 5 earth shell snails at once. Fang Yuan screamed, "Someone save me." Once he said that, the mouth earthworm swallowed him. Be careful, the mouth earthworm is full of sharp teeth, they are incomparably sharp. Hang in there, we will definitely rescue you. The immortal zombies were panicking, they moved at once. If anything happened to Fang Yuan, how would they explain themselves to Blazing Heaven Demoness? They attacked fiercely, forcing the mouth earthworm back into the gravity soil zone immediately. This mystical ancient desolate beast had a huge body when hunting for food. Once it ate, its body would shrink rapidly like a leaking balloon. The teeth inside it would rotate endlessly, grinding its prey into meat paste and blood. But once Fang Yuan went inside, he used a star path killer move and stopped the body from shrinking. Next, he activated fixed immortal travel. He had memorized the place nearby earlier. In 3 breaths of time, fixed immortal travel teleported him away and he escaped from this dangerous spot. But Dragon Commander Yi Cha and the others still thought that Fang Yuan was inside the mouth earthworm. They were attacking it furiously. Even though Fang Yuan got away from the immortal zombies, the disturbance from fixed immortal travel had attracted the huge group of yaksha octopuses. Fang Yuan smiled, turning into a yaksha octopus and attacking furiously. A moment later, he successfully lured the angry yaksha octopuses towards Dragon Commander Yi Cha and the others. Dragon Commander Yi Cha and the others were unable to discern Fang Yuan's transformation. They thought the yaksha octopuses were fighting among themselves and were chasing away the weakest members. They sighed over their bad luck, but because Xing Shangzi was still inside the mouth earthworm, they could not leave. Thus, the yaksha octopuses, the Northern Plains immortal zombies, and the mouth earthworm engaged in a chaotic battle. Chapter 933, Wild Immortal GU, Traces of GU Formation. In the chaotic battle, Fang Yuan managed to escape. When he returned to the place where the yaksha octopuses were, about half of them were still left. He tried the same thing again, luring the remaining yaksha octopuses away. Oh no, another ancient yaksha octopus, and 10 desolate beast octopuses. They seemed to have moved out together. Dragon Commander Yi Cha was stuck in the chaotic battle. Seeing the octopus reinforcements, he cried out in bitterness. What grudges did they have? What vengeance was it? The other immortal zombies also bemoaned their terrible luck. What was going on? But they had other choice than to save Xing Shangzi first. Hold on, Dragon Commander Yi Cha shouted. He did not stint on his immortal essence, he used them extensively. Blazing Heaven Demoness had immense authority. The immortal zombies did not dare to defy her orders, they could only endure in the chaotic battle. Thankfully, this mouth earthworm did not hide in the gravity soil zone. It was in a frenzy and its huge body lashed around, creating powerful sonic booms. The immortal zombie did not dare to take the hits, they could only attack from afar. The damage accumulated slowly as the mouth earthworm's skin was damaged. Originally, the situation was quite simple. Even though the mouth earthworm was an ancient desolate beast, it was not the match of Dragon Commander Yi Cha and the others. But with the yaksha octopus group, it became a 3-way battle. They restricted each other and fought randomly. The scene became very chaotic. The yaksha octopuses were the greatest in number. They encircled the immortal zombies and the mouth earthworm, forming a tight layer. Xing Shangzi, you must survive. Landlord Lei Yu shouted. Even though he was unhappy with Fang Yuan, the moment he thought that Fang Yuan could die from this, he burst out in cold sweat. Fang Yuan's safety was a huge issue weighing on the immortal zombies. During this period, the perpetrator, Fang Yuan, was secretly sneaking into the territory of the yaksha octopuses. Groups of yaksha octopuses lived in the 2 sides of the cliff walls. The cliff wall in front of him had a huge protrusion. This yaksha octopus group made a hole in this protrusion and made it their home. Fang Yuan sneaked inside, drilling into a bigger entrance. The entrance of the hole was very big. It was for the yaksha octopuses to enter and exit. Desolate beast level yaksha octopuses were very big, not to mention the ancient desolate beast yaksha octopus kings. Fang Yuan entered the hole and a thick smell of oil assailed him. The hole extended in front of him, he looked ahead and only saw darkness. But Fang Yuan's investigative methods were very rich, this darkness could not obstruct him. He stretched out his hand and touched the walls. The surface of the hole's walls were full of black oil, they were thick and sticky. Why would the dry cave have black oil? This was due to the yaksha octopus habits. Yaksha octopuses were a type of fierce beast that liked to hunt for prey in the black oil of earth trench. Therefore, their bodies would often have sticky black oil stuck to them. When they enter or exit the caves, the black oil would spread from their bodies to the walls of the caves. The oily smell that Fang Yuan smelt was due to this black oil. In the black oil, there were lots of weeds and needlewood, they were rooted into the walls and the black oil provided them sufficient nutrients. Guru. When Fang Yuan touched the black oil and wiped along it, bubbles started appearing on the sticky black oil surface on the wall. Next, dozens of tiny worms that were smaller than fingers flew out from the bubbles. They were alerted by Fang Yuan's actions and flew out, but they quickly went back into the black oil. The black oil was like glue, it was very sticky and stuck to the walls tightly. Inside, there was rotting vegetation as well as large numbers of insects. The insects were of such a massive scale, there were bound to be wild GU worms in them. Fang Yuan only gave them a glance and realized that there were at least 4 wild GU worms around him. 2 were Earth Path GU worms, 1 was Dark Path, and 1 was Water Path. Of course, these were mortal GU, Fang Yuan had no interest in taking them. Dragon Commander Yi Cha is able to raise large numbers of yaksha octopuses, is his immortal aperture mimicking this environment? Fang Yuan's mind wandered as he thought about this. Fang Yuan was also very curious about Dragon Commander Yi Cha's cultivation secret. Since an immortal zombie's immortal aperture was dead and filled with death energy, it could not be used to support living beings. How did Dragon Commander Yi Cha do it? Perhaps it was possible to learn the secrets of Dragon Commander Yi Cha by researching this environment, but now was not the time. Fang Yuan discarded these thoughts and moved on. Several minutes later, howl, this was the final growl before the fierce beast died. But this growl was only heard in a small area before it vanished. The killer was Fang Yuan. He used his GU worms to prevent the sound from spreading. This was deep into the yaksha octopus cave. Not only was the black oil 7 to 8 inches thick, some fierce beasts were even living here in the crevices. These wild beasts mostly consisted of black stomach hounds. Black stomach hounds ate rotting meat and bones. The yaksha octopus only consumed the fresh blood and meat of their prey, they did not eat the bones and rotting meat. These black stomach hounds would eat the leftovers from the yaksha octopuses. The yaksha octopuses were happy with this, they had a free cleaner to tidy up the cave. This was one of the wonders of nature, living beings could coexist in harmony. When Fang Yuan found out the relationship between the black stomach hounds and the yaksha octopuses, he turned into a black stomach hound and ventured in. It was a pity that these black stomach hounds divided their own territories and had a stronger territorial awareness than the yaksha octopuses. Fang Yuan was fiercely attacked by the black stomach hounds, it would have been easier to just fight in his human form. If this cave was divided into 2, the upper half and the lower half, then Fang Yuan's current position was already in the lower half, past the upper half. Even so, the clues to the inheritance had not appeared yet. At every interval, there would be a fork in the path. All of the yaksha octopuses went to their homes through these paths, they were interconnected. In the ground, these countless holes formed widely connected and accessible paths. Fang Yuan continued moving forward. He found some yaksha octopuses that were guarding the cave. These octopuses were only desolate beasts, Fang Yuan could take them down if he used his real battle strength. But Fang Yuan got past them, he did not want to waste time in fighting with them. He could use mortal GU to conceal the traces when killing the black stomach hounds. But when dealing with desolate beasts, he needed a battlefield killer move to conceal the traces and commotion. He lured most of the yaksha octopuses out. But there was still an ancient yaksha octopus king, and numerous desolate beast yaksha octopuses. If the yaksha octopus king was alerted, it would be terrible. Time continued to pass, but he still found no clues. Fang Yuan was getting more anxious. If he missed this chance, he would have to plan a lot for the next visit. Even though he had fixed immortal travel, he could not use it in Dark Flow Giant City blatantly. The activation of fixed immortal travel caused quite a disturbance after all. Within the investigative range of GU immortals, it was not just some light effects, the aura of immortal GU was like a fire burning in the night sky. And at this time, Fang Yuan had to refine GU in Dark Flow Giant City, Blazing Heaven Demoness would not let him leave her sights. Fixed immortal travel could not be exposed. Once it was exposed, many secrets would be exposed. The whole world would know that Fang Yuan was the person who toppled 88 Truyong building. Fang Yuan did not know that the central continent GU Immortals had already left by now. If there is no other way, I can only give up. Time is limited. Once the battle ends and the mouth earthworm is dissected, if Dragon Commander Yi Cha and the others do not find me inside, I will not be able to explain it. Fang Yuan evaluated. Time was limited. He had about 15 minutes. Now, most of the time was already wasted, but he had no gains. Fang Yuan had to use his time well. He raised his speed. Eventually, he came to the deepest part of the cave. Here, there was a Yaksha octopus king resting. Its snores were loud as thunder. Evidently, it was sleeping. Immortal GU aura. Fang Yuan's heart jumped. He felt the aura of a wild immortal GU in this Yaksha octopus king. As it turned out, this cave had existed for a long time, and this Yaksha octopus king was the oldest. As a long time passed, among the GU worms living in its body, one had emerged as a wild immortal GU. The joy in his heart vanished as Fang Yuan felt glad. Thankfully, he had not lured out this Yaksha octopus king earlier. If this Yaksha octopus king appeared, the immortal zombies would definitely go crazy and try to capture the wild immortal GU. They would enter a frenzy. But after finding this immortal GU, whether they succeeded or not, they would come to the cave and investigate. Perhaps this is how the Northern Plains Zombie Alliance found this inheritance in my previous life. Fang Yuan had a flash of inspiration. After hesitating, Fang Yuan decided to take a gamble. He turned into a black stomach hound and carefully got close to the Yaksha octopus king. If this Yaksha octopus king's wild immortal GU could expose Fang Yuan's identity, that would be trouble. But this possibility was not big. Fang Yuan decided to risk it. The cave is huge with many tunnels, but this is the deepest part of the cave. It is most likely to be here. At this time, the Yaksha octopus king's tentacles which were wrapped up loosened. It opened its eyes as its topaz-like pupils looked at Fang Yuan, who has transformed into the black stomach hound. Fang Yuan did not sense anything. He got past the Yaksha octopus king and went behind it as if it was normal. Behind the Yaksha octopus king, there was a pile of white bones. There were some rotting meat left in them. The octopus king shut its eyes, continuing to sleep. Fang Yuan's mind was energized. It is here. There are Dao marks exposed here. These are traces of a GU formation. Countless GU worms in his immortal aperture were activated. Immortal essence was expended rapidly as this GU formation was unraveled. Soon, Fang Yuan found that this space path giant GU formation only showed a trace of a flaw because it had not been repaired for a long time. Very possibly, the treasure that I have been looking for is in this giant GU formation. But to unravel this GU formation, I have to activate GU worms. The disturbance is huge. I can only take a risk. Fang Yuan made up his mind. He picked up a piece of bone and left the Yaksha octopus king. He quickly returned, and when he reached a certain place, he used his immortal GU and directly attacked a close-by desolate beast Yaksha octopus. The intense battle erupted as the Yaksha octopuses that were defending their homes charged over. Fang Yuan fought as he retreated. When he reached the exit, he activated fixed immortal travel. In 3 breaths of time, he teleported to the deepest area of the cave. At this time, the Yaksha octopus king was still at the exit of the cave. Fang Yuan fought against time as he unraveled this space path GU formation. After the Yaksha octopuses fought for some time, they did not see any enemies and gradually calmed down, returning to the cave. They moved quickly in the cave. Fang Yuan's time was limited. The worst thing was, when he started unraveling it, Fang Yuan could feel the profoundness and complexity of this huge GU formation. To completely deduce it, he would need months to do so. Chapter 934, Sea of Immortal Material Remains. Such an enormous GU formation required at least several months to be unraveled. It would require about a month just to pry an opening. Fang Yuan's hands moved very fast. Countless GU worms fluttered all around, unraveling the GU formation. At the same time, his ears quivered frequently as he activated his investigative methods to the limit. The Yaksha octopus king was already on its way. Time waits for no man. Strive for every second. This is it. Fang Yuan's eyes suddenly brightened as the air in front of him started emitting a hazy glow. Beyond the hazy glow, he saw a trace of the enormous GU formation. Although his sight was blurry, he could vaguely see the scenery inside the formation. The Yaksha octopus king had already returned. Time was up. He had to retreat. In this short amount of time, being able to peep into the scenery inside the GU formation was already the limits of Fang Yuan's ability. If Fang Yuan did not reach Grandmaster level in Wisdom Path, he would not have been able to do this. This was enough. Fang Yuan relaxed, and immediately retreated. The ancient desolate beast Yaksha Octopus King was moving like an underground subway train in the cave. The surrounding slippery black oil from earth trench allowed it to move like a fish in water. Fang Yuan had almost bumped into it. This Yaksha Octopus King returned to its place, and gazed around first of all. It felt there was something off. When Fang Yuan analyzed the GU formation, many different kinds of auras were left behind. The wild beast's intuition made the Yaksha Octopus King feel something wrong. It frowned deeply, and more than 10 of its enormous and tough tentacles carried it nimbly as it patrolled around the nest. However, it could not discover anything missing even after a while the previous unknown auras already had begun dissipating. The Yaksha Octopus King only then slowly calmed down, lying down on its nest again. It was just that it did not sleep. Its eyes were slightly closed but a small crack was opened. From time to time, its ears would quiver from the slightest breeze in the cave as it tried to listen to any unknown sounds. Fang Yuan's worries finally dissipated, he cautiously retreated, even retreating to the upper half of the octopus nest. This Yaksha Octopus King seemed to have the highest status as it had stayed behind to guard the nest. If it felt any strong danger, who is to say it might not call back the other Yaksha octopuses fighting outside? At that time, not to mention whether the Northern Plains immortal zombies would feel suspicious and be attracted to the disturbance, Fang Yuan's movements in the octopus nest would be extremely restricted. This place should be okay. After a while, Fang Yuan carefully selected an inconspicuous corner among the several underground burrows. He hesitated for a moment, but still decided to activate fixed immortal travel. Although that enormous GU formation was arranged by some predecessor, when Fang Yuan deciphered it earlier, he found out that it had become an unmanned formation and had been unmanaged for many years. The risk of rashly going in was not high. To find a method of reviving from the immortal zombie state, this was a risk he needed to take. After all, as time passed, Fang Yuan's predicament would become more dangerous. Who could say if the matter of him wrecking 88 Truyong building would be exposed at the next moment? At that time, the whole world would hunt him down. He would definitely not be able to protect to immortal blessed land, and starform blessed land would be his only base. In such a situation, the earlier he got rid of his immortal zombie body, the more beneficial it would be. After all, a living immortal aperture world could be brought with him, more safe and convenient than who immortal blessed land or starform blessed land. Moreover, living GU immortal apertures could produce immortal essence in set intervals of time, which was extremely helpful to Fang Yuan's financial situation and battle strength. The immortal GU was activated, green light blossomed. The next moment, Fang Yuan disappeared from his place, appearing inside the giant GU formation. Just outside the GU formation was the Yaksha Octopus King. But because of the isolation effect of the GU formation, it was unaware of anything. I am finally in here. Fang Yuan was extremely vigilant, he quickly looked around him. This was indeed the place which he had inspected earlier. Rashly charging into a GU formation was very dangerous, and it was normal to be attacked by the GU formation. However, Fang Yuan did not suffer any attacks. This further proved that the GU formation was not managed by anyone. He exhaled a breath of relief, but was still extremely vigilant. Unmanned GU formations could still function. Perhaps the core of the GU formation had the will left behind by the GU Immortal. It could be like 88 Truyong building, where Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had left behind his will. This was in giant formation using mainly space path methods, thus creating a special space. This huge space had a yellow sky and a ground paved with purple sand. The purple sand seemed to be extremely fertile, as dense amounts of vegetation covered Fang Yuan's site, like a tropical rainforest. Scribe grass, nutrient peaches, immortal beans, blood-tide flowers. With just a brief glance, Fang Yuan could make out dozens of immortal materials. Even a person as stoic as him was shocked. Although most of these immortal materials were rank 6 level, along with a few of rank 7, their quantity was truly shocking. These immortal materials come from 5 regions, and are not limited to Earth Trench and Northern Plains. What background did the great expert immortal zombie that created this place have? To gather such an enormous scale of immortal materials, how much manpower and material resources would it require? Moreover, immortal materials were not grass growing along the sides of a road. The gathering of immortal materials often resulted in bloodshed and was tied together with fighting. If the gatherer's strength was not up to par, they simply would not be able to get the materials. There was also the 5 regions' regional walls. The stronger one was, the higher the cultivation of the GU Immortal, the more difficult it would be for them to pass through a regional wall. Could it be? Fang Yuan's thoughts churned as he made a guess. He had thought this was a great expert immortal zombie inheritance, but now it seemed such huge handiwork could not be possibly achieved by one person, it would at least require an organization. And this organization must be huge. Because a small-sized organization with 2 or 3 GU immortals simply could not have such large assets and energy to spare. Looking over it again, there were countless immortal materials everywhere he looked. Such a sight caused Fang Yuan's heart to thump in excitement. Such enormous wealth is simply unimaginable. It is enough for me to attempt refining immortal GU dozens of times, even hundreds of times. Maybe in my previous life, Northern Plains Zombie Alliance was able to rise up because of these enormous cultivation resources, even suppressing Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance. This was almost like a warehouse, with so much immortal materials piled up. The total value was hard to estimate. Fang Yuan only knew this value was enormous, very enormous. If he had to accumulate this much with his current 2,000 immortal essence stones per month earnings, he might not be able to succeed even in 1,000 years. After all, he also had to calculate cultivation expenditures. As GU Immortal's cultivation became higher, the calamities and tribulations would become more terrifying. But compared to these countless immortal materials, this enormous GU formation has even higher value. Fang Yuan's eyes twinkled. He had a huge ambition and was very experienced. As he came back to awareness, he realized the preciousness of this enormous GU formation. In this GU formation, the countless immortal materials from the 5 regions were able to exist mutually without interfering with each other. Fortunately, I did not rashly take down this GU formation, otherwise it would be too late for regret. With this GU formation, I could plant countless types of immortal materials. It is easier to use than an immortal aperture. Fang Yuan could not help but praise the great expert immortal zombie that arranged this. An immortal zombie's immortal aperture was already dead. This predecessor was able to arrange such a GU formation which replaced the use of immortal apertures to a certain extent. However, this GU formation has low defense and also can't be moved. It is far from being convenient and safe like immortal apertures. This purple sand seems to be rather strange. Fang Yuan bent down and grabbed a large amount of purple sand. The sand was extremely fine. Some flowed down the gaps in Fang Yuan's fingers and sprinkled down like fine grains of crystal. While falling down, they drifted haphazardly while emitting fluorescent light. But what I want to find is the method of reviving. Where is it? Fang Yuan threw away the purple sand as he thought of his main objective. He was not in a hurry to gather the immortal materials, and started to gently fly around, searching the area. Time gradually passed. The joyous look on Fang Yuan's face slowly disappeared as his feeling of unease intensified. Something is not right. He suddenly stopped and looked down at the endless immortal materials. After inspecting once more, he found what was wrong. It is too peaceful. There is not a trace of wind or sound. It is more quiet than even my dead aperture. There are also many other areas that feels fishy. Like the immortal beans, they grow in spring water, but are actually growing on the purple sand here. There are also the nutrient peaches, which are usually accompanied by snake-tail monkey groups. Every type of immortal material has a harsh living environment. But here, there are only these immortal material plants, and there is not even an insect. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed with cold light. He landed on the ground and tried to pick up a strand of scribe grass. The next moment, Fang Yuan's body shook. When the scribe grass was on the purple sand, it was safe and sound, but the moment Fang Yuan picked it up, it withered and turned into fine purple sand. And the sand was the same as the purple sand below Fang Yuan's feet. What is going on? Fang Yuan narrowed his eyes, and tried to pick other immortal materials. The result was the same. The moment the immortal materials left the sand, they turned into purple sand. All of these immortal materials had a problem, they were unusable. Strange. The reason immortal materials are called immortal materials is because they contain plenty of Tao marks on them. When these immortal materials wither and turn into purple sand, their Tao marks should have been destroyed, but there is not even a slight disturbance from this. A chill emerged from the depths of Fang Yuan's heart. The immortal materials were in such a state. As for an immortal zombie body which contained Tao marks, could it be regarded as a type of immortal material? Would it also be absorbed into this enormous field of purple sand? Looking at this vast amount of immortal materials, flowers and trees, Fang Yuan felt like he was looking at the remains of corpses. From another perspective, this was a sea of immortal material remains. The unease inside him kept on intensifying. Fang Yuan immediately flew to the sky, maintaining some distance with the purple sand. He gazed at the sky. There is definitely something strange about this GU formation, it is probably not enough to just maintain distance from the purple sand. This change in immortal materials should definitely be related to the whole GU formation. Before I know of what's going on, it is better to quickly find the method to revive from the immortal zombie state and leave as soon as possible. Chapter 935, Surprising Gains. Swoosh. Fang Yuan was like an arrow as he flew in the air, creating huge air currents. Below him, there were countless immortal materials, but he did not even look at them. These, dead, immortal materials were worthless. Suddenly, Fang Yuan's gaze focused. On the flat ground below, he saw a desolate beast. This desolate beast was large like a small hill, it was sprawled on the ground and did not move, it was a hidden essence turtle. Fang Yuan was not unfamiliar with this desolate beast, not long ago, he had captured one inside a fragment world of Central Continent's starry sky grotto heaven. Lowering his flying speed, Fang Yuan's body turned as he flew towards the hidden essence turtle. When he got close, he realized this was a hidden essence turtle that had died long ago. It was sprawled on the ground, its head lowered, half of it was buried into the soft purple sand. The hidden essence turtle's state was as if the spine below its neck was broken, its forelimbs were extremely relaxed and loose. But before it died, it had a calm expression, or rather, a peaceful expression. Fang Yuan felt some suspicion. Among the countless, dead, immortal materials, there is a desolate beast corpse hut. Fang Yuan tried to collect the hidden essence turtle's body. A moment later, his heart sank. He saw that a fragment of the hard turtle shell had turned into purple sand in his hands, scattering with the wind. Fang Yuan's gaze flickered. After a few breaths' time, he left this place, exploring in the sky again. Soon, he saw a second desolate beast. This was an earth chief. It had a humanoid body and a snake tail, its face resembled a bat, and its nose was pointed up. It had large ears and a black body covered in fleshy armor. Around its chest were 50 to 60 fleshy whips, each over 20 meters in length. There were suction organs on the surface of the fleshy whips, covering them entirely. At the front of each fleshy whip was a chrysanthemum-like orifice which could shoot out a white milky fluid at the crucial moment. The fluid had very high corrosiveness and contained extremely large numbers of parasitic worms, which could drill into the pores of victims and wreak havoc from inside the body. The Earth Chief corpse was well preserved. But when Fang Yuan tried to collect the corpse, the same thing happened again. Fang Yuan no longer felt surprised. He muttered, "Hidden essence turtles are a desolate beast from Central Continent, and Earth Chiefs mostly appear in northern plains." Leaving this place, he continued exploring. Fang Yuan quickly made a new discovery. Sandalwood sacred elephants, and 3 of them. Fang Yuan gasped. Sandalwood sacred elephants were much more valuable than hidden essence turtles and desolate beast Earth Chiefs. Because it was an ancient desolate beast, a mature sandalwood sacred elephant had rank 7 GU immortal battle strength. Long ago, during the auction held by Qin Bai Sheng that involved the whole of northern plains, someone bid a sandalwood sacred elephant egg and attracted a huge commotion. In the current 5 regions, sandalwood sacred elephants were very rare, they were barely seen. But now, in front of Fang Yuan, were 3 sandalwood sacred elephant corpses. Next, Fang Yuan found even more desolate beast and ancient desolate beast corpses. They were all lying on the ground, surrounded by red, purple, or green plant immortal materials. Moon howling heavenly wolf, star desolate hound, golden sand dark stallion, ice spike divine ape, white hoofing horse, 9 palace crane, iron crown eagle, dragonfish, sharp tusk boar, those that flew, those that ran, those that swam, all of them were present. It was like a creepy display of specimens. The more he flew towards the center, the more corpses he found. The numbers were stunning. Northern Plains coiling mountain goat king, southern borders phoenix feather lava crocodile, central continent's diamond bear, eastern seas grand smoke sea turtle, desolate beasts and ancient desolate beasts from all 5 regions were all over the place. This is a ruin bat. Fang Yuan slowed his speed unknowingly. This ruin bat was a rare space path desolate beast. It was inferior to the immemorial desolate beast ruin bat that Fang Yuan had seen back in Taichu. Half Moon Qilin. Fang Yuan's body froze. Right now in Northern Plains Zombie Alliance, there was a living Half Moon Qilin. It was raised like a treasure by the entire alliance. This ancient desolate beast, it seems to be remnant heavenly dog. Fang Yuan checked it over and obtained an answer. He had never seen a remnant heavenly dog personally, he had only read about its descriptions in records. This ancient desolate beast only existed in White Heaven. The more he saw, the more Fang Yuan became desensitized. His knowledge was very vast, but he did not recognize many of the ancient desolate plants and desolate beasts here. The space here is so vast, I've already flown for so long, yet even with my speed, I have not seen the edge of the GU formation. This was out of Fang Yuan's expectations. He had tried to deduce this huge GU formation earlier, and realized that it was a giant space path GU formation. Fang Yuan had estimated the size of this place, but now it seems, his initial estimation far underestimated the power of the GU formation. It seems that my deductions and estimations did not reach the core of this GU formation. Who is the person who made this? This is unheard of. So many immortal materials, this is truly an uncountable sum. Is it the work of an immortal venerable or demon venerable? Fang Yuan guessed internally. Even rank 8 GU immortals did not have such power to create this single-handedly. Because the 5 regions' regional walls prevented most rank 8 GU immortals from traveling to other regions. This was also why, even with the collapse of 88 Truyong Building, Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects only sent rank 6 and 7 GU immortals over. Of course, once a person is rank 9 and invincible in the world, the 5 regions' regional walls can no longer obstruct them. If it is not a rank 9 venerable, then this must be the work of a super organization. This organization spans across all 5 regions, that is the only way they can collect the immortal materials. Even though there was Treasure Yellow Heaven and GU immortals could use it to trade, at this scale, Treasure Yellow Heaven could not possibly be the site of transaction. Because such transactions would have unprecedented scale, it would definitely be recorded down in history. But Fang Yuan knew that there were no such records. Even though he was deep into the GU formation and had explored it for a long time, the longer he stayed, the more the mysteriousness around him thickened. Fang Yuan did not know much about this place. In his previous life, he had invaded Hu Immortal Blessed Land, but he did not step into this place. This was only something he had heard of in his previous life. Northern Plains Zombie Alliance suddenly became strong, even surpassing the headquarters in Eastern Sea. The explanation that they gave was that there was an inheritance here in Earth Trench. They said that an immortal zombie great expert had left behind a revival method for immortal zombies. Because of this, many of Northern Plains Zombie Alliance's members turned back into humans, and countless lone cultivator immortal zombies came to join them, allowing Northern Plains Zombie Alliance to develop in size. But soon after, the good prospects did not last. Northern Plains Zombie Alliance was destroyed by Ma Hongyun forcefully. Fang Yuan was unfamiliar with this place, but everything he saw made him extremely curious. The direction that I am going should be correct, because the immortal materials that I am seeing are getting rarer. Who is the person who arranged this? It is simply terrifying, perhaps even Heavenly Court would not be able to achieve this. Heavenly Court was an organization in Central Continent, it held control over Central Continent and had less power and forces in the other 4 regions. In the 500 years of his previous life, all sorts of monsters showed up, Fang Yuan was aware of this. Or rather, every super force had its own way to develop. Heavenly Court's method was to grasp Central Continent and openly be the supreme force. If the one who arranged this is an organization, then this organization has to span across all 5 regions, while being hidden and mysterious. That place is. Fang Yuan saw a shade of purple in front of him. This was a desolate land. Soft purple sand was all around him, the sea of immortal materials was nowhere to be seen. This desolate landscape of sand was a giant circle, it was at least 2 square kilometers in area. There was no wind or sound, it was deathly silent. Fang Yuan was shocked internally. This is the central part of the GU formation, it seems that a terrifying explosion had occurred here. It was this explosion that created the 2 square kilometers of desolate land. There should have been a sea of immortal materials here originally, but now there was nothing left. As he gradually got close to the edge of the desolate land, a bright light in the sand attracted Fang Yuan's attention. Fang Yuan landed and saw that there were thin wings piercing into the sand. These were not the wings of birds, there were no feathers, they were half-transparent, they should be the wings of cicadas or dragonflies. And these cicada-like wings emitted an aura that made Fang Yuan gulp. An immemorial desolate beast aura. Even though it was just the remains, it was the real deal, this was shocking. These cicada wings were extremely tattered, but they shone like a gem under light. From time to time, under sufficient lighting, they gave off a dark golden glow. This light is that of Tao marks of metal path. These cicada wings should have belonged to something that had a terrifying foundation in Tao marks. Only with a Tao mark foundation that was at quasi-rank 9 would there be visible Tao marks that could be seen with the naked eyes. That is the light of Tao marks. Wait, maybe this is the wings of the tiger-striped honeybee. Fang Yuan had a flash of inspiration, he made a guess. This guess made his heart shudder. Tiger-striped honeybees were a living being recorded in less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than. Each of these honeybees was the size of a leopard with patterns on their body resembling tiger stripes, golden with black stripes on top. They were extremely powerful, verdant great sun could not even beat one of them. The honey wine that they create is sweet and delectable, it is extremely delicious and among the highest quality in the world. If the bees are at the size of leopards, the wings are at just the right size. Fang Yuan thought about this and smiled bitterly. He was uncertain, his past experiences and knowledge were very shallow when compared to what appeared in this place, he knew little. He tried to take out these bee wings. But something shocking happened. The bee wings left the purple sand and were undamaged, they did not turn into purple sand like the other immortal materials. At once, Fang Yuan was overjoyed and surprised. This was from the body of an immemorial desolate beast, a rank 8 GU refinement immortal material. It could even give out Dao mark light. Thus, more accurately speaking, this was quasi-rank 9 immortal material. Chapter 936. Multi-layered GU formation. Fang Yuan held in his excitement. The immortal material in his hands was of very high quality, even in his previous life, he had never owned such a specimen. Quasi-rank 9 immortal material, it had so many Dao marks that it shined with bright light, observable with the naked eye. Fang Yuan was not a grandmaster in refinement path, but he knew something. The reason why immortal materials could be used to refine immortal GU was because the immortal materials themselves contain a lot of Dao marks. Man is the spirit of all beings, GU are the essence of heaven and earth. GU worms were the vessels of the great Dao. Why did they contain power? That was because the tiny GU worm contained Dao marks. Dao marks were the traces of the great Dao of heaven and earth. Precisely because of this, activating GU worms would result in many magical effects. The more Dao marks in a GU worm, the higher their rank would be, and the more powerful and profound their abilities would be. Refining an immortal GU was to gather the Dao marks in countless mortal GU and immortal materials, using the ones needed for the refinement. Now, Fang Yuan's immortal material had many Dao marks. In theory, it could be used to refine a rank 8 immortal GU. In fact, he only needed to use a tiny fragment of it to refine a rank 6 immortal GU. The Dao marks in a rank 8 immortal GU were tens of thousands of times that of a rank 6 immortal GU. Of course, this bee wing that resembles a tiger-striped honeybee mainly contains metal path Dao marks. If I am trying to refine a metal path immortal GU, this would be very useful. Unfortunately, this has no use if I want to refine Star Thought immortal GU. Fang Yuan collected this precious immortal material properly. He could not use it now, but he might need it in the future. Even if he did not, this was such a precious immortal material, it would create a huge commotion in Treasure Yellow Heaven, there was no need to worry that it would not be sold. I've finally had some gains after entering this GU formation. Fang Yuan's mind started to think deeply. He was not rushing towards the center, he was starting to explore this desolate land of purple sand. As expected, a moment later, he had another discovery while flying. In the purple sand, there was a white veil that resembled a handkerchief that attracted his gaze. He quickly descended, feeling joy after inspecting it. The aura could not be fake, this was another rank 8 immortal material. But the quality was slightly lower than the bee wing earlier, there was no light from Dao marks. Fang Yuan held it in his hands, the immortal material did not disintegrate after leaving the purple sand. It seems that immortal materials of this level are no longer affected by the power of the purple sand. Fang Yuan squeezed it, this immortal material was very soft, it could be molded into different forms. So this is not a veil, but a piece of cloud. Fang Yuan observed carefully, feeling surprised. This was like a fragment of a cloud, but it contained a huge amount of cloud path Dao marks. As this, Fang Yuan's felt excitement, he activated his GU worms and spat out a mouthful of water vapor. When this immortal material was covered in water vapor, it became lighter and floated out of Fang Yuan's hands, it rose into the sky and turned into a tiny cloud in the form of a phoenix. The phoenix's wings moved slowly, as the cloud danced in the air. Fang Yuan's body shook, he was overjoyed, as expected. This is a fragment of the immemorial desolate beast cloud phoenix's body. Fang Yuan's heart was pounding. This cloud phoenix was not a life form from the 5 regions, it was a mystical creature that only existed in White Heaven of the immemorial 9 heavens. It was not born with a phoenix bloodline, instead it was an ancient cloud that would not face destruction even after 10,000 years in White Heaven. After having a phoenix's aura or blood transmitted and spread through it, the cloud would slowly turn into a living being. Thus, its body was very special, it was neither made of flesh and blood nor clouds. The Cloud Phoenix fragment that Fang Yuan obtained was less than a fraction of the Cloud Phoenix's true body, but the Cloud Path Dao marks inside could be used to refine a rank 6 Immortal GU at least 10 times as the main material. The discovery of the Cloud Phoenix affirmed Fang Yuan's earlier guess. He continued exploring. Not long after, he circulated entirely around the Purple Desert. He had huge gains. Counting his gains, he had a total of 18 of such immortal materials. The Dao mark varieties covered the majority of GU paths, among which 3 materials had a lot of Star Path or Wisdom Path Dao marks. They were very helpful in refining Star Thought Immortal GU. One could say that with these 3 immortal materials, Fang Yuan could forget about Blazing Heaven Demoness and refine the GU himself. Of course, because of the change in immortal materials, the recipe of Star Thought Immortal GU would have to change as well. But Fang Yuan was not afraid of this. He could use the light of wisdom to easily do it. He was also a Wisdom Path Grand Master now. It was not difficult to deduce. Even though the immortal materials that I collected are incredibly precious, they are only a small part of the corpses' bodies. The GU Immortal who created this place, they actually used so many precious immortal materials. Are they trying to refine a rank 9 Immortal GU? Fang Yuan could not help but guess. In the process of collecting immortal materials, he started to realize something. This desolate land of purple sand once had an incredibly profound refinement path GU formation. Combined with these fragmented immortal materials, it was likely that the GU Immortal had a grand ambition. They were trying to refine an immensely powerful immortal GU. But it was a pity, the GU refinement failed and a huge explosion occurred. Not only was the refinement path GU formation destroyed, with only debris left, most of the GU refinement immortal materials were destroyed, only these fragments remained. Regardless of who it is, or what organization it is, they are most likely dead from the explosion. If not for that, this GU formation would not be left unmaintained for such a long time. The immortal material fragments here would not be scattered everywhere without anyone taking them. Even though the immortal materials were just remnants after the explosion, they were very valuable. With rank 8 and quasi-rank 9 immortal materials involved, even rank 8 GU immortals would be moved. If old ancestor Shui who knew that Fang Yuan had such a large number of precious immortal materials, he would forget about his face and come to find trouble with Fang Yuan in a hurry. In order to refine the rank 8 fortune rivaling heaven immortal GU, old ancestor Shui who was already going bankrupt trying to find the supplementary immortal materials, even though he had Ma Hongyun as the main material. If not for that, he would not thrown away his face as a rank 8 great expert and have gone to Zombie Alliance's graveyard to steal immortal zombie corpses in place of the materials. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan's worry eased slightly. Since this mysterious and powerful GU Immortal, or GU Immortal organization, was gone, this trip was much less dangerous now. Fang Yuan looked around. He saw that there was something new in the desolate land of purple sand. Sigh in the endless depths of history, who knows how many truths of the past has been buried, how many incredible people died inconspicuously without anyone knowing. The commotion stirred up by them fades eventually, legends disappear. Getting rid of these thoughts, Fang Yuan came to the center of the desolate land of purple sand. This was the only area he had not explored yet in this entire desolate land. Even though he obtained many immortal materials, Fang Yuan was still slightly disappointed. In his previous life, rumors said that there was a way to get rid of his immortal zombie body and revive, but why has he not found it yet? Fang Yuan's intuition was, at the central area of this desolate land, it should be the center of the GU formation as well. If it was not here, then Fang Yuan would never find it elsewhere. Looking around, at the center of the desolate land, there was only small fragmented purple sand. This was the center of the explosion. The purple sand was much finer than outside. There were no immortal materials. He looked around, there were nothing. But under Fang Yuan's investigative methods, he made a discovery of some remnants of the GU formation deep under the purple sand. This is indeed the central control area of the entire place. What an amazing person. This is actually a multi-layered GU formation, having such an incredible design. This must be the work of a formation path great grandmaster. Fang Yuan inspected as he felt shock internally. It turned out that the entire space was mainly focused on using the refinement path GU formation, but what originally built this space, including the space path formation, was only a supplementary formation outside the refinement path GU formation. Other than the space path GU formation, Fang Yuan also found many defensive GU formations, some food path GU formations, and some phantom path GU formations. Food path throughout history had never been widely spread, it was even rarer today. Fang Yuan did not understand much about it, but he had heard that food path was specialized in feeding GU worms. The food path supplementary GU formation here should be used to feed these GU worms. After all, a GU formation needs countless GU worms to work together in combination. There are still 2 or 3 food path GU formations in use here. It is hard to imagine that after the Great Explosion, the GU formation here is still working. Maybe that is the reason why the outermost space path GU formation is still functioning. This discovered unraveled one mystery for Fang Yuan. This is a phantom path GU formation. As he continued to observe, Fang Yuan made a new discovery. This phantom path GU formation was already destroyed, but there were 2 or 3 mortal GU left, buried deep in the purple sand. They are not moving and were barely alive, using the food path GU formation to maintain their lives. Fang Yuan had even less knowledge regarding phantom path. But during the Battle of Tai Chu, Dong Fang Chong Fan had once used a ruined bat corpse to set up a huge phantom formation. If not for that, Fang Yuan would not have recognized this GU formation immediately. The phantom formation turns the entire GU formation into a phantom and prevents outside attacks from destroying the GU formation. Maybe this is the reason why the GU formation survived the Great Explosion. Refinement Path GU Immortals with such attainment levels have their own Refinement Path GU formations, and also many supplementary GU formations on top of the Refinement Path GU formation. Using these GU formations, the Refinement Path GU worms will be twice as effective for half the effort. They would save a lot of time and energy. For example, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land has an exquisite Refinement Path GU formation. It is known as the best formation for Refinement Path in Northern Plains Demonic Path. It is said that this GU formation is also a multi-layered GU formation, using a total of 12 different GU formations. Fang Yuan's thoughts churned. He could set up some Refinement Path GU formations as well. But these GU formations were very superficial. After all, they had to do with his formation path attainment. Fang Yuan's formation path attainment level was very low. A person has limited energy, and even more limited time. Fang Yuan had some accomplishments in certain aspects. He naturally had areas where he was inferior to other people. Chapter 937, Life and Death Immortal Aperture. The GU formation in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land was not set up by old ancestor Shui Hu. He was a rank 8 grade expert, but he could not set up such a GU formation. To set up this GU formation, old ancestor Shui Hu personally went to ask the number 1 formation path GU Immortal in Northern Plains, Sun Minglu, for help. Sun Minglu was a righteous path GU Immortal. He had a firm personality and refused to cooperate. Old ancestor Shui Hu knew that he could not be forceful. He put down his status and asked him for help numerous times. After 7 invitations, in which old ancestor Shui Hu talked about Lady Wan's show at the final time, Sun Minglu finally was convinced. Even though Sun Minglu was someone with extremely firm will, he treasured love and loyalty. Old ancestor Shui Hu was setting up the Refinement Path GU formation for his beloved wife. Their love touched him, therefore he helped. This matter caused a huge commotion in the Northern Plains GU Immortal world back then. In Fang Yuan's previous life, Sun Minglu fought intensely with the Central Continent GU Immortals. He set up a GU formation that prevented the Central Continent GU Immortals from advancing. Eventually, the GU formation was broken, and Sun Minglu died. After he died, someone made a biography of him. Inside less than biography of Sun Minglu greater than, the matter about old ancestor Shui Hu's invitation was recorded clearly. According to my deduction using this GU formation's remains, it has at least 30 layers. The 12-layered GU formation that Sun Minglu made caused him to become the publicly recognized number 1 formation path GU Immortal in Northern Plains. Then the GU Immortal who made this arrangement here must be a great Grand Master. Or rather, they could even be a Supreme Grand Master. Supreme Grand Master, the attainment level above Great Grand Master, a transcendent realm. For example, the 3 Supreme Grand Masters in Refinement Path, Long Hair Ancestor, Old Eccentric Tien Nan, and Old Immortal Kong Ju. All 3 of them were unprecedented and unique. They had achievements that could not be surpassed. Food Path GU formation, Phantom Path GU formation, Metal Path GU formation, Strength Path GU formation. Fang Yuan's eyes shined brightly, his gaze pierced past the purple sand and looked into all the traces of the GU formations. His heart gradually sank. He had not forgotten his original goal. Looking at the situation, there was little hope of obtaining a revival method. These GU formations were all near the brink of destruction. Mortal GU inside were barely alive. There were 0 immortal GU left. Maybe because the strong received the greatest burden, the explosion destroyed all of the immortal GU. Or maybe it was because the 2 or 3 food path GU formations could not feed the immortal GU, and as time passed, they all starved to death. Eventually, Fang Yuan found a wisdom path GU formation that was extremely tattered at the deepest level. This was the 7th wisdom path GU formation that he had discovered. The GU formation was so fragmented that Fang Yuan bore no hope. But he took a glance and realized that there was an unexpected gain in this GU formation. There were some thoughts left behind in this tattered GU formation. These thoughts were in a state of complete rest. It was probably the effect of this wisdom path GU formation. Since there were thoughts, they could interact. Fang Yuan breathed in deeply, he mustered his strength and started to deduce this wisdom path GU formation. He was very careful. This wisdom path GU formation was like a building that was going to collapse. Fang Yuan needed to act very meticulously. Thankfully, he was a wisdom path grandmaster already, he had a high attainment level. A moment later, he deciphered this relatively simple wisdom path GU formation, and successfully invaded it, controlling this delicate GU formation. Next, he sent out thoughts into the GU formation and started to interact with the thoughts that were at rest. After using up more than 80 years, this GU formation is finally complete. In the next few hundred years, or even thousands of years, I will be refining GU here. Hey, I became an immortal zombie. Even though I am not restricted by lifespan, my mind is no longer as agile. Thus, I asked Yellow to add in this small GU formation and store my thoughts so that they can help me think. This GU formation is too useful. Not only can it help me refine GU, it can also conceal us from the perception of heaven's will. Using only 200 years, I successfully refined 8 soul path immortal GU, among which 6 are rank 7, and 2 are rank 8. Every year, they send me lots of immortal materials. I would never have imagined this day where I would not be able to use up my immortal materials. I have countless immortal materials, this is so blissful. I should start to attempt those incomplete immortal GU recipes. An unexpected surprise occurred today when refining GU. I tried to complete the immortal GU recipe of Devour Soul Immortal GU, but in the end I refined an immortal GU with an unknown effect. Even though it is also a soul path immortal GU, I will let the others do the work of testing its effect. My GU refinement failed. 3 of my defensive GU formations were destroyed, even my main refinement path GU formation was damaged. That liar in Treasure Yellow Heaven, that unscrupulous merchant. He dared to use a tampered immortal material to deceive me. I will tear out his tendons and pull out his skin to vent my hatred. That unscrupulous merchant was already punished. Azure is really amazing. These days, Yellow arrived and repaired all of the GU formations. I can refine GU again. Purple came to inform me to be careful. Azure has met with trouble. It turns out that the unscrupulous merchant GU Immortal who deceived me was a pawn of Heavenly Court. Fate, it still exists. Red Lotus Demon Venerable did not manage to destroy it thoroughly. It is the assistant of accursed heaven. It will be destroyed one day. Azure's problem is getting more and more serious. Sacrificing any one of us 7 is a huge loss to all of us. Sigh, I harmed him, but he has already made up his mind. Maybe I can try that now before leaving. He took that soul path immortal GU, so that Immortal Gu's effect is like this. I hope it can help him out. Azure failed, his state is so pitiful, he is only one step from complete annihilation. Yellow barely managed to preserve his life, but his injuries cannot be healed, it can only be fixed through time. This would take at least hundreds or thousands of years. Our greatest battle strength has been lost. Azure's failure made me realize something fully, our previous methods will not work. We are all born with flaws, heaven and earth will not tolerate our existence. As Green, I must comprehend the profound meaning of life and death. Nobody is more suited for this mission than me. We can only restart if I can find a way to truly revive and obtain an immortal aperture that is full of vitality. At this point, Fang Yuan's heart shook, he showed some excitement on his face. Currently, it seems that this is a strong and mysterious organization. The members refer to each other with code names, among which are yellow, green, purple, azure. If they have a total of 7 members, they probably use the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, azure, blue, purple. I will call this organization 7 Rainbows, for now. Fang Yuan paused in his speculations. He continued to send his thoughts into the GU formation, interacting with the motionless thoughts inside the GU formation. The following thoughts were missing a huge chunk. they were no longer as closely connected as the previous ones. It seems that each thought was made after a long period of time. My attempt succeeded. Today, I found another revival method, but to me, what significance does such an ordinary revival method have? I do not need it. Blue obtained a GU Immortal inheritance. It was left behind by old Immortal Kongju in Central Continent. He had researched deeply into the 10 extreme physiques. I have great gains from this. No, I have immense gains. Yellow and purple worked together and obtained an inheritance of Limitless Demon Venerable. Ha ha ha, truly worthy of Limitless Demon Venerable, his achievements in Rule Path are unprecedented and might never be surpassed, even I am vastly inferior. Limitless Demon Venerable is correct, there is life in death, and death in life and death can be interchanged. Except that under normal circumstances, turning from life to death is a natural process, it flows smoothly. But to turn from death to life, it would be extremely difficult, like traveling upstream. Meanwhile, immortal zombies are stuck between life and death. They are the manifestation of the profound mysteries of life and death. Life has its advantages, death has its uses. An immortal zombie's immortal aperture might be a dead aperture, but it is safe from calamities and tribulations. This is a huge advantage of death. Limitless Demon Venerable's direction is correct, I should move forward in this aspect. I am sure to make shocking achievements. I succeeded, this is an unimaginable result. Limitless Demon Venerable was incredibly talented. Actually, he was only some steps away from success. An immortal zombie's dead aperture is extremely precious, it has many uses. If this result is exposed, the entire GU Immortal world would be shaken. Even I myself was shocked immensely. Next, Fang Yuan got more and more stunned as his eyes burst with shining light, his expression visibly changed. According to these thoughts, when a GU Immortal cultivates, they should first turn into an immortal zombie and obtain a dead immortal aperture. Next, they would revive, obtaining a life and death immortal aperture. This immortal aperture has two layers, one layer is of life, and the other layer is of death. Life and death are able to coexist with each other and are interchangeable. It would be an immense help to the GU Immortal in terms of cultivating or undergoing tribulations. Ordinary GU Immortal who are alive were filled with vitality and cannot control death. Ordinary immortal zombies have death energy emanating in their dead apertures, they have death without life, they could only contain the mysteries of death. The former had too much vitality, with such immense fortune, heaven would seek balance. Thus, every once in a while, there would be heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities, to create losses to the GU Immortal. The latter was full of death energy and had no calamities or tribulations, but would slowly disintegrate and could not contain cultivation resources. The immortal aperture that Fang Yuan obtained when ascending had already disintegrated by more than half. In time, it would completely disappear, the entire immortal aperture would vanish. By then, Fang Yuan would only have his mortal dead aperture left. But according to this cultivation method contained in the thoughts, I can use the dead aperture as the core and fuse life and death during the process of revival, condensing them into one aperture, and form the life and death immortal aperture to control life and death to a certain degree. With this life and death immortal aperture, the power of the heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities I face from now on would be halved. Most importantly, the Tao marks I obtain would not be reduced at all. Fang Yuan was greatly moved. Any GU Immortal would be moved. If this method really works, then it would truly shock the entire GU Immortal world. It would not be an exaggeration to say that the entire world would go into chaos. Chapter 938. Successfully returning to the city. With a whooshing sound, at a nook of the Yaksha octopus's cave, a green light shined brightly as the surrounding darkness was repelled. As the jade green light faded, a figure appeared at the place which was previously empty. It was Fang Yuan, having just come out of the space created by the GU formation. He had used fixed immortal travel immortal GU, and this place had been specially arranged earlier, when he explored the Yaksha octopus's underground cave. He had set up many mortal GU here, forming a simple and crude GU formation. There was nothing that could be done about it. Fang Yuan's formation path attainment was very low, he could only use GU formations of this level. The GU formation could only conceal most of the disturbance, but fixed immortal travel was, after all, an immortal GU. When Fang Yuan appeared, this mortal GU formation immediately broke apart, some aura leaked out. Fang Yuan quickly used his methods to get rid of these traces. But soon, he heard the growling of desolate beasts as well as the movement of the Yaksha octopuses in the cave. The surrounding Yaksha octopuses are back already. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with bright light. He took action rapidly, eliminating the immortal Gu aura before the Yaksha octopuses returned, and quickly left. The Yaksha octopuses felt the aura of the immortal Gu and were stirred up, but when they arrived, there were no traces remaining. The octopuses searched around and saw nothing, their uncertainty gradually vanished, they turned around and left. If they were Gu immortals, they would not be so easy to fool. Desolate beasts lacked intelligence, thus Fang Yuan could easily deal with them. Before long, he returned to the battlefield with the mouth earthworm. It was a messy scene. Most of the Yaksha octopuses had retreated, while the Northern Plains immortal zombies were nowhere to be found. A huge gorge, like a long scar along the earth trench, was displayed in front of Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's lips curled up, he smiled silently. He knew that this gorge was dug by the mouth earthworm. Mouth earthworms were creatures that primarily lived under the surface. They stayed there most of the time, only coming to the surface when hunting for food. After devouring the prey rapidly, they would dig back under the soil and stop moving. At the same time, their bodies would shrink at a shocking rate, turning from gigantic fat masses to being like bamboo poles. At this time, the thick meat in their bodies would squeeze together tightly. The unique apparatus in their flesh, countless sharp bony teeth, would rotate and grind the prey into flesh and blood. This mouth earthworm swallowed me, but I used fixed immortal travel inside its body to escape. It failed to hunt its prey, it would definitely rage and fight with the Northern Plains immortal zombies. The mouth earthworm is not their match, it does not have wisdom, it is bound to lose. But this wild beast has the instincts to escape, and it is very good at it. Once it is injured to an extent, it would dig into the soil and escape from the battle. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with eerie light. If not for this, he would not have chosen to use the mouth earthworm to escape from the immortal zombies' sights. Previously in Dark Flow Giant City, he had obtained information about Dragon Commander Yi Cha and the others. He knew that they did not have an effective way to deal with the underground mouth earthworm. Their investigative methods could not bypass the abundant earth path Dao marks on the mouth earthworm, thus Fang Yuan dared to use fixed immortal travel immortal Gu inside its body. Thus, even though there were many individuals among the Northern Plains immortal zombies, and they had great battle strength, they could not do anything to this mouth earthworm for a period of time. Especially when the mouth earthworm did not want to fight, and was using all its efforts to escape. Battle strength did not mean everything. For example, old ancestor Shui who with rank 8 cultivation level could fight against both Yao Huang and Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu and force them to retreat, he had incredible battle strength. But to create the Gu formation, he still needed to ask Sun Minglu 7 times. Even rank 9 venerables were like this. In the history of Gu immortals, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable had asked Long Hair Ancestor to refine Gu for them. There were all sorts of paths in Gu cultivation, that meant that specialists tackled their own fields. Even if a person cultivates a path to rank 9, they would still be lacking proficiency in other areas. After all, there was a limit to their energy. Unless they had a lot of time, or a certain degree of fortuitous encounters. The mouth earthworm escaped, while the Northern Plains immortal zombies chased, the traces of battle extended along the way. During this journey, many things could be seen, pits created from explosions, blood inside the gorges, most likely the mouth earthworm's blood. Other than that, there were also many pieces of the corpses of earth trenches creatures that were drawn into the chaos. In order to live, the mouth earthworm was going all out. This helped Fang Yuan conceal his traces to a large extent. One side chased, while the other escaped. This extended battlefield had been formed. Seeing the intense fighting along the way, Fang Yuan smiled lightly. In order to escape, the mouth earthworm must have panicked and led the Northern Plains immortal zombies to the territories of other fierce beasts. Good, the more chaotic this scene is, the more advantageous for me. This is just like what I had calculated earlier. Next, Fang Yuan followed along the traces of battle and flew rapidly, his body submerging into the darkness. The Northern Plains immortal zombies were flying dejectedly. Their injuries were not light, they were in pathetic states, with ashen expressions. What can we do? Xing Shangzi died, how can we explain this to Lady Blazing Heaven Demoness? Sigh, we did our best. Assaulting the mouth earthworm along the way, we went through the territories of 5 fierce beasts, among which 3 are ancient desolate beasts. Keep in mind, this is the earth trench. I have never acted so crazy before. Unfortunately, our efforts were in vain. This mouth earthworm fell into the acid bog, it had completely dissolved. Xing Shangzi was not spared, there's no way we can sacrifice our lives for him, right? In my opinion, Xing Shangzi was too careless. Acting so careless in earth trench, he was simply courting death. The immortal zombies spoke quietly, only the leader, Dragon Commander Yi Cha, was silent. He had the highest status among these people, he was the leader, he held the biggest responsibility towards Xingxiangzi's demise. Thinking about Blazing Heaven Demoness, Dragon Commander Yi Cha's heart felt extremely heavy. Everyone, we finally meet again. Fang Yuan turned into Xingxiangzi, appearing in front of the immortal zombies. At once, the Northern Plains immortal zombies were stunned. Xingxiangzi, Dr. Yin Zan called out, his gaze was full of joy. The other immortal zombies were the same, even Landlord Lei Yu looked at Fang Yuan feeling that it was very pleasing to see this old man. How did you escape? An immortal zombie asked. This question was in everyone's minds. Several gazes were all focused on Fang Yuan's face. Fang Yuan was prepared for this, he gave his explanation, alas. When I was trapped inside the mouth earthworm's stomach, the surrounding flesh squeezed me, and numerous teeth started rotating. In that dangerous state, I used my immortal GU for an immortal killer move, sealing myself into star ice. This is my strongest defensive move, it was able to block the teeth. But there was a drawback, I could not move at all, not just my body, but my thoughts as well, therefore I could not think. The star ice would only exist for a short period of time, but I believed that everyone would save me. All I had to do was to wait until the star ice melted, and when I regained my freedom, I found that I was buried under some rubble. So that's it, Dr. Yin Zan realized. Xingxiangzi must have fell out when we were chasing the mouth earthworm and fighting in the chaotic battle, creating wounds that tore its flesh open. So close, so close. Xingxiangzi, you were really lucky. The immortal zombies did not have any suspicions. Dragon Commander Yi Cha heaved a sigh of relief. That is good, do you still need to collect Star Knight mucus? Fang Yuan's face changed, he showed a hesitant expression, saying, forget it. I was unlucky now, let's go back and rest first, we will talk about it later. The immortal zombies glanced at each other, secretly laughing inside about Xingxiangzi's timidness. But after such an intense battle, their bodies were in bad shape as well, thus everyone agreed to return to Dark Flow Giant City and rest. As for the remaining Star Knight mucus, that was a problem for later. A few days later, Dark Flow Giant City. In the secret room, the refinement path GU formation was shining with a dazzling light. The light shined on Fang Yuan's face, but now, his mind was elsewhere. Possible, this is totally possible, Fang Yuan said internally. He was using the GU formation to process the GU refinement materials on the surface, but he was actually inside his dead aperture, controlling GU worms to do an experiment. He was very vigilant, even though he obtained a revival method in Earth Trench, it had a dubious origin, Fang Yuan had to experiment on it and test if it was usable. The results all proved that this revival method was usable. Fang Yuan was excited and deeply moved. Looking back over the past, Fang Yuan had been collecting revival methods ever since Imperial Court Blessed Land was destroyed, facing many difficulties. The first revival method he collected, of Time Path, that was to use man as before Immortal GU with Time Anchor Immortal GU to revive himself. But though this method might have great potential, it was only a conjecture. To complete it, he needed to cooperate with Shark Demon and invest an immense amount of time and resources into it. Next, Fang Yuan found the possession method from Dongfang Chongfan's soul. Using this, he could achieve the target of getting rid of his immortal zombie state. But if he used this method, not only would there be questions on whether the body would suit his soul, and the aptitude of the body, but the second aperture that Fang Yuan had put in so much effort to obtain would be gone for good. Following that, Fang Yuan obtained a method of using a 10 extreme physique immortal ascension to get rid of the immortal zombie state from Feng Jinhuang at the Refinement Path Convention. This method was even less plausible, it was suited for mortal GU masters. Fang Yuan was already an immortal zombie, he would need to use his first mortal aperture to undergo a mortal ascension, he did not have one of the 10 extreme physiques either, he had insufficient aptitude. Even though he had blood skull GU, he already had Dao marks in his body, he could not use mortal GU to raise his aptitude. Finally, in the Starry Sky Grotto Heaven Fragment World, Feng Jinhuang told Fang Yuan another revival method. Using theory involving transformation path, in combination with everlasting GU, he could achieve a permanent transformation that was the same as revival. But what was the way to refine everlasting GU? Fang Yuan did not know. If someone else had everlasting immortal GU, the situation would be even worse. Fang Yuan did not excel greatly in transformation path either. These methods, even though they could succeed, they all had drawbacks and could not be achieved easily. But as the saying goes, one determined to work hard would not be disappointed. After so much turmoil and difficulties, Feng Yuan finally found the best and most suitable method for himself inside Northern Plains Zombie Alliance's Earth Trench. Chapter 939. Dual 10 Extreme Physique Rank 9 Demon Venerable. Since the creator had yet to name the method, Feng Yuan gave it a tentative name, Life and Death Immortal Aperture Revival Method. The true value of this method was absolutely priceless. If it were to be leaked out to the public, the whole cultivation world would be shaken and the current situation of the world would change. Countless GU Immortals, even the secluded rank 8s, would start researching it immediately with their full efforts and attempt to use the method. Once a large portion of GU Immortals obtain this method, from then on, the number of GU Immortals in all the 5 regions would start to increase explosively and in unprecedented fashion. Because the Life and Death Immortal Aperture contained the mysteries of both life and death, it could reduce the might of heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities. And the extent of that reduction was as high as an entire 50%. What did that imply? The cultivation journeys of GU Immortals had 2 difficulties that they had to pass. One was that of limited lifespan and the other was the presence of calamities and tribulations. Increasing cultivation level could not increase lifespan, thus GU Immortals could only seek out other methods to prolong their lifespans by all means possible. Ignoring that for the time being. Right now, calamities and tribulations were to be emphasized. GU Immortal would face calamities and tribulations once in a while. Heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities were like blades of an executioner hanging over the heads of GU Immortals. During times of peace, most GU Immortals would die as a result of calamities and tribulations. Countless records within history and practical examples and experiences in real life serve to remind GU Immortals time and time again about how terrifying and fatal these threats were. Calamities and tribulations were unpredictable and their power was not equal, instead the difficulty increased gradually. GU Immortals needed to work hard in their cultivation and raise their strength continuously to have a chance of passing the tribulations. And cultivation was not simply a theoretical matter, resources for cultivation were required, like immortal materials, immortal GU, immortal killer moves, immortal GU houses and so on. An immortal aperture was the best place to cultivate and harvest immortal materials. Because the environment of the immortal aperture was special, it had many Tao marks and could grow relevant immortal materials that were suitable for the GU Immortal, in accordance with their situation. Moreover, time flowed much faster in the immortal aperture when compared to the 5 regions, thus the immortal materials could be harvested more frequently and provide higher gains overall. There was another reason as well, nurturing cultivation resources in the immortal aperture could be done much more safely and they could be carried around with the person conveniently. It was quite dangerous to place immortal materials outside. Not only could they be easily seized by others, there could also be overbearing experts like Blazing Heaven Demoness who would even attempt to destroy them if they were unable to obtain them. However, the problem was that every heavenly tribulation and earthly calamity would result in heavy negative repercussions on the immortal aperture. It was already not a simple matter for GU Immortals to pass calamities and tribulations. To prevent damage to the entirety of their immortal aperture was nearly impossible. The cultivation resources that were stored in the immortal aperture would often be destroyed to a large extent. GU Immortals would have to once again accumulate the cultivation resources to continue their cultivation, there were even some who might have to start all over from scratch. If that happened, a vicious cycle would be formed. Accumulating cultivation resources, cultivating, increasing in strength, passing tribulations, reaccumulating resources, cultivating, increasing in strength slowly, passing even tougher tribulations. The calamities and tribulations would become stronger and stronger, while their resources would need to be accumulated all over again each time, greatly delaying the growth of the strength of the GU Immortal. The strength of many GU Immortals might be insufficient for keeping up with the required speed, their growth might even sometimes be stagnant, so how could they cope with the even more terrifying calamities and tribulations? Thus, since ancient times, countless GU Immortals had lost everything to heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities and perished. Hu Immortal was a typical example. She had passed 4 earthly calamities, but at the 5th calamity, she encountered a blue charm lightning shadow and died due to it. Her obsession turned into the land spirit of Hu Immortal Blessed Land, which was finally obtained by Feng Yuan. Of course, there was a method to reduce the threat, that was to move out the cultivation resources in advance. Previously, Feng Yuan had done this. But in fact, very few GU Immortals would do such a thing. They were obviously not foolish, so what was the reason? The reason was because of the targeting natures of heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities. For instance, a wood-path GU immortal who moved out all their wood-path resources before facing a calamity or tribulation may instead end up attracting a fire-path calamity or tribulation. After passing the tribulation, the immortal aperture would be greatly affected, gaining many fire-path Dao marks, which would cause changes in the environment and temperature. When the wood-path GU immortal brings back all the previously moved-out cultivation resources, many of those resources would not be suitable to be cultivated in this completely new environment. On the contrary, if the wood-path resources were kept in the blessed land and attracted a wood-path tribulation, the immortal aperture's wood-path Dao marks would increase. Although there would be losses, the environment of the immortal aperture would become even more ideal. Countless examples of success and failure, countless summaries of the experiences of predecessors proved one thing clearly: keeping the resources when facing a tribulation was wiser than moving them away, and was even more beneficial for the GU immortal's cultivation journey. Fang Yuan had previously moved out his resources, which led to a blood path calamity that was essentially unsuitable for the growth of the previous resources. However, Hu immortal blessed land was not compatible with his path, so this was not a big problem. Later on, when Tai Bai Yun Sheng faced the calamity in his immortal aperture, he chose to keep his resources even when aware of how severe the loss could be. It was because the immortal aperture that was undergoing an earthly calamity was his most essential foundation. Only after understanding this kind of information could one truly realize the terrifying value of the life and death immortal aperture method. Although GU immortals were high and mighty above the masses, calamities and tribulations hung above their head. They had to cultivate endlessly, and make huge progress at every phase of their cultivation, and had to keep on making more progress. Only then could they continue to survive. But if they had a life and death immortal aperture, everything would be different. It directly reduced the power of calamities and tribulations by 50%. With the sharp decrease in the power of calamities and tribulations, the loss of their cultivation resources would be less, while there would be no drop in the number of Dao marks gained. This was enough to benefit the cycle for the GU immortals' cultivation. Accumulating cultivation resources, cultivating, increasing in strength, passing tribulations on top the original foundation, one can continue to accumulate resources, cultivating even quicker, experiencing a greater increase in strength, and passing a slightly stronger tribulation. With just a living immortal aperture, the calamities and tribulations would keep on growing stronger. GU immortals could barely endure them as it was, and as their cultivation increased, it would be even more difficult for them to advance. And if they only had a dead immortal aperture, the immortal aperture would continue to crumble, resources could not be accumulated quickly and there was no hope of progress. It was simply a doomed ending. However, a life and death immortal aperture created a cycle that allowed the GU immortal's strength to snowball and accumulate, and have increasingly greater assurance in passing future tribulations. Undoubtedly, this was an accomplishment that surpassed the current era. It could change the whole GU immortal world. The entire world would be revolutionized, the history of GU masters would be changed henceforth. It might seem to be simply a revival method, but it contains such monstrous power. More accurately speaking, it was no longer just a simple revival method, it was a method of cultivation. This technique that had improved upon the foundation of limitless demon Venerable's concept was, without doubt, much more superior than the methods of cultivation that had been passed down for countless years. Such a grand feat, in the context of Earth's history, was like the invention of steam engine, electricity and calculator. They had incredibly significant importance. The traditional GU master cultivation methods were passed down from Renzo's era, and there were almost no changes done to it since. If the life and death immortal aperture method was publicized, it would be akin to the theory of general relativity of Einstein, which overthrew Newton's first law. If it were other GU immortals, they might find it hard to accept this for a period of time. Even thinking that this was an unrealistic fantasy, it might even be considered sacrilegious. After all, immortal zombies had low status, while this method placed much importance on their dead immortal apertures and instead held them in high regard. But Fang Yuan's own soul was from Earth. He had an open mind. The authority of the traditional way of GU cultivation had not been deeply ingrained into his mind. At this moment, his mind was filled with exclamations of praise. The methods of humans continue to progress over time, history continues to be written. GU cultivation can fully be regarded as another form of science. It continues to advance and develop with time. In the past, in ancient times, there were indeed countless wise and capable geniuses who had glorious and brilliant accomplishments. But those of future generations stand on these shoulders of their predecessors. Using their foundations, they are able to have even more brilliant and splendid accomplishments. Like this mysterious great expert immortal zombie who invented the life and death immortal aperture revival method, They had stood on old Immortal Kongju's shoulders. They used limitless demon Venerable's accomplishments in rule path and combined them with their own talents before they were finally able to create this improved cultivation method. Fang Yuan continued to ponder. The more he thought about it, the more he realized the profundity and brilliance of this revival method. During this short period of time, Fang Yuan could only scratch the surface of this brilliant technique, but he could not comprehend the essence and origin of this brilliance. He knew that following this method was the right course and the result would also be ideal for him. But he did not know what principles were involved in this method. The explanation for the life and death immortal aperture could be said to be simple, but the principles involved in it were something Fang Yuan could still not understand. The contents of the life and death immortal aperture revival method were not simple, they were very complex. Because it subdivided every GU cultivation path into different revival methods, different GU worms needed to be refined accordingly. For instance, Fang Yuan cultivated strength path, he needed a large amount of exert strength GU, countless disappointment GU, and many other types of supplementary GU worms to finally create a multi-layered GU formation. Fang Yuan carefully thought over these ideas, feeling that they were rather interesting. When mortals started cultivating, hope GU was needed to awaken their aperture. This method, however, required disappointment GU and exert strength GU. Without hope, how could there be disappointment? Without disappointment, where would hope come from? Disappointment and hope, these two concepts stood as opposites to each other but they coexisted together. It was just like the concept of life and death. If one was gone, the other also lacked the significance for a concept of it to be formed. Fang Yuan planned inwardly. Disappointment GU and exert strength GU are merely mortal GU, so they are not difficult to gather. There are also corresponding GU recipes here, I can order the hairy men to refine them day in and day out. Even if the amount required is large, I can complete it within 3 months. Once completed, I can immediately start my revival and obtain a life and death immortal aperture. Except that the life and death immortal aperture that would be obtained in this way was somewhat unsatisfactory. Because Fang Yuan's strength path immortal aperture was already mostly disintegrated. Using just the remaining dead immortal aperture as the base, the newly formed life and death immortal aperture would naturally be inferior. Be it the size, the environment or its foundation, they would all be lacking. When Fang Yuan had been forced to ascend in northern plains, the foundation for his immortal aperture was not high in the first place, its size was 3,500 square kilometers and the rate of time was 16 times that of the outside world. A low-grade blessed land has a size of 2,000 square kilometers at the maximum, it can draw in a small tributary of the river of time and create over 10 beads of immortal essence, while being a land of few resources. A medium-grade blessed land can have a size of 2,700 square kilometers to 4,000 square kilometers, draw in a slightly bigger tributary of the river of time, create over 20 beads of immortal essence and have plentiful resources. Fang Yuan's previous strength path immortal aperture was only a medium-grade blessed land. Now, if he used his currently shrunken blessed land to revive, it will definitely be a low-grade blessed land, and it was very likely for it to be low-grade even among low grades. Without doubt, this would be unfavorable to Fang Yuan's future cultivation. However, there was a segment of content about the life and death immortal aperture revival method which excited Fang Yuan greatly. During the refinement process, he could use other strength path immortal zombies' corpses as immortal materials and refine them in a GU formation. This would increase the grade of the life and death immortal aperture created, his low-grade blessed land could return to medium grade, and as long as there were sufficient strength path immortal zombies, he might even be able to raise his blessed land to high grade. When immortal zombies die, their aperture would completely dissipate and the Dao marks in the aperture would stay in the immortal zombie body. Thus, immortal zombie bodies were rich with Dao marks and were special kinds of immortal materials. If not for this, old ancestor Shui Hu would not have shamelessly sneaked into the immortal zombie graveyard to steal the corpses. At the final part of this segment, it was clearly recorded. If one could obtain a great strength true martial physique immortal zombie body and used it during the revival process, the life and death immortal aperture created would surpass that of a high-grade blessed land and become a super-grade blessed land. And after the immortal zombie revives, they would possess the great strength true martial physique. Because He Lu Lan had advanced into an immortal with the great strength true martial physique and possessed a super-grade blessed land, Fang Yuan understood many things regarding it. A super-grade blessed land has a vast space of over 6,700 square kilometers. Every year, the amount of immortal essence it produces would surpass 50 beads. The rate of time is even faster, thus precious resources can be obtained in extremely short intervals. Furthermore, the great strength true martial physique can increase my battle strength by several times. Fang Yuan's heart thumped with excitement. From this point, one could also discern that the life and death immortal aperture method was an excellent method to raise a GU immortal's aptitude. The 10 extreme physiques. They had extremely great power, but their flaws were even bigger. Because time flowed faster, calamities and tribulations came quicker and more frequently, their might becoming increasingly terrifying. For the cultivation of GU immortals, this was a big taboo. One could find out from history that none of the 10 supreme venerables had one of the 10 extreme physiques. Even among rank 8 GU immortals, it was extremely rare for someone to possess one of the 10 extreme physiques. In short, a person with one of the 10 extreme physiques could be unrivaled among those of the same rank and could even fight against those that exceeded their rank, but they did not have the potential to grow and simply could not live for long under the barrage of calamities and tribulations. However, this huge flaw did not exist to Fang Yuan. There was only one reason for that: he possessed the life and death immortal aperture revival method. And a life and death immortal aperture reduced the might of calamities and tribulations by half. This lowered the danger to a completely acceptable level and formed a much more beneficial cycle. I can at most obtain a high-grade blessed land by gathering ordinary strength path immortal zombie bodies. But if I can gather the body of an immortal zombie of one of the 10 extreme physiques, I can possess the great strength true martial physique and own a super-grade blessed land. Moreover, the calamities and tribulations would have their might reduced by half. As long as I have enough time to cultivate, my strength will continue to grow, and I would have a chance at vying for that supreme throne of rank 9. Fang Yuan's eyes burned with the flames of passion. Rank 9 venerables were invincible in the world, this was a publicly recognized fact. If since ancient times, there has not been a 10 extreme physique venerable, did that imply that they would be the strongest even among the rank 9 venerables? In this world, the greatest in strength in all of history. I also have my first mortal aperture. If my revival goes smoothly, I can use this method again to cultivate time path and change my first mortal aperture to a super-grade blessed land. At that time, not only will I have the great strength true martial physique, I will also have the desolate ancient moon physique. Dual 10 extreme physique, and with time, a dual 10 extreme physique venerable. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan almost shed tears. In the 500 years of his previous life and in this life, he had wandered from place to place, enduring many hardships and taking risks amidst life and death. Finally, now, at this moment, he found a hopeful path that could lead him to the grand ambition of immortality. Eternal life seemed to be an illusory goal, but if one did not have sufficient strength, then it was a target that was impossible to pursue to begin with. Strength path immortal zombies are already few in numbers. Since I have joined Zombie Alliance, I am unable to target the Alliance members. Great strength true martial physique immortal zombie, where can I find one? HMPH. Right now, there is only one optimal target, Lu Lan. At that instant, Fang Yuan's eyes shined with a ferocious light. Although I cooperated with you to escape from Imperial Court blessed land and have obtained many benefits later on, having a rather pleasant experience, for the ambition that I seek, you have to be sacrificed. A faint smile appeared on Fang Yuan's face. Ruthless. Callous. Chapter 940, Fang Yuan's plans. Since he obtained the life and death immortal aperture revival method, Fang Yuan naturally wanted to make as much use of it as he could. Regardless of whether it was in his previous life or now, cultivation aptitude was always a big regret for Fang Yuan. Now that he could fix this, Fang Yuan was extremely happy to do so. Most importantly, the life and death immortal aperture revival method for the 10 extreme physiques was too enticing, the advantage it gave towards cultivating was too great. However, it was extremely difficult to obtain a great strength true martial immortal zombie. Firstly, the 10 extreme physiques were very rarely seen. Even if they appeared, they could not cultivate easily. There were even fewer of those with the great strength true martial physique that cultivated to GU immortal level. And on this basis, those who turned into immortal zombies and still had their bodies intact might simply be non-existent. Fang Yuan checked historical records and his memories, but there were no clues. Thus, Lu Lan was his easiest target, and also the most appropriate and realistic one. Or rather, she was his only target. But the problems in front of Fang Yuan were not few. Firstly, Lu Lan herself was a formidable person, she had both brains and brawn. In his previous life, she left her own mark in history. Such a person was not easy to deal with, she could risk her fight and battle all out while also scheming deeply, she could not be messed with casually. Secondly, Lu Lan was not alone, she had the rank 7 Fairy Li Shan supporting her. They had a close relationship, they would not turn on each other. To deal with He Lu Lan, Fang Yuan would also have to deal with Fairy Li Shan. Thirdly, Fairy Li Shan, He Lu Lan, and Fang Yuan had an alliance agreement. Finally, and what was also Fang Yuan's biggest problem, He Lu Lan knew the truth of Imperial Court Blessed Land. If he did not handle it appropriately, she would tell this truth to the world. By then, Fang Yuan would be hunted down by all the GU immortals in the world. The allure of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's inheritance would be so great that countless greedy GU immortals would charge at him like a tsunami, completely drowning him. All in all, He Lu Lan was like a porcupine. If he was rash in dealing with her, not only might she be left unharmed, but he would also end up suffering major backlash. He Lu Lan, oh He Lu Lan, if not for the fact that you have the great strength true martial physique which helps my cultivation, I would not want to target you. Fang Yuan sighed internally. In the following days, Fang Yuan started his preparations on two aspects. On one hand, he needed to think about an appropriate way to harm He Lu Lan. On the other hand, he was refining Star Thought Immortal GU while using letters to communicate with Fairy Li Shan on how to breach a contract. But days went by, he was making very slow progress in all of them. Ever since He Lu Lan realized her flaws, she made up her mind and focused on managing her blessed land. Since she could not hide inside Snowy Mountain Blessed Land anymore, she hid outside and went missing. After Fang Yuan returned to Dark Flow Giant City, he took action to once again go to Earth Trench and collect Star Knight Mucus. After that, he used the Star Knight Mucus to refine Star Thought Immortal GU, but he failed again. Fairy Li Shan had cultivated Earth Path in the past, she later cultivated Information Path mainly alongside Wood Path, she had Mountain Pledge Immortal GU, her Information Path attainment was definitely higher than that of Fang Yuan. Earlier, she had gone against the agreement to deal with Dongfang tribe, but she was still alive and well now. This showed that not only was she skilled at making agreements, she was also able to break them. Information Path specialized in agreements. To make a comparison, they were like locks that restricted both parties. Fairy Li Shan was like a locksmith, she was skilled at making locks, she was certain to be good at opening them. Fang Yuan, Fairy Li Shan, and He Lu Lan, even though they had an agreement, the deadline was approaching, thus this agreement was not trouble. The reason Fang Yuan gave Fairy Li Shan was, he needed to deal with the agreement for joining Zombie Alliance. Fang Yuan had joined Zombie Alliance in Eastern Sea, he was restricted by the Zombie Alliance agreement. If I cannot get He Lu Lan, I can only lower my expectations and collect a large number of Strength Path Immortal zombies. If that happens, I will need to break the Zombie Alliance agreement so that I can steal bodies inside the Zombie Alliance graveyard. The careful Fang Yuan would naturally not put all of his eggs in one basket, he would make all kinds of preparations. Therefore, these last days, Fang Yuan had been asking for information path methods from Fairy Li Shan often. The results were minimal. On one hand, Fairy Li Shan was guarding against Fang Yuan. He had developed too rapidly, it already made this third leader of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land feel threatened. Even though Fang Yuan offered a high price, she used the excuse of having to find immortal materials to reject him. Secondly, Fang Yuan had little understanding in regards to information path. With such low attainment, it was hard for him to learn something in this short period of time. Thirdly, was Zombie Alliance's agreement so easily broken? It was wishful thinking to expect Fang Yuan to be able to break it in such a short time. Even though he did not make any progress in information path, after interacting with Fairy Li Shan, Fang Yuan had a clear understanding of the fight between Zombie Alliance and Snowy Mountain Blessed Land using his own knowledge from being inside Northern Plains Zombie Alliance's base. Blazing Heaven Demoness, tactic was very smart. These last days, she led the immortal zombies to attack the demonic path GU immortals of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land continuously. Many of the demonic path GU immortals had low luck to begin with, it was hard to collect immortal materials, but now with the immortal zombies wreaking havoc, they faced even more problems, their gains were affected. Old Ancestor Shui Hu was helpless. The reason was simple, even though he was a rank 8 great expert, he was just one person. Blazing Heaven Demoness had 3 rank 8 immortal zombies. If Blazing Heaven Demoness forcefully attacked Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, with Old Ancestor Shui Hu's battle strength, it was uncertain who would win. But Blazing Heaven Demoness avoided that, she made use of Old Ancestor Shui Hu's weakness, this made Old Ancestor Shui Hu's life much more difficult. If he attacked, he would not be around to guard Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. The defending GU immortals only had rank 7 cultivation level at the highest. Second leader Lady Wan Shou was skilled in refinement path, while third leader Fairy Li Shan cultivated information path. They both did not have high battle strength. If old ancestor Shui who went out to attack and was held up by an expert of the same rank, and Snowy Mountain Blessed Land was ransacked by the other rank 8 immortal zombies, then that would turn him into the biggest laughingstock in Northern Plains. Especially that blazing heaven demoness. She did not have limits to her conduct. Back then, she even burned a 9 heavens fragment world, making it a lose-lose situation for everyone. Snowy Mountain Blessed Land was only a blessed land that was pieced together. It had lower defense than normal blessed lands, old ancestor Shui who had to guard against her. Thus, even though old ancestor Shui who had incredible battle strength, against zombie alliance, he was at a disadvantage, he could not turn the situation around. Battle strength did not mean everything. Blazing heaven demoness, experienced scheming made old ancestor Shui who suffer heavy losses, but he could not fight back effectively. Fang Yuan had no other choice but to be patient and focus his attention on refining exert strength GU and disappointment GU. The Fang Yuan stone nests that he built were already at quite the sizes. Large numbers of hairy man slaves were working non-stop. The number of exert strength GU and disappointment GU grew, but they were still far from the desired quantity. Even though Fang Yuan obtained those precious rank 8 immortal materials, he did not sell them yet, he kept them for now. Blazing Heaven Demoness was funding him in refining Star Thought Immortal GU. Every month, Fang Yuan's profits were used for refining GU worms, feeding Immortal GU, as well as developing Starform Blessed Land. He purchased large amounts of cloud soil, ordering Starform Land Spirit to arrange them. He wanted to build a giant 3-dimensional river system, using the ample space to cultivate star fragment grass. This had huge prospects. If it succeeded, the profits would not be lower than Guts GU. But the initial investment was huge. Fang Yuan could only develop it one step at a time. He wanted to deal with He Lu Lan, but that might expose his crimes. It was too easy for He Lu Lan to expose the truth. Even though there was an alliance, she had Fairy Li Shan's help. If she wanted to breach the contract, she had a greater advantage than Fang Yuan. All along, Fang Yuan had been feeling anxious. The investigation of the Central Continent GU Immortals could not be making zero progress. Perhaps tomorrow, Central Continent GU Immortals would come and attack Hu Immortal Blessed Land. There was no way he could defend Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Once it was lost, Starform Blessed Land would be Fang Yuan's only place to retreat to. As the saying goes, a sly rabbit makes 3 dens, not to mention the old demon Fang Yuan. On this day, Fang Yuan was activating the refinement path GU formation, processing a certain immortal material. Inside his dead aperture, moving perspective cup GU activated, bringing a letter from Fairy Li Shan. Fang Yuan felt this was strange. This letter was actually Fairy Li Shan approaching him. Opening it, it was a letter requesting for help. As it turned out, Fairy Li Shan found traces of He Cheng. He Cheng was the father of He Lu Lan. She wanted to take revenge for her mother. He was someone she had to kill. Fairy Li Shan's letter asked Fang Yuan to come along and kill He Cheng. He Cheng's circumstances were not good. As a person who held power in the super force, He tribe, he went missing for a long time, the 100 Days battle, and by the time he reappeared, he was in a pathetic state, being hunted down secretly by He tribe itself. In fact, in order to save his life, He Cheng sacrificed the rank 6 immortal GU House Dark Prison. This was the symbol of strength in He tribe. It was also their trump card. He actually lost it. Even though He Cheng had great authority, in this situation, he would still be punished according to the rules of the tribe. The Immortal GU House Dark Prison was not his. The core Immortal GU that made up the Immortal GU House came from the 4 Supreme Elders of He tribe. After the Central Continent GU Immortals divided up Dark Prison, they brought the Immortal GU back to their sects. One of the Immortal GU had already been forcefully refined by a Central Continent GU Immortal. Thus, the He tribe Supreme Elders learned about it. He Cheng had committed a huge mistake. He needed to be punished. He Cheng did not want to hand himself over. Before he participated in Shadow Sect's activities, he had made an agreement with them. He could not expose any details regarding Shadow Sect. This alliance agreement had a strong restriction. He Cheng could not explain the matter to his tribe. He could only escape. He tribe was unwilling to let him go. The Immortal GU House was extremely important. It affected their deterrence capability and strength. It had to be taken back. And He Cheng was the clue. Thus, He tribe sent GU Immortals to capture He Cheng. After both sides fought several times, He Cheng narrowly escaped. As the commotion got larger, Fairy Li Shan learned about it. She and He Lu Lan discussed it. They felt that now was the best time to take revenge, after He Cheng had been abandoned by his tribe. They needed to have greater numbers as assurance in killing a GU Immortal. Thus, Fairy Li Shan immediately contacted Fang Yuan. Before the alliance expired, they now had an excellent chance to make use of him. While it was true that the compensation that Fairy Li Shan gave was very profitable, Fang Yuan also had his own motives. This was a good opportunity. He Lu Lan had been staying hidden all this time. Only during a chaotic battle could Fang Yuan find a chance to take action.